Guyan thought about it and confirmed with Xiaoling again. Although the power of the night has dissipated a lot, it does not mean it is gone. You are Leng Qinqiu's second personality. Can you tell me how long it will take for the power of night to be completely eliminated from Leng Qinqiu? Hearing this, Xiaoling glanced at Guyan and said, "You are quite cautious." After thinking for a moment, he replied, "At most half a month if you still don't take action after half a month." At this point, Xiaoling looked at Guyan seriously and said in a deep voice, "The Night Club will look for a new Night King to replace Leng Qinqiu, and I will be the new Night King. The main and secondary personalities will be reversed." As soon as these words came out, Guyan's eyes narrowed slightly. To be honest, he had taken this into consideration, which is why he felt that time was a bit tight. And when Xiaoling said it, it could further prove that his guess was correct. It seems. After the annual meeting, I have to take action. Understood. Guyan nodded, then looked at Xiaoling with a strange expression. But why are you telling me this? Shouldn't it be a good thing for you to have your main and secondary personalities reversed? Hearing this, Xiaoling was silent for a moment, and then showed a trace of confusion in front of Guyan. She covered her chest and muttered to herself, "I don't know." Only, Xiaoling looked at Guyan, stared at him, and said slowly, "I always feel that I should tell you about this." Guyan. Guyan looked away. He coughed softly. "You called my name. Well, so what? So what?" Guyan stopped talking. The two of them fell into a very tacit silence for a while. I'm a little embarrassed and don't know what to say. Xiaoling is a rather special existence to Guyan, and is clearly Leng Qinqiu's second personality. But I told the other person too many things and even became involved in the same crime with him. This is a very complicated matter. Of course, this is the main reason that makes Guyan feel a little restrained. Actually, it was because of those memory bubbles before. The different memories in the memory bubble gave Guyan some guesses. He wondered, why did a memory bubble appear every time he improved his favorability with Xiaoling? Once is still a coincidence, but twice, 3 times. Does this mean? Is there a possibility that these memories are something to do with Xiaoling? He didn't dare to speculate further, because he was afraid that he would not be able to accept the reality when he finally touched upon the truth. Why doesn't Xiaoling leave yet? She should have left long ago. Guyan raised his head and looked at Xiaoling, who was also looking at him, which made Guyan unable to help but ask, "Anything else?" Hearing this, Xiaoling continued to look at Guyan and said in a calm tone, "Can't you stay here if you have nothing to do? It's not impossible." "That's fine." The topic ends. Guyan didn't want to explore the truth about the memory bubble. But if he didn't, he felt that something irreversible would happen. This is very contradictory. The appearance of new memory bubbles requires improving the favorability with Xiaoling, but doing so will make Guyan feel filled with guilt. Even though he didn't do anything with Xiaoling, he didn't understand how his favorability rating had inexplicably increased. "Guyan, do you like music?" At this time, Xiaoling suddenly spoke up, interrupting Guyan's thoughts. When the latter heard this, his heart was shaken. He still showed a puzzled expression, and then looked at Xiaoling in confusion. "Ah?" Xiaoling looked at Guyan's eyes seriously and carefully. "A long time. Fine." She stood up and walked towards a black vortex that suddenly appeared in front of her. At the moment of entering, Xiaoling turned his head and said slowly, "Don't forget the plan." Buzz. Xiaoling disappeared, and Guyan's expression became extremely solemn. Xiaoling asked about music. "Isn't my previous memory of forming a band?" And the flash of emotion in Xiaoling's eyes when he asked the question. "Are you pretending? Or really?" Guyan felt a slight headache. There was a complex look in his eyes. "No way, Xiaoling also knows these memories. Right? Are these memories related to Xiaoling? How do you explain the first 2 memories? A different world? Parallel world? Or am I constantly reincarnating, restarting? But why is the world always different? What is the truth?" Chapter 327 The second day of the banquet. The second day of the Gu family annual meeting. The party ended at noon. The venue suddenly became much emptier. Guyan lay on the sofa, his expression hopeless. "I'm so tired when I become the head of the family. The first thing I will do is cancel the annual meeting." "Why are you so tired of messing with him?" As soon as these words came out, this caused Leng Qinqiu to chuckle. "This is your Gu family's tradition. Then you cancel it just like that?" The Gu family may agree, but the Zhang people may not agree. Hearing this, Guyan smiled helplessly. "Yes, it must be very lively outside now. The Gu family annual party is not actually a party for only the Gu family members. It's a banquet for all the people in Zhang. Internal staff only have 3 days to get together. The Zhang banquet hosted by the Gu family will last until the end of the year." Leng Qinqiu said next to Guyan, and seemed to have thought of something, and said, Linger tut Ning Kion and Gu Ying Ying to participate in the parade. It is said that something live broadcast is going to be held? Gu Yan laughed. Children are full of energy. As he spoke, Gu Yan took Lang Qingqiuayu's hand and asked softly, there will be a parade in Zhanghe tonight. And there will also be a food street. How about we sneak out for some fun tonight? Although Lang Qingqiuayu was somewhat tempted after hearing this, she decided not to attend the internal annual meeting tonight and ran out alone. Isn't this inappropriate? It's perfect, absolutely perfect. Qingqiuayu, don't you want to try the food there? Hearing this, Lang Qingqiuayu thought about it, but finally couldn't resist the temptation of food. He nodded and said, okay then. The atmosphere in Zhanghe City reached a fever pitch. At daybreak, excited crowds had already arrived, looking forward to the annual event hosted by the Gu family. On both sides of the road, people had various painted faces, and some even wore strange masks. The children, dressed in colorful costumes, jumped up and down, pulled their parents' hands excitedly, and asked from time to time when the show would start. The warriors in the department wore the same uniform and pretended to be security personnel to maintain order at the scene. They looked around vigilantly to make sure everything was okay. This year's annual meeting is different from previous ones. Because of the appearance of the Night King, waves of sect forces poured into Zhanghe City. Therefore, there might be warriors among the crowd. If someone causes trouble, it may cause considerable social harm. There were no vehicles on the middle of the road, as if it had been specially cleared for someone. Some tourists who came to Zhanghe for the first time asked the excited people around them curiously, what are you doing? Is today a holiday? Oh, it's normal that you don't know. This is a parade performance held by a big family in our area. This event is held every year near the end of the year. How long will this party last? This parade will continue until the end of the year. There will be parades every day wherever you go. There will be a food street. All the people are invited by the Gu family. So arrogant. All this money was paid by the Gu family? That's for sure. We have a special banquet treat here during the performance. The rest of the people can go through another channel. It's too powerful. Chatting and chatting. Sudden, a drum band appeared at the beginning of the road in a mighty manner. They dressed in bright costumes and stood on all parade vehicles, holding huge drumsticks in their hands, drawing powerful tracks in the air. As the drums sounded, the entire river and sea seemed to tremble. It started, the show has begun. Come closer. Everyone had an excited expression on their face. Following closely behind were teams of performers. First came the lion and steam. Their movements were powerful and graceful. Every leap and roll of the lion drew gasps from the audience. The lion's eyes sparkled as if they were alive. Next came a sword dance troupe made up of young female warriors. They held long swords in their hands, danced lightly to the soft music, and the tips of their swords reflected dazzling light in the sunlight. Every movement appears graceful and powerful. Then, one by one, characters played by the warriors of the Gu family appeared, some holding swords and bows, and some riding the wind. Some even walk on the air. Some people who had never seen it were dumbfounded. Pointing at the person flying in the sky, he asked, is this real? As soon as this was said, someone sneered. How is that possible? They were all suspended by wires. But the fact that the Gu family can do this is pleasing to the eyes for us to watch. After listening to the explanation of the local natives, the foreign tourists finally reacted and nodded. Some warriors mixed in the crowd were also watching with great interest and were shocked. Wow, they are worthy of the Gu family. The martial artists performing the performances all have at least acquired cultivation skills. This is not just a performance, but also an opportunity for the Gu family to demonstrate their strength every year. Roar. At this time, a pitch-black alien monster was tied to the neck with an iron chain by Lao Gao, who was participating in the performance, and dragged to the front of the crowd. This is too realistic. It's fake. There are people pretending to be here. Yeah, where did the Gu family find the stylist? This is too realistic. Some spectators who did not know the truth were discussing the incident in admiration. Some of the sect warriors in the crowd who discovered the secret began to look uneasy. Isn't this the purgatory tiger? Why did the Gu family drag it out like this? Aren't they afraid of something happening? Roar! The purgatory tiger's eyes were bloodshot, and the iron chain around its neck made it extremely uncomfortable and irritable. Oh, be honest. Lao Gao grabbed the chain and his eyes fixed. Phew! Roar! As the chains tightened, the purgatory tiger screamed with bloodshot eyes, and it couldn't help but open its mouth. Boom! Balls of fire shot out of its mouth into the air and exploded, forming bursts of brilliant fireworks. Wow, so beautiful! Mom is a firework. The children in the crowd were particularly excited. This performance is so realistic. Do fireworks use such realistic props now? Some brave children squeezed through the crowd and wanted to reach out and touch the purgatory tiger. However, the security guard sternly warned him, "Don't touch the props." Wow! How can you be so mean? You can't even touch my child. Don't you have any children? That's right, he's just a security guard. Why are you so fierce? This is for your own good. You don't need to teach me. I tell you that I have eaten more salt than you have eaten rice. The warrior disguised as a security guard did not reply, but felt helpless. Can I say that this thing is extremely vicious? If it weren't for the Master Gao suppressing it, I'm afraid everyone present would have died. However, the Gu family was so bold that they directly used monsters for the performance, as expected of a Zhang He family. Although it was not his first time to participate in this kind of large-scale reality show, he was still shocked by the Gu family's arrogance. The performance was going well, and he held the headset next to his ear to talk to the team. "Area is fine, how are you guys doing? There's no problem here. I mean, this is too much of a face giving to the Gu family. They do this every year." The uninformed audience thought it was a real performance. "Don't even mention it. I even have a girl here who does a live stream. She was brave enough to take a photo next to the monster. I was sweating just watching it." Can the public go in and live stream? They are not the masses, but people from the Gu family. Ning Qian, a disciple from Longwang Mountain, is still staying next to her. That monster is as obedient as a kitten. The Gu family is so prestigious. All the disciples of Longwang Mountain come to serve as bodyguards. Who knows, we just need to maintain safety. Chapter 328 Going Out at Night. Hi, hello everyone. I'm your favorite beauty blogger Ling Ling. Today we are at the first live broadcast of Zhang Heigu's annual meeting. Everyone, please look at the little bear next to me. It's very well behaved and generally won't bite anyone. Linglinger was holding a selfie stick, which was broadcasting live. And the number of people online was over 10,000. He finally caught up with this incredible wave of annual meeting traffic. Linglinger was thinking happily in her heart that next to her there was a monster as big as a mountain. However, the opponent, who should have been cruel, was now obedient and allowed Linglinger to touch and knead him at will. Because Ning Qian was staring at the monster intently. The murderous aura she exuded made the monster dare not move at all. And the people who commented on the comments seemed to have known for a long time that Linglinger was a spirited little girl before her transformation. They left messages in the live broadcast room. Why did the anchor change his name to Ling Ling Ling? Wasn't he called Ling Wang Wang before? Right? Why is the previous account gone? Gujie Media? Isn't this a company owned by the Zhang Heigu family? The above, this annual meeting was held by the Gu family. It is normal for the small anchor under the name of Gujie Media to be able to live broadcast. By the way, host, what do you do? Looking at the nonsense in the live broadcast room, Linglinger was trying hard to keep smiling. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. It's normal to feel angry. In order to become a big anchor, facing haters with a smile is definitely a required professional course. Oli, what is your job? I can't help it. I'll do UXXXXX. UXXX. Linglinger raised her middle finger and pointed it at the camera crazily. Then, bang, the live broadcast was interrupted. You have been restricted from live streaming. Depend on. Linglinger was stunned at first, and then wailed with tears in her eyes. Why is live streaming restricted again? Ooh, this crappy live stream is targeting me. See this scene. Gu Ying coughed dryly. Sister Linger, do you want to be a big internet celebrity? Linglinger was delighted when she heard this. Yes, Ying, do you have a solution? I'm the world's top self-media operation master. Sister Linger, if you and I team up, I guarantee you'll become a multi-millionaire internet celebrity. Really? Of course. Yeah, Ying, you're awesome. I'm so glad to have you as a friend. Hey. Ning Qian looked at the two people interacting and couldn't help but frown. Self-media, operation, and anchor. To be honest, she doesn't understand at all. However, if I do nothing, I'm afraid Sister Linger will be snatched away by someone else. So they must be stopped. So Ning Qian glared at the monster that looked like a black bear and was frightened dumbly. As the murderous aura surges buzz, the monster immediately understood what Ning Qian meant. It immediately stretched out its huge claws in fear and placed them on Gu Ying's head. The latter noticed something unusual. He reached out and touched it. And his face turned pale. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. Ying. Oh. Ning Qian's mouth corners slightly raised. Time passes. It was night. Zhang He's banquet was extremely lively. Two figures were moving among the crowd, each of them wearing a piece of clothing with half a heart on the chest. They all wore white fox masks on their faces. Qiu, what do you want to eat? Anything is fine, it would be even better if it's sweet. I understand what you mean. That's right, the two people were Gu Yan and Leng Qingqiu who sneaked out of the Gu family manor. He led Leng Qingqiu to a cotton candy stall and said to the owner, "Boss to cotton candies. Okay young man, bring your girlfriend out to play." "Not a girlfriend, but a wife." The boss was stunned. Leng Qingqiu pulled Gu Yan's hand, and her face under the mask blushed slightly. "Can you please stop worrying about whether she is your girlfriend or your wife? Besides, you and I are not married yet." At this time in the banquet hall, Leng Linger was looking for Gu Yan. She looked confused. What about my brother-in-law and sister? Why didn't I see them? Wrong. Leng Linger thought about it and immediately reacted. Great, he must have gone out on a date without telling her. Hateful, you don't even take her with you when you go out on a date. I wonder if she really likes watching you to date. Leng Linger clenched her fists, rolled her eyes, and was about to slip out of the venue. Linger, where are your sister and brother-in-law? Su Wurong came over, she was also looking for them. Leng Linger, who was about to run away, stopped in her tracks. She laughed and touched the back of her head. Brother-in-law and the others. Aha, did you go to the bathroom? Su Wurong nodded without thinking much. And a friendly smile appeared on her face. Linger. You are just right, how about coming to meet my sister's daughter? You are all of the same age, so you must all have topics to talk about. This is not good, Sister Su. Leng Linger glanced at a girl who was standing there expressionless, holding her mother's hand, and said hesitantly, "Ooh, a beautiful girl without words hiss. I really want to make friends with her." "Abby, you still call me sister, you just tell the truth." "It's okay, come on." Well, see the scene. Gu Yingying and Ning Qian, who were not far away, looked at each other. This time, let's stand on the united front for the time being. Then he followed. At this time, Leng Qingqiu, who was eating marshmallows while wearing a fox mask at an angle, was suddenly shocked. "What's wrong, Qingqiu?" Gu Yan was stunned. The two sat on a public bench. The crowds around were surging, but it did not affect the two people's private space at all. "It's okay, I just suddenly felt cold all over. I always feel like something is going to happen." Leng Qingqiu's tone was a little hesitant, and he didn't say that this was a response from his Linger radar. Whenever Leng Linger was about to get into trouble again, he would suddenly feel something in his heart. Gu Yan shook his head when he heard this. "It's okay, you think too much." He opened his coat and opened his heart. "Come, if you feel cold, just hug me, as the saying goes. Love is not afraid of the cold, love's hug, love's hug. Clear autumn." The words haven't finished yet. Leng Qingqiu interrupted silently. "And you please stop being so perverted?" But despite what she said, she still moved closer to Gu Yan and slowly leaned on his shoulder. "You told me to put this up. The Night King isn't afraid of the cold, but he certainly doesn't mind being close to the people he likes." Chapter 329. The opportunity came from the gathering at Gu's manor. The second day of the Gu family party ended. The guests greeted each other and left the banquet. At the door, "Goodbye, Master Lin Yi." Woo. Master Lin Yi is so cute." Gulan smiled and nodded in response to everyone. Only when everyone left, his smiling expression gradually faded and turned into one of great annoyance. He took a deep breath. His eyes turned into one of disgust. "A group of flies buzzing around me. It's disgusting." The bodyguard Qi Yufeng behind him looked around hesitantly, then whispered to dissuade him, young master is still in the manor." "Oh, I know," and Gulan turned his head, glanced at the other party, and said speechless lie, "Didn't you say that my brother and the eldest daughter of the Leng family can have children?" I heard this from others." Qi Yufeng smiled awkwardly, but then talked about Gu Yan and Leng Qingqiu. She, a great magician who had been single for nearly 30 years, became interested. She said excitedly, "But Master Gu Yan seems to be much more mature than before. She has become more charming, and Leng Qingqiu, she is worthy of being the goddess back then. She is so beautiful. My Yushu, my sisters who are also bodyguards have partners. When will I ever get married?" As Qi Yufeng spoke, he began to feel like crying but had no tears left. Gulani sighed lightly and pursed his lips. "Hey, open the door for me." Master Lin Yi, you want it again? But this is Zhang Ha. Don't worry about it, just do your job." Oh. Qi Yufeng didn't dare to disobey Gulani's order. After all, she knew what her young master looked like when his face changed. So she walked over to a wall and put her hands on it. Buzz. The true key is circulating. Open. She let out a low cry. Bang. A wooden door appeared out of thin air as if it was embedded in the wall. Gulani walked in. "Come pick me up in an hour." Oh. The Zhang Ha banquet, which lasted for more than 10 days, was very lively. Most of the streets are transformed into commercial food streets at night. Gulani walked on the street, watching the people coming and going with boredom. Boring. Zhang Yechai is always so boring. Obviously it wasn't like this before. Gulaini walked among the crowd. His thoughts drifted back to the past. The opportunity came during a gathering at the Gu family manor. At that time, my parents asked me to be an obedient child and mechanically keep smiling and respond to guests. He wants to be pleasing in his etiquette, conversation and behavior. Not surprisingly, he became his grandparents' favorite child. His father instilled in him the idea that he should use this advantage to become the head of the family. And he was not happy at all. He didn't want his life to be arranged like this. As a result, under long-term pressure, he developed a violent temper that he could not get rid of. It needs to be eliminated regularly in order to continue to maintain the appearance of a well-behaved person. Just one day, Guyan walked over, stretched out his hand to him, and asked if he was a little tired from the party. Do you want to sneak out with him for a walk? Then, for some unknown reason, Gulaini agreed. For the first time, he experienced an emotion called happiness. Obviously, he thought it would always be like this. But in the end, as he grew older, Guyan was rumored to have become someone else's bootlicker. This caused his faith in the other party to collapse. Back to the present. Gulaini walked the path of his childhood again, but he couldn't feel happy in his heart. Because the Guyan from that time is no longer here. Dump. Hiss, you little brat, you don't have eyes when you walk. At this time, Gulen, who was in a trance, bumped into something and slowly raised his head. I saw a group of men, and one of them who was hit was looking at Gulaini angrily. The latter was in no mood to relieve stress today. So he apologized apologetically. Sorry, I was thinking about something. I'm so sorry, uncle. You think an apology will do the trick? You know how much time you'll waste if you bump into me? How much is it? How much do you want me to pay you? Gulaini kept smiling. Hearing this, the latter looked at the people around him. Then grinned and said, Hey, this kid looks pretty rich. Give us 100,000 and I'll forgive you. 100,000. I have it, but... Gulaini smiled innocently and said, It seems that the time of people like you is not worth this money. As soon as these words came out, You're kidding us, aren't you? Upon hearing this, the man clenched his fist in anger and swung it towards Gulen. So slow. The latter looked at the fist that seemed to be in slow motion in his eyes, thinking with boredom. Adults are always like this. They only swing their fists towards the weaker party. What a hassle, it shouldn't matter if I show off my strength here. Just thought of this. Hello. Bang! A cold voice came over. At the same time, one hand tightly clenched the incoming fist. Gulen was stunned. He looked up at the sound. Suddenly, his eyes were stunned. Just see. Guyan and Lang Kinkyu, who were wearing masks at an angle, stood behind her at some point. Guyan looked at the people in front of him with cold eyes. The invisible pressure was released instantly. He said in a cold voice, What do you want to do to my brother? Well, run. This guy doesn't look like someone you can mess with. Remember this. Several people dispersed in a hurry. The corner of Guyan's mouth twitched, speechless lie. Why did he have to endure such trash-like remarks? Lang Kinkyu handed the takoyaki in his hand to Guyan. Here. The latter took it and looked down at Gulaini, stretched out his hand and pressed it on his head, and picked up a meatball with a bamboo stick and handed it to him. Hey, you little brat, why are you sneaking out instead of staying in the manor? Gulaini did not resist Guyan's action. She raised his head and looked at Guyan. Then at Lang Kinkyu. He said lightly, Brother, you are the same. Sneaking out for a date with your sister-in-law. Well, the party is so boring, don't tell Grandma and the others. Me too. Gulen looked at Guyan and said seriously, Brother, don't tell Grandpa and Grandma that I ran away secretly. Okay, then this is our agreement. Good. After a few simple words, Gulaini took the takoyaki, looked at Guyan, and then at Lang Kinkyu. Finally, a smile appeared on his face. Brother, I'm going back first. You and sister-in-law have fun. Can I do it alone? I'm not a child anymore. Oh, that's perfect. Your sister-in-law and I want to be alone together. Lang Kinkyu blushed and pulled the other person. Gulaini also smiled helplessly. Brother, can you please not say such things in front of the person concerned? Watching the two people leaving, a look of relief appeared on Gulaini's face. Seeing my brother truly happy is enough. He took a bite of the takoyaki and walked towards the Gu family manor. Well, I'm a little happier. Let us go back. With the episode over, Lang Kinkyu, who was walking on the path, suddenly said to Guyan, Guyan, you seem to have a good relationship with your brothers and sisters. It's not as unharmonious as the rumors say. Is there? Yes, never mind, you slow man. Chapter 330 Xiaolang's favorability increases again. It was already late when Guyan and Lang Kinkyu returned. Brother-in-law, you and my sister actually left me alone and went out on a date. How abominable. Ling Linger stopped in front of Gu Yan and asked angrily. Gu Yan replied nonchalantly, "Of course, I have to leave you behind. You will be a light bulb between the two of us if you go." Lang Qiu was listening at the side and was a little confused. What does light bulb mean? What it means is that Linger wants to stand by and stare at us when we are having sex. Lang Qiu blushed when she heard this. That being said, this feeling is indeed quite embarrassing. Lang Linger yelled angrily. "Brother-in-law, you are so hateful. I was just watching from the side and didn't do anything. You are so petty." Linger, stop making trouble. Only after her elder sister spoke did Lang Linger calm down. Seeing this, Gu Yan became even more angry. "Did you hear that? Sister-in-law, your sister has spoken, so don't even think about interfering with us. Gu Yan, you should also say less." Lang Qiu frowned. "Oh." Seeing the frustrated Gu Yan, Lang Linger felt much better. She chuckled and said, "You've been scolded, you bastard Gu." Gu Yan said speechless lie, "Haha, what qualifications do you have to say that to me?" As he spoke, he seemed to have thought of something. So he took out a key from his pocket and shook it in front of Lang Linger. He sighed and said, "I was thinking of giving this to you. But now your attitude towards me is like this, even if it's okay." "What?" Lang Linger leaned in closer to look at what Gu Yan was holding in his hand. And kept looking at it. Her eyes became more and more excited. And her body began to tremble. "Motorcycle keys. Oh, yes, I asked someone to customize this motorcycle for you. It's not available on the market." Gu Yan sighed with pretended regret. "I thought you would be 18 after the Chinese New Year and would be able to take the driver's license test soon. So I prepared your adult gift in advance. But now I see." Dump. When Lang Linger heard this, she immediately fell to the ground and hugged Gu Yan's thighs. The little yellow-haired boy trembled and begged, "Brother-in-law. My good brother-in-law. Do you have any principles? Brother-in-law, I was wrong. Brother-in-law, I will never go against you again. I swear." The words haven't finished yet. "Linger, stop messing around." Lang Qiu looked embarrassed and angry. And dragged up Lang Linger, who was rolling on the ground hugging Gu Yan's thigh. "It's so embarrassing, so embarrassing. Is this my sister? How could this be the kind of person educated by our Lang family?" She pulled Lang Linger up, suppressed the shame she felt towards her sister and said, "Linger, didn't you promise me that you could buy a motorcycle only after you passed the college entrance examination? Although your brother-in-law bought it for you in advance. The key will be kept with me until you are admitted to university." As he spoke, Lang Qiu looked at Gu Yan and said coldly, "Bring it here." "Oh." Gu Yan sensed a hint of murderous intent and handed over the key, trembling lie. And he coughed lightly to Lang Linger, who was waiting anxiously at the side. "Well, Linger, your sister is right. You are still too young. You can't control this motorcycle yet. Let your sister keep it for you until you get into college." Seeing that her last hope was gone, Lang Linger felt like crying but had no tears. "Damn it, brother-in-law, you are too unprincipled. Tomorrow is the last day of the Gu family's 3-day annual meeting. It is also the most crucial day for whether Gu Yan can become the head of the Gu family." That night, crunch crunch, there was the sound of wooden boards being stepped on. Gu Yan frowned and tossed and turned. "And why do I feel like something else is coming?" Next second, a furnace. A cold voice sounded in his ears. Gu Yan suddenly opened his eyes. He looked at the figure standing nearby. The other person changed into casual clothes and was standing by the bed looking at him calmly. "Xiaolang, what are you going to do?" Gu Yan looked at the time too. 33, twitched his lips and shrank back into the quilt. "Let me make it clear first, I'm so sleepy and want to sleep." I'm passes slowly. Rush. Gu Yan pulled back the quilt and looked helplessly at Xiaolang, who hadn't left yet. "What on earth are you going to do?" Hearing this, Xiaolang slowly spoke. "I want to feel the atmosphere of the banquet." "Just feel what you feel, why are you calling me?" Gu Yan said he just wanted to continue sleeping. "Good." Xiaolang looked at Gu Yan calmly, then turned and left. Gu Yan slowly typed a few question marks. Hey, you are using my wife's body. Damn it, now I've really become a slave." Half an hour later, Zhang Yeche's banquet takes place day and night. So even in the early morning, the food street is still brightly lit. In front of a cotton candy stand. "Boss, give me two marshmallows." "Okay, little brother and your girlfriend did you come here once tonight?" The boss looked at Gu Yan and Xiaolang in confusion. "It's just strange." The woman's sigh seemed to give a different feeling than at night. "Don't worry about it." Gu Yan took the marshmallow and quickly pulled Xiaolang away. While strolling around, eating and playing, Xiaolang seemed to see something. So he pulled Gu Yan away from the crowd. The two sat on a public bench. Xiaolang ate the marshmallow in small bites, then glanced at Gu Yan, who was standing beside her with a helpless expression. She suddenly felt a strange feeling in her heart. This feeling is very strange and peculiar. Since we are here, we might as well make the best of it. Gu Yan asked in confusion while eating cotton candy. Why did you bring me here? You'll know soon enough. Oh, here we go. Xiaoling said this and suddenly looked at the sky intently. Gu Yan also looked over. Next second. Bang, bang, bang. Gu Yan was shocked. The night sky was lit up by gorgeous fireworks, and bursts of brilliant fireworks exploded in the air. Just see. Suddenly, thousands of brilliant lights lit up in the sky. They were fireworks, blooming in the black night sky, as dazzling as the daytime. Gu Yan's pupils shrank slightly as he felt the explosions. They echoed in his ears, but seemed to explode in his heart. The light of each firework shone on his face, making his expression elegant and complex. A marshmallow melts in your mouth, and the sweet taste is intertwined with the visual shock. Every year at this time, there are fireworks displays like this. Xiaoling's voice sounded in Gu Yan's ears, breaking the brief silence. This is the tradition of the Gu family in Zhanghae City. It is a symbol of celebrating peace and prosperity. How do you know this? Even I, a family member, don't know this. Gu Yan nodded and came back to his senses. As if seeing what Gu Yan wanted to say, Xiaoling explained leisurely. Want to ask me how I know? Because I saw the posters posted on the roadside. And? Xiaoling turned slightly towards Gu Yan and extended his hand towards him. Gu Yan dodged a little. Wait. But it was different from what Gu Yan had imagined. Xiaoling just picked up a leaf that fell on Gu Yan's hair. As the last firework bloomed grandly in the night sky, the entire sky seemed to be lit up. Gu Yan also saw Xiaoling slowly open his mouth, but the smile on his face that he didn't know if it was fake or from the heart. Also, I also want you to see this beautiful fireworks. Just you and me. Listening to the sounds that appeared almost at the same time, Gu Yan couldn't help but look away. This is a bit too bad. The trust of the pure love object has increased to 96. Unlock new memory fragments, please check. Chapter 331 Huge Memories. Late at night, Gu Yan sat on the bed, with the familiar memory bubble still in front of him. This time, the favorability level directly increased to 96, and the volume of the memory bubble was also much larger than before. As the favorability increased, Xiaoling also became a little strange. It seems the emotions have become richer. What does this mean? By now, he has actually confirmed that the memories in the memory bubble must be related to Xiaoling. So, in the new memories, will there be the answers he wants to find? After a moment's silence, Gu Yan reached out and touched the memory bubble. A moment. The familiar feeling of dizziness came over me. When I regained consciousness, I could hear loud quarrels. You are just a piece of trash, you are only fit to eat our leftovers. Okay? That's right, as a male scumbag, you can only eat what we have left. Listen to the sound echoing in your ears. Gu Yan slowly opened his eyes. He saw that he was sitting on a bench in the cafeteria, with a plate full of mixed and tangled food in front of him. Besides, there were also a few girls pointing at him with sarcastic smiles on their faces. The person taking the lead is none other than Leng Qingqiu. Gu Yan looked at Leng Qingqiu, who had a playful smile on his face and was looking down at him. For a moment, I was stunned. What is the plot now? Leng Qingqiu seemed to be angry when she saw Gu Yan standing there in a daze. She reached out and grabbed the spoon, then stirred the food in front of Gu Yan again and said coldly, "Why, do you still want me to feed you?" It seems to be required by the plot. Although Gu Yan really wanted to say it, it was not impossible. But when the words came to my lips, they came out in a fearful whisper. Yes, I'm sorry. I want to eat now. You know what? It tastes pretty good. I could also hear the laughter of several other girls. But it seemed to be Gu Yan's illusion. Leng Qingqiu's expression also became slightly relaxed. It was like a slideshow with a pause and the surrounding scene changed. A time seemed to have come to evening. In the process of this scene transformation, Gu Yan also understood what kind of world this was. It turns out that this is a world where women are superior to men. And an equipment room in the school. Leng Qingqiu called Gu Yan over when Gu Yan didn't understand what was going on. Next second. Thump. Leng Qingqiu hugged Gu Yan and comforted him. Gu Yan, I'm sorry for what I did to you this morning. But there's nothing I can do, this world is just so unfair. I promise, I will work hard to make this world a world of gender equality. Oh, such a plot. Gu Yan suddenly realized, and after he understood, the scene around me began to change. It seems to be a plane. Gu Yan stood among the crowd holding a sword. There are more memories in my mind. This world is a strange world. His identity is a demon slayer, while Leng Qingqiu's identity is a fierce ghost. Around him and in front of him, they are all extraordinary warriors dressed in strange clothes and holding various weapons. A man holding an umbrella stood in front of Gu Yan and shouted, "Gu Yan, humans and ghosts can't fall in love if you stop now. It's not too late. Gu Yan, stop being stubborn." Ling Qiyu is a red-clothed evil spirit. If she survives, the world will eventually be destroyed by her. Are you determined to fight against all of us demon slayers just for a female ghost? If the evil spirit is not eliminated, the world will be in chaos. And you, Guyan, bear this responsibility? Guyan, you will become a sinner of all mankind. Questions followed one after another. However, Guyan just took a deep breath. He held the sword in his right hand across his chest. His eyes showed no hesitation, and he said word by word, Ling Qiyu has never hurt anyone before, and even helped everyone present before his identity was exposed. Oh, there's no point in talking anymore. Buzz! Guyan burst out with powerful true energy, and looked at everyone with cold eyes. Come on together. In the battle of swords, sabers, and magic. Scene change. After Guyan came to his senses, he found himself surrounded by corpses. In his arms lay a pale-faced woman in red. It is Ling Qiyu. Guyan found himself feeling very sad, with tears constantly flowing from his eyes, because he found that Ling Qiyu's breath was getting weaker and weaker, as if it would be extinguished by a blow like a flickering candlelight. Diane. It's not you or me who are wrong. Ling Qiyu used up the last of her strength, stretched out her hand and gently placed it on Guyan's face. With a sad expression, he said, but this terrible world. Bang! The picture shattered. The scene begins to change again. Every scene change is a new world, and Guyan and Ling Qiyu will have a new identity. There seem to be more than a dozen or dozens, almost 100 scenes of transformation. Guyan didn't calculate carefully, because he was already immersed in it. Sometimes he is a handsome scholar, and Ling Qiyu is the granddaughter next door. They have been childhood sweethearts since they were young. He studies hard for the imperial examinations, and Ling Qiyu accompanies him silently. On the way to an examination, he met with misfortune, and Ling Qiyu lived out the rest of his life alone while waiting. Sometimes Guyan is a brave general in ancient times, and Ling Qiyu is the personal maid rescued by Guyan. The two were deeply in love, but due to the chaos of war, Guyan died on the battlefield, and Ling Qiyu chose to commit suicide by taking poison on the day the city was broken. Sometimes Guyan and Ling Qiyu are the heirs of two sects. The two sects become enemies due to misunderstandings, which leads to their love being full of twists and turns. The final outcome was death in a fight between sects. Sometimes Guyan is a successful modern businessman, and Ling Qiyu is a princess from ancient times who traveled through time. The two fell in love in the gap of time, but also experienced many difficulties due to the dislocation of time and space. In the end, Ling Qiyu was brought back to his own heir by the turbulence of time and space, leaving Guyan alone to reminisce in the modern world. Memories one after another. An experience again and again. True and false, false and true. Guyan was already unable to tell what to choose. So many memories are the memories of myself and Ling Qiyu in the past. Time passes. In the silence of the night, Guyan regained consciousness. He opened his eyes and stared blankly at the ceiling. Perhaps it was because he practiced the pure love technique. So it doesn't matter if you take in too many memories at once. Because of this reason, this memory was engraved very clearly in his mind. Very unforgettable. Everything is a tragedy. Guyan muttered to himself. Chapter 332. How did Guyan know Xiaoling's name? All memories. Without exception. It's all tragedy. Himself and Ling Qiyu. Even in the memories of dozens or even hundreds of worlds. A final outcome is always tragedy. Why is this happening and what does it indicate? He had asked the system before whether this memory really happened. The system replied yes. However, Guyan was sure that he got to know Ling Qiyu only after reading the novel. Then why did I go through so much with him? Combined with Xiaoling's abnormality and the connection between the memory bubble and the other party, Guyan seemed to have thought of something. So I asked in my mind, System, these memories are all related to Xiaoling, right? The system was silent for a moment. Said slowly, yes. Get an answer. Guyan sighed softly. It turned out to be just as he had guessed. In other words, there are already too many clues proving that these memories are related to Xiaoling. So can you draw a conclusion yourself? Xiaoling? Maybe not Ling Qiu's secondary personality? A combination of all Ling Qiu's memories from previous lives. What about Ling Qiu in this life? Why did Xiaoling appear in Ling Qiu's body in this life? No, the most important thing is, what is your situation? Isn't this the world in that brainless urban novel that I read? Just thought of this. No. Guyan's expression became extremely complicated. Wait a minute. There are many worlds in memory. And the plots are different. Does that explain? Guyan felt a little bit surprised. Is this world another new world similar to the one in memory? The background is a world created based on the plot of a stupid urban novel that you have read and traveled through? But who is the person behind this, constantly creating the world? Who is the person who caused him and Ling Qiyu to have an unhappy ending? For some reason, Guyan thought of the prophecy in the cult book. I killed Link, in Qiyu. Guyan's mind was in a mess and he could no longer understand the current situation. System, what is the truth? Why have I experienced so many worlds with Ling Qiyu? Host, when the favorability with the pure love object reaches 100, you will get the answer. TSK, broken system. Host, regarding why this setting is used. I will explain it after the favorability is full. Seeing that the system still refused to say anything, Guyan had no choice but to give up. There is another headache right now. That is it. Xiaoling, do you also have so many memories? The other side. Xiaoling stood in front of the windowsill, staring out in a daze. She covered her chest. Where? Strange feelings keep coming up. Is it joy or sorrow? She didn't understand what was going on with the extra memories in her mind. Is it another memory of myself and Guyan? Or it's just me and Guyan? Hey, don't let yourself be whitewashed like another personality. At this time, Xiaozi's voice kept making noise in Xiaoling's mind. Xiaoling did not respond, she just covered her chest and kept replaying the nearly 100 world memories that suddenly flooded into her mind. The third day of the Gu family annual meeting. Today is the last day of the family gathering. It is also a critical day, because this year is Guyan's last chance to be elected as the head of the Gu family. On the sofa. Brother-in-law, I heard that today is the day that decides your fate. Oh, is that so? Hey, what? Now I can hear all kinds of discussions when I walk in the manor. They're all discussing whether or not you'll be voted out like the last 2 years. Oh, bang. Linger slammed her hands on the table, looking speechless and shocked at Guyan, who was lying lazily on the sofa in front of her, holding her sister in one hand and watching TV with the remote control in the other. Brother-in-law, why aren't you worried at all? You still have time to watch TV? Guyan yawned and seemed very absent-minded. After gaining new memories last night, I spent the whole night thinking about it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Ling Qiyu also noticed Guyan's abnormality, so he reached out and rubbed Guyan's temple. Guyan, what's wrong with you? What are you worried about? Tell me. Guyan was very touched when he heard this. He immediately rolled his head into Ling Qiyu's arms. Qiyu. It's painful, so painful. What's the pain? Ling Qiyu hugged Guyan, who was suddenly emotional, and asked him caringly. Although Guyan usually suddenly went crazy like this, today was different. Ling Qiyu could feel the confusion in Guyan's heart at the moment. What happened this evening? After hearing this, Guyan absorbed Qiyu's energy. He looked at Linger, who was standing there with shining eyes, and waved his hand in disdain. What are you looking at? It's time for adults now. Get out of here, little brat. Brother-in-law, you are too mean, so petty. Linger said what she wanted to say, but she left quickly under the pressure of Guyan. After sending Linger away, Guyan changed his position and lay on Ling Qiyu's soft thighs. Oops, shit. It's too comfortable to get up. But he still remembered the serious matter. So he asked, that is Qiyu, do you think Xiaoling is really your alternate personality? When I came back from Forbidden Area No. 5 not long ago, Ling Qiyu lost control of his emotions and told him about his second personality. That's why he was able to discuss this matter openly with Ling Qiyu. When Ling Qiyu heard this, he was stunned at first. Then he laughed and nodded. Of course, didn't I tell you before? Ling Qiyu's tone gradually became low, as if he didn't want to recall the past. Xiaoling is my second personality that was born after that incident. She has no emotions and is very dangerous. But it doesn't matter now, because I have completely sealed her inside my body, ensuring that she can't get out. Ling Qiyu said confidently. Actually, she used your body to come to me last night. It seems that Qiyu doesn't know much about Xiaoling's situation. Guyan suddenly realized that it was enough to understand this. He was already certain that Xiaoling was not Ling Qiyu's alter ego. Brother-in-law, Sister Su is calling you over. At this time, Linger's voice came from outside. TSK, at this very moment. While complaining, Guyan reluctantly got up from Ling Qiyu's legs. Go ahead, today is your important day. Yes, today is indeed more important. Guyan seemed to have thought of something, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Then he walked out quickly. Ling Qiyu was sitting on the sofa. I was thinking about Guyan's question in my mind. Sudden, she seemed to have thought of something. A little cold. A little cold? I never told Guyan that the name of my second personality is Xiaoling. Guyan, how did you know? Chapter 333. What surprise is Guyan going to give me? How did Guyan know Xiaoling's name? Is it a coincidence? By chance? By accident? No, probably neither. Gu Yan is not the kind of person who would suddenly say a strange name. In other words, Ling Qiu's heart sank. Gu Yan is most likely the name that Xiaoling knew. Then calculate the time node. The last time Xiaoling came out was when Gu Yan went to Forbidden Area No. 5. So, what happened at that time? Did Gu Yan find out that he was Xiaoling? And have you also chatted with Xiaoling? This is different from what was said before. Did something happen between these two people? Is it related to Gu Yan's abnormal behavior today? Ling Qiu inexplicably felt a sense of panic. Xiaoling is a very evil person. If he bewitches Gu Yan, he might do something irrational. So, Ling Qiu asked Xiaoling in his mind, Xiaoling, tell me the truth, what did you do to Gu Yan when you were in the Forbidden Area? How does Gu Yan know your name? Hearing this, Xiaoling in my mind was silent for a moment. Slowly said, nothing happened. The furnace is so abnormal. You may know the other me later. You'll know soon. Ling Qiu frowned. At this time, Lang Linger ran over. Sister, the party is about to start. Let's go. Ling Qiu took a deep breath and temporarily dispelled his doubts. No, today is a critical day for Gu Yan. Whatever it is, let's wait until after today. Thinking of this, Ling Qiu nodded softly. Well, let's go, Linger. The third day of the annual meeting started as scheduled. This year's banquet was also different from previous years. First of all, the venue layout is particularly eye-catching. The entrance of the venue is decorated with rows of towering white Roman columns, as if entering a classical palace. An exquisite crystal chandelier hangs from the ceiling, shining with soft and warm light, illuminating the entire space as if it were daytime. The ground was covered with a long red carpet, with golden lace dotted on both sides. Each table was covered with a crisp white tablecloth, set with exquisite silver cutlery and crystal glasses, and decorated with bouquets of floral arrangements in the middle. The lighting in the room is adjusted to be soft and layered, which complements the candlelight on the table, creating a romantic and mysterious atmosphere. There are live broadcast cameras placed at every angle. Some behind-the-scenes staff are arranging the scene in an orderly manner. Is this year's annual party so gorgeously decorated? Why is there a camera? What is it for? It's never been like this in previous years. Oh, you don't understand this, right? Today is young Master Gu's last chance to become the patriarch of the Gu family. Whether successful or not, it has to be done in a grand manner. That's right, you do have a point. Hey, in my opinion, young Master Gu has changed so much, he might actually be elected as the patriarch of the Gu family this year. Impossible. Gu Yan or Oyu, Gu Yingying, Gu Zihu and even Gu Lini are all powerful heirs to the family head. The guests were all shocked by the scene before them the moment they entered the banquet hall. They talked in low voices, and from time to time someone took out his mobile phone. Unable to resist recording this rare scene and capturing the beauty of these moments. The ladies' evening gowns sparkled under the lights, while the men tried their best to show their gentlemanly demeanor. In such a carefully arranged scene, the guests' faces were filled with happy smiles. Apart from Gu Zihu sat in the corner of the banquet. Inking the wine in his glass gloomily, he looked at everything in the banquet hall gloomily and powerlessly. Damn, do you think you have a sure win? Gu Zihu cursed softly. The banquets in previous years naturally didn't have so many fancy things. Not to mention the live broadcast cameras. These must have been arranged by Gu Yan. Because the other party understood that he was determined to win the votes this year. Hateful. Gu Zihu sighed inwardly. Never mind. Things have developed to this point. And no matter how jealous he is, there is nothing he can do. Speaking of which, originally, he wanted to become the head of the Gu family just to be with Zhu Hua. But now that he has Alice, then it is not necessary to become the head of the family. However, letting Gu Yan be the head of the family is more painful than killing him. Why? Gu Zihu didn't think too much about it. He shook his head, cheered himself up, and prepared to witness the final moments of the banquet. And at this time, Master Zihua, a familiar voice echoed in his ears. Gu Zihua was startled when he heard this and turned his head away. Snowflake, who seemed to have become different from before, sat next to him. The hair that originally covered half of her face was lifted up, revealing her complete face. What surprised Gu Zihua was that the other person's half-disfigured face was now intact. Even makes the snowflakes more beautiful. Gu Zihua was stunned. Snowflakes? Yes, it's me. After absorbing Gu Yan's claws and tentacles, the other half of Zhu Hua's disfigured face was also repaired. Her temperament became elegant and charming, and she looked at Gu Zihua with twinkling eyes. Master Zihua, do you really not love Zhu Hui anymore? Of course. Well, in that case, Zhu Hua will no longer pester Master Zihua. I just hope that Master Zihua can come to this place after the banquet. Zhu Hua wants to say a final goodbye to Master Zihua. Zhu Hua said as she placed a piece of paper in front of Gu Zihua. Then he left. Gu Zihua picked up the piece of paper. The address written on it was next to a pond in the Gu family manor. This is. Gu Zihua was startled. This was the place where he and Zuhua met when they were children. And it was also the place where he fell in love with Zuhua. Master Zihua, what's wrong? At this time, Alice happened to come over. I don't know what the mentality is. Gu Zihua put the paper away and said calmly. It's okay. Guests arrived one after another. Guyan and Leng Linger walked in front. Leng Qingqiu was supported by Sumu Rong and Guyan Aroyu while they chatted. Leng Linger was talking to Guyan in a mysterious manner in front of him. Brother-in-law, do you really want to do this? That's for sure. Brother-in-law? Give me the car keys and I won't tell my sister about this surprise. I was wrong. Guyan kneaded Leng Linger's yellow hair and threatened in a speechless voice. You little bastard, if you tell me in advance, you will never get your motorcycle in your life. Leng Linger yelled with a distressed look. Well, this is too much. Please, I've heard what you two were talking about. As the Night King, Leng Qingqiu said that he could hear even the quietest voice. But surprise? What surprise is Guyan going to give me? For some reason, Leng Qingqiu suddenly became a little nervous. Isn't today the Gu family's annual meeting? What does it have to do with her? Chapter 324. On the third day of the annual meeting, Ms. Leng Qingqiu and I are officially together. Time passes. All the guests were present. The important figures of the Gu family all sat in the front row of the banquet hall. The other leaders representing Gu's enterprises sat in the chairs reserved for voting. There were more than 300 voters, all of whom were heads of relatively large businesses owned by the Gu family. Leng Qingqiu sat next to Guyan, and behind him sat Lin Yin from the warrior department. She leaned close to Guyan's face and asked, Little Gu, is today the most critical day for you? Oh, leader? You know that too? Then help me threaten them so that they will vote for me. Is this appropriate? Bai Xiaozi seemed to have said that? This is not good. Leng Qingqiu felt a little helpless. She pulled Guyan's arm, then smiled at Lin Yin and said, Yin, don't listen to Guyan's nonsense, he was just joking. Oh, I see. Children are so easy to fool. Guyan laughed and shook his head. Inspection team member Sun Shi glanced at Guyan and adjusted his glasses. The young master of the Gu family is indeed so different. However, I once knew a little about the other party's reputation, although it has changed a lot now. But will more than half of the voters really support him this year? In fact, this question is not only on the minds of people within the Gu family. Even many people who have been paying attention to this matter with their own thoughts are speculating whether young Master Gu, who has been free and easy for so many years, will be brought to the bottom this year. Leng Qingqiu naturally knew what it meant for Guyan to be disqualified as an heir. Even though the other party had said many times in front of her that it didn't matter. And after losing these, how can you really not care? Guyan must have said this in order not to make her worry. So Leng Qingqiu appeared calm on the surface, but in fact, he had already handled everything in secret. Action. Leng Qingqiu issued orders in his mind. Next second, Mei Zhu and others who received the order immediately activated the night organization's skills. Buzz. A black mark instantly appeared in the depths of the eyes of half of the people present. This is Mei Zhu's exclusive martial arts ability, Shadow Slave. She can implant a shadow slave mark into a living being, causing its thoughts and consciousness to disappear imperceptibly until it becomes a body that she can control. Certainly. This time it's just for voting, so the shadow slave mark will disappear after today. In order to ensure that Guyan could safely go through the voting process, Leng Qingqiu specially asked Mei Zhu to control half of the people present. As for the other half, according to the information sent by Shangwan Maiyan, they are all Guyan's people. The noise in the meeting hall gradually subsided. The surrounding cameras were turned on, and the live broadcast of the Gu family's third-day annual meeting began. On stage, the host began with a brief introduction. Everyone is welcome to attend the Gu family's last day of the annual meeting. Today, it's an important day for our Mr. Gu. Unlike previous years, the Gu family chose to open this year's annual meeting to the public. The whole world can watch this scene through the live broadcast platform. The camera locked on Guyan's face. A training ground. Bang. Hey, Sister Chen, isn't this Guyan? The one who always followed you when you were little, and said he wanted to be a policeman. A man handed the mobile phone screen to Chen Yingyan, who was boxing. Oh? After Chen Yingyan met and chatted with Guyan and Bai Jun before, he stayed in a training base to train his ki. Seeing Guyan on the live broadcast interface at this time, his expression also looked very surprised. After thinking about it carefully, she immediately realized, oh, today is the third day of the Gu family annual meeting. Chen Yingyan put down his boxing gloves and watched the live broadcast with the people around him, and the push across all platforms. It also allowed many people to get to know the Gu family. Huh? Which big families live broadcast is this? Mobile Dad. You brought me into the wrong circle, didn't you? Don't mention it. The Western country has also received the push. I found out that the Gu family is a well-known and influential family in Zhangye, and even in the entire East country. A handsome guy in this shot is the young master of the Gu family. They are choosing an heir now. And, does she look familiar? Isn't this Link Inqiu? Damn, Link Inqiu. Why is Link Inqiu also at Gu's house? And beside Gu Yan? No, look at the little yellow-haired girl next to Link Inqiu. Isn't she that abstract beauty blogger? No, this little internet celebrity is also related to the Gu family. Gu Yan's crazy money-spending traffic push almost covered the entire online live broadcast platform. It can be said that for every person who watches short videos, after watching two videos, their Gu family's live broadcast room will pop up next. As time went by, everyone understood that the Gu family was now implementing the air voting system. It's my first time voting, so I'm a little nervous. The young master of the Gu family looks pretty handsome, so I'll vote for him. No, I think Link Inqiu is not bad as the head of the Gu family. I vote for Link Inqiu. The upstairs lady, Goddess Leng, was only invited here as a guest, so don't make a fuss. The above is quite funny. Why don't you say that Goddess Leng and Gu Yan are together? As the meeting progressed, Old Madam Gu and Old Master Gu had also finished their speeches. Then came the most critical moment of this annual meeting. The hostesses handed out paper and pens to the guests. Gu Qianming, the current head of the family, also walked onto the stage. He picked up the microphone and said to the crowd below, "And please pick up the paper and pen in your hands and write down your decision. Those who support Gu Yan, please vote in the affirmative. If you don't support it, please vote no." To be honest, after Gu Qianming finished speaking, he was a little nervous. The reason why Gu Yan was able to vote for 3 consecutive years was purely because he was the current head of the family. Generally speaking, as long as there are no major problems, Gu Yan will definitely be the next head of the Gu family. It's a pity that my son didn't do well in the past 2 years, which caused this matter to be delayed again and again, until now when the final round of voting had to be carried out. If he can hold on, then Gu Yan will become the head of the family. If I didn't make it through, then I may have to continue to serve as the head of the family. There is no end in sight. When will I be able to retire? I also want to go out with my wife and spend our honeymoon every day. Thinking about. Gu Qianming looked at Gu Yan, hoping that this kid could make some hidden moves in advance. He gave the other side so many assassins in the first place. This kid should know what to do if he is smart. Brush. The sound of pens tapping could be heard, and the atmosphere seemed a little tense. Linglinger whispered to Gu Yan, "BB. Brother-in-law, can you do this? Why don't you go on stage to canvass for votes?" A latter sneered, "Only cows and sheep stick together, while wild beasts stand too. Don't be awkward." Leng Qingqiu patted Gu Yan's head and interrupted him. By this time, she had put her mind at ease. Because it is a foregone conclusion that Gu Yan will become the head of the family. She received information filled out by everyone at the meeting from BL Yan. I felt relieved immediately. Time passes. The hostess recycled all the paper. Gu Qianlong, Gu Qianming, Gu Qianxiang and others took a quick look at the voting content. They looked at each other and made a decision. They chose to publish the voting results one by one. That of Meltdown Technologies affirmative vote. That of the RD of Intra-Brain Terminal Technology. A vote of affirmation. The person in charge of Zhangye Eye Hospital. A vote for sure. Affirmative vote. A vote of affirmation. As the affirmative votes appeared one by one, the expressions of everyone in the audience also became a little strange. Some people whose votes were manipulated felt confused. How come voting is already closed? Is this what I voted for? Gu Yan seemed to have known the answer long ago, with a nonchalant expression on his face. I only won over half of the people, but this number of votes is far more than half. Remove Gu Yan Aroyu and Gu Yingying. The person who helped him could only be. It's cold and autumn. The more Lenglinger listened, the brighter her eyes became, until the last affirmative vote came. She clenched her fists excitedly and whispered happily to Gu Yan. "Brother-in-law, you are awesome, you are elected unanimously." Gu Yan chuckled. "I can't help it, I'm just so charming." Gu Yan Aroyu and Gu Yingying looked at each other and were also a little surprised. Although they had informed their people in advance, but they didn't expect Gu Yan to be elected unanimously. Gu Zihua also voted for Gu Yan. As for Gu Zihua, he was also marked by the shadow slave mark, so he voted in the affirmative unconsciously. Now he was also very shocked and confused. The voting results came out and it was passed unanimously. Happiness came to suddenly. Gu Qianming said if he didn't know that he had done nothing. I'm afraid everyone will think this is a shady deal. After a minute of discussion, Gu Chanming picked up the microphone and said to everyone present, "Well, after discussion and voting, it seems that the result is good. Gu Yan passed unanimously." Pa pa pa. There was endless applause. And everyone knows what this means. The next head of the Gu family is Gu Yan. As the live broadcast footage was released, netizens were also very surprised. Elected unanimously. Isn't this a shady deal? What are you talking about? There is more than one heir. Gu Yan, if you want to do something behind the scenes, you need the consent of others. Does Gu Yan really have this ability? Does he have any works or contributions? I don't know. I've never heard of Gu Yan before. You outsiders definitely don't know that Gu Yan is very famous in Zhanghe. I say, today is not Sunday, don't you guys have to go to work? Are you all just slacking off? I feel like I'm sorry for taking this job if I don't slack off with a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan. Ox. In fact, Lin Qingqiu was not that surprised to hear this result. After all, he had made so many preparations, it was unrealistic for Gu Yan not to be the heir. Gu Yan, it's your turn to speak on stage. Lin Qingqiu had already memorized a set of procedures. So he reminded the other party in a low voice. Yeah, that's right. Gu Yan nodded and then stood up. Walked towards the stage. The sound gradually became lower and the camera locked on Gu Yan's face. Everyone wanted to see how Gu Yan would react after learning the result. Happy? Excited? Thrilled? After all, he was almost kicked out of the category of heirs. Boom boom. Gu Yan stood on the stage, tested his sound, and glanced at everyone. After his eyes swept across the faces of each person, he finally spoke. Dear guests, dear friends and relatives, welcome to our Gu family's annual meeting. On this solemn day today, I want to announce something. This is something that is very important to me. The more Lin Qingqiu listened, the stranger his expression looked. Why does this opening remark seem a bit irrelevant to today's topic? Did Gu Yan forget his words? Is this what you said after you were elected as the head of the family? And something important, what else? Next second, buzz, soft music slowly began to play. Gu Yan looked at someone in the audience, and a gentle smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. In fact, many people know about this, but I still want to make this matter public on this occasion. Speaking of this, Gu Yan took a deep breath. The camera also followed Gu Yan's gaze and focused on Lin Qingqiu's face. Gu Yan's voice also spread throughout the banquet hall and even all the live broadcast screens. He smiled and said, "My fiancee, Ms. Lin Qingqiu, and I are officially together." As soon as these words came out, Lin Qingqiu was stunned at first. Then she was so scared that she suddenly opened her eyes. He looked at Gu Yan's life source on the stage in disbelief. You say this in this situation? Lin Qingqiu's brain stopped thinking, and her face was quickly flushed with a layer of red. Night organization members. Everyone at the scene. Chapter 335 Annual Meeting ends. The 3-day annual meeting is over. When Gu Yan became the next head of the family and announced that he was officially dating Lin Qingqiu, everyone was dumbfounded. Originally, the Gu family already had the support of Su Murong's Su family. And now, Gu Yan has become the head of the family and has Lin Qingqiu's help. Now, the power of the Gu family will increase several times again. You have to understand that Lin Qingqiu's influence on the world back then was too great. And her enchanting talent was the kind of help that every family wanted to have. Originally, everyone lived in peace, and each top family only had one top force that was similar to itself. In the end, you are the one who takes care of your family. First, there was Su Murong, the daughter of the Su family in Beijing. Now he has also won over the evil genius Lin Qingqiu. Back then, Lin Qingqiu was described by Long Aotin, the old man of the Long family in Beijing, as someone who could single an action defeat 5 top families. This shows how great Lin Qingqiu's influence is. It's a pity that something happened in the other party's family, and he also destroyed his own eyes. After 5 years of silence, it gradually disappeared from the public eye. Result: now it seems that you are in love. However, there are still many people who do not believe that Lin Qingqiu is really with the eldest son of the Gu family just for love. Maybe the two of them treat each other with respect and are just pretending to be a couple for the sake of profit. Maybe there is nothing going on between them at all. Zhanghe Banquet Street. Lian and Lin Qingqiu walk side by side on the street. The latter has not yet recovered from the annual meeting. Have I officially announced it with Gu Yan? Lin Qingqiu's mood was complicated. She had never thought that Gu Yan would announce their relationship in this way. I heard from Langlinger that Gu Yan was still broadcasting live. Doesn't this mean that the fact that I'm in love with Gu Yan known to everyone? It's quite embarrassing to think about it. Gu Yan, Qingqiu. They spoke almost at the same time. Ling Qingqiu took a deep breath, held Gu Yan's hand tightly, and said, "You speak first." Gu Yan nodded, then said slowly, "Will you blame me for announcing our relationship without telling you?" Hearing this, Ling Qingqiu thought about it. "Do you hate it?" "Actually, I don't hate it, I'm just a little shy. It's actually not that bad. Just a little embarrassing." "Shame on you?" "Well, after all, this will attract too much attention at once. Which makes me feel a little embarrassed." Ling Qingqiu clenched Gu Yan's hand slightly. Her face flushed a little. After hearing this, Gu Yan actually understood Ling Qingqiu's psychological changes. Only, this official announcement and live broadcast to the world is a must. This also paves the way for subsequent plans. "Feel sorry." Gu Yan spoke softly. Ling Qingqiu was stunned. Raised his head, opened his eyes and looked at Gu Yan in confusion. Under her eyes of the night, all of Gu Yan's emotional changes were visible. His life essence was constantly changing at this time. And his heart seemed to be in a state of apology and guilt. "Is it because I told you the reason why I was shy that Gu Yan felt guilty?" Ling Qingqiu suddenly chuckled. She didn't expect Gu Yan to have such a side. "What's wrong?" "It's okay, I just think you're pretty cute." Gu Yan, it's okay actually, although I'm shy about the official announcement. I feel unexpectedly good. A smile appeared on Ling Qingqiu's face. And at this moment, buzz. The influence of the power of night on her was also reduced a little again. It's almost time the power of night will disappear. Gu Yan also noticed this. He held Ling Qingqiu's hand even tighter. "Feel sorry. Actually sorry for what you are going to do afterwards." Although not in the identity of Gu Yan. "But after all, I made it with my own hands. Qingqiu, forgive me." At this time, "Brother-in-law, sister, please walk faster." Ling Linger was running in the front. And she shouted happily to Gu Yan and Ling Qingqiu. On her left and right stood Gu Yingying and Ning Qian. The two men held Ling Linger's hands and looked very happy. Young people have a lot of energy. Gu Yan put aside the thoughts in his mind, returned to the present and chuckled teasingly. Ling Qingqiu smiled and nodded in agreement when he heard this. As he spoke, Ling Qingqiu seemed to have noticed something. She held out the back of her hand. The snowflake fell on the back of her hand and melted, bringing with it a warm feeling. "Is it snowing?" "Wow. It's snowing, sis." Ling Linger raised her head and looked at the snowflakes falling bit by bit with twinkling eyes. Gu Yan raised his head and saw snowflakes falling bigger than ever before. "It looks like the snow is going to accumulate after tonight," Gu Yan said softly. Ling Qingqiu withdrew his hand and nodded slightly, as if he had thought of something. An idea flashed through her mind. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise slightly. Gu Yan held Ling Qingqiu's hand and walked towards Ling Linger, who was running away. "What's wrong? Did you think of something happy?" "It's a secret." Ling Qingqiu's lips curled up and he seemed to have thought of the scene at that time. The two walked in the gradually falling snow. Once upon a time, she never thought that she would be like today, walking leisurely on the street hand in hand with the person she loves. She chuckled. "I wish we could still go to banquets like this next year." Ling Qingqiu's words reached Gu Yan's ears. He couldn't help but hold Ling Qingqiu's hand tighter. "Yes, I will. I promise." At night, it was snowing heavily outside. Today, Gu Yan is the only one in the Gu family. Sumo Rong and Gu Qianming were still at the Gu family manor with Gu Yan's grandparents. Gu Yan sat on the single sofa. He closed his eyes as if waiting for something. Next second, buzz! Meizu walked out from the shadows and stood behind Gu Yan. She looked at Gu Yan's back with a very complicated expression. "I chose to devote myself to Gu Yan because of my younger brother." But the longer she followed Gu Yan, the more she discovered how terrifying he was. "Al?" Gu Yan spoke calmly. After hearing this, Meizu thought for a moment and then handed a photo to Gu Yan. When Gu Yan opened his eyes, he saw a very creepy picture. Snowflake, covered with black tentacles, held Gu Zihu's head in her arms with a happy look on her face. The two died together under a big tree by the river. Gu Zihu's face was extremely terrifying and hideous, which was in stark contrast to Zuhu's happy expression. Gu Yan chuckled. "Wow." The photo turned into black and gray and disappeared. After the snowflake receives the claw cells, the fate of Gu Zihu and Zuhu was already determined. This matter will soon spread internally, and after some investigation, the warriors in the department will also detect the Ori of the Night King on Snowflake. And it was just the right time for him to take action. "Think of this," Gu Yan said calmly. "Meizu, the plan is about to begin. Don't forget your brother." Hearing this, Meizu clenched her fists. "Yes." After Meizu left, Gu Yan closed his eyes again and fell silent. Time passed slowly, and Gu Yan remained in the same position and did not leave, as if he was waiting for someone. Next second, "Lu Ding, are you ready?" A cold voice came from Gu Yan's ears. Guyan opened his eyes and saw that Xiaoling had sat on the armrest of the sofa without him noticing. She turned her back to Guyan and looked at the wind and snow howling outside the window. Within a week at the latest, the power of night in my other self will completely disappear. Then it will be time for you to take action. Speaking of this, Xiaoling glanced at Guyan, who was thinking about something with his head down, and said slowly, when you obtain night, you must also bear the consequences brought by night. In other words, you will take over everything that should have been borne by her instead of the other me. Karma is a very scary thing, Lu Ding, you have to think it through. Having said that, Xiaoling paused. She stood up and her figure slowly disappeared into the darkness. Only the sound was heard by Guyan. If you still have no hesitation, even if this is the case, Lu Ding, then, I will help you then. The sound disappears. Guyan sighed softly. No matter what, I have to do it. Chapter 336 Christmas Eve, the meeting of the two Night Kings. I'm past. A week later, a heavy snowstorm that had lasted for a week in Zhanghe finally stopped. After the heavy snow, thick white snow covered the ground. Every tree in every house was decorated with snowflakes as if they were wearing a silver gauze skirt. The clouds in the sky gradually dissipated, and the moonlight sprinkled down, reflecting the snow on the ground, forming a clear, bright silver-blue hue. The snow on the street was gently blown by the wind, like white waves in winter, slowly dancing in the air. Amidst this harmonious sound, the snow accumulated on the branches occasionally fell down slightly due to the heavy weight, making a slight sound. In this snow-covered world, time seems to slow down, and everything is immersed in this endless white tranquility, creating a sense of peace that purifies the soul. It was 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and since it was winter, it was already dark. Ling family, brother-in-law, look, this is the peace fruit my sister gave me. This is the peace apple Quan gave me, she has returned to school. This is the peace fruit Ning Qian gave me. This is the peace apple that Gu Yingying gave me. And these are peace apples given to me by girls and boys from other classes in my school. Are you envious? Langlinger was holding several bags filled with apples in her left and right hands. He happily showed off his achievements in front of Guyan and Ling Qingqiu. Guyan looked somewhat helpless. I have to say, isn't this kid's charm a little too amazing? Why do so many girls and boys give her gifts? Suitable for both men and women. You know, Biaoan Lan and Ning Qian were previously the protagonists Shaolin's harem. How come they have been recruited by this little female ghost now? Who is the protagonist? Ling Qingqiu put her jade feet away and placed them on the sofa. Her body curled up in Guyan's arms, even though the heater was on in the living room. Hearing that his sister was so popular, Ling Qingqiu was also happy for her. Linger, did you return the gift? Yes, I gave each of them a peace apple in return. At this point, Ling Linger yelled a grieved lie, my little treasury is gone. Ling Qingqiu then nodded. Tonight is Christmas Eve, which is actually a Western holiday. Ling Qingqiu usually doesn't care much about this kind of festival. In the past, people even scoff at this, thinking it was nonsense to say that giving a peace apple could ensure safety. But now, use the name of the festival to meet with people you want to meet. Have a meal and go out for fun. It seems like a good idea when you think about it this way. Many people are not interested in most festivals, but this festival gives them a reason to get together. While Ling Linger was carrying the bag to take pictures, Ling Qingqiu picked up an apple from the table and handed it to Guyan. Here, you have what Linger has, to here you go. Oh, is this considered a peace fruit? Why, if it's not packaged, it doesn't count? Forget it, Qingqiu, I love everything you give me. Aha, you're just a chatterbox, I'll go get a fruit knife. Good. Having said that, Ling Qingqiu went to the kitchen. Guyan held the apple in his hand, looked at it for a moment, and then fell silent. He already felt it. The power of night in Ling Qingqiu's body has completely disappeared. In other words, he can take action now. Guyan clenched the apple tightly. Frowning, he had considered several possibilities. He could reveal his identity to Ling Qingqiu and tell her everything he was going to do. And Ling Qingqiu understood how dangerous the night dagger was. And given the other party's current personality, there was absolutely no way he would give it to him. And if the dagger of night is not taken away, Ling Qingqiu still has the possibility of becoming the Night King. Once this possibility exists, the other party may follow the predetermined path and end up dying. Guyan doesn't want that kind of thing to happen. Not even if there is a slight possibility. Therefore, in order to make Ling Qingqiu leave the original plot line, the only way is to seize the dagger himself. There would even be risks if the dagger was handed over to other people. Only by controlling it yourself can you ensure maximum safety. After obtaining the dagger, he threw the dagger of night into the system space and used the power of the system to seal the dagger. Make sure nothing goes wrong. At this time, Ling Qiyu had already taken the fruit knife and walked over. She once again sensed Gu Yan's struggle, so she asked with concern. What's wrong with you? It's okay, I'm just looking forward to you peeling an apple for me. Ling Qiyu. Well, you'll have to wait and see. I've only had my family members shave them since I was a child. Aha, then am I considered your family member, King Qiyu? Ling Qiyu was silent for a while after hearing this, and then saw Gu Yan's complicated expression. The other person blushed and nodded. Yeah. Ling Qiyu couldn't see Gu Yan's complicated expression. She handed the peeled apple to the family member she recognized. Dear, by the way, you leave later today. I have a surprise for you. Okay, there's a surprise? Gu Yan was a little surprised. Ling Qiyu hugged Gu Yan's arm and snuggled up to him. Chuckling, why, you are allowed to surprise me, but I am not allowed to surprise you. Haha, okay. Gu Yan smiled and rubbed Ling Qiyu's head. Then, let's wait a little longer. Time passes slowly. The clock struck 12 midnight. Christmas Eve is over. Christmas is coming. Gu Yan sat in the house where he could see the courtyard. Ling Linger was dressed neatly and making a snowman in the yard. From time to time, he would call Gu Yan to come and play together. Normally Gu Yan would probably just go over there. But now he doesn't want to do that. Because in the future, the time I spend with King Qiyu like this will probably be very few. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps from behind. Dear. Ling Qiyu's voice came, and at the same time Gu Yan felt a soft and warm feeling on his neck. There was also a scent that belonged to Ling Qiyu emanating from it. Gu Yan was stunned. He looked at his neck and saw an extremely exquisite hand-woven black scarf. Ling Qiyu sat next to Gu Yan and said with a smile. This is a scarf I knitted a long time ago using the materials you bought. Well, Linger didn't like it, so I gave it to you. After a moment of silence, Gu Yan couldn't help but reach out and hug Ling Qiyu. The latter was a little unresponsive and blushed. There's no need to react so strongly. You like it? Feel sorry. Gu Yan said softly then. After letting go of Ling Qiyu, he replied seriously. I like it very much. Oh, yeah, I don't know what to say. Actually, I also prepared a scarf. Gu Yan took out the scarf he had knitted long ago from the system backpack and put it on Ling Qiyu. This was a scarf made a long time ago when Ling Linger, Bei Jun and others went to the commercial street and purchased some balls of yarn and needles. It took me some time at that time, not to mention the difficulty of weaving as Ling Qiyu was unable to see. Oh, you're stealing my idea. Ling Qiyu touched the scarf and covered the corners of her upturned mouth. But I like it very much, so I forgive you. Time passes. The two held hands and no one spoke, but Ling Qiyu felt extremely happy at this moment. As a cold wind blew out of the house, Ling Qiyu couldn't help but speak, and said expectantly, Gu Yan, next year, let's exchange scarves again. Good. Gu Yan held Ling Qiyu's hand tightly and gave a solemn reply. However, happy moments are short-lived. No matter how Gu Yan delays, what is coming will still come. Ling family study. Sister, my brother-in-law is gone. I'm going to sleep. Ling Linger was too tired from playing, so she yawned and returned to her room. Well, be careful not to catch a cold. Ling Qiyu sat in the study, stroking the scarf that Gu Yan had knitted for her with a gentle expression. Well, it's beautiful and very happy. I like it very much. If only it could be like this for the rest of my life. Linger said that she would call Gu Yan to build a snowman and dig a snow cave together tomorrow. Although she couldn't see it, it would feel very nice to listen to them playing and fighting beside her. The more Ling Qiyu thought about it, the happier his face became. She put away her scarf, stood up, and chuckled. It's time to go to bed. The words haven't finished yet. Flick! An inexplicable feeling of depression filled Ling Qiyu's heart. She suddenly opened her eyes and looked towards the corner of the study. Just see. At some point, a person emitting a strange dark light source stood there. His voice is like a combination of multiple timbres, echoing in the room. The Night King, or rather, the former Night King. How long do you want to immerse yourself in this false illusion? Ling Qiyu's face changed drastically, and the other party's identity suddenly popped up in his mind. Fake Night King? Chapter 337, There is always someone who wants to replace the seat of power. In the darkness, the atmosphere in the room was depressing and heavy. This was the first time Ling Qiyu met the fake Night King. In her night eyes, the person in front of her exuded an undisguised malice. But amidst the malice, there was a hint of aura that was familiar to Ling Qiyu. He was like a shadow sliding out from a crack in the void. Silent and threatening, like a bottomless black hole, swallowing up all the light and heat around him. There was sarcasm and ridicule in the other person's voice. Ling Qiyu's eyes slowly emitted a green light. She stared at the other person intently and slowly revealed his identity. You fake, are you here to seek death? Seeking death? An imposter. After hearing what Ling Qiyu said, the dark man raised his hand and laughed sarcastically. You are immersed in the land of gentleness, do you have the right to say this? This world is no longer what you know it to be. In the seat of power, there are always people who want to take over. Night King, you are no longer worthy of sitting in this position. The words fell. Buzz. Endless darkness emerged all around. It swallowed up all the light in an instant. Ling Qiyu's face changed. In just a breath, she found herself leaving her original study. The two of them stood on the ground in another space at the same time. The earth was empty and the sky was swallowed by darkness without any light. Ling Qiyu couldn't see the entire venue. But one can also feel the desolation and endless death of this place. Space conversion. Ling Qiyu gradually calmed down. She looked at the fake Night King who brought her here. With a wave of the right hand, Buzz, the black dagger of night was held in her hand. Ling Qiyu stared at the other person intently and said, You found yourself a nice cemetery, faker. However, even when facing the Night King with a dagger in hand, the dark man still said leisurely, Fake? Lord Night King, it seems you haven't understood what I said before. Ling Qiyu frowned. What do you mean? It means. The other party gradually said something that made Ling Qiyu's face darken. Will you really continue to be the Night King now? It's ridiculous and pathetic that the Night King is playing a love game with an ordinary human. Do you still want revenge? As soon as these words came out, Ling Qiyu's face became extremely gloomy. What the other party said was right. It is true that I missed a lot of organizational work because of my relationship with Guyan. But this doesn't mean that I don't want revenge. Revenge? I have never forgotten it for a moment. Ling Qiyu also knew that the other party wanted to disturb his mind. But it was a pity. She took a light breath, pointed the tip of the dagger at the dark man, and said coldly, There is no point in saying more. Fake, although I don't know how you found out my identity. Her eyes glowed with a faint green light. You will die here today. The words fell. Hush. The dark man's body seemed to be cut in half by something. A straight scratch cut across the dark man's head. The latter quickly turned into a cloud of black smoke and dissipated in the air. Seeing this scene, Ling Qiyu's expression relaxed slightly, but the next second, a strong sense of danger enveloped my whole body. Do you think you can still use the power of the dagger now? A shrill laugh came from behind Ling Qiyu. Without hesitation, she grasped the dagger and slashed backwards. However, clang, boom, a night dagger that should have been able to kill everything, at this moment, seemed to be blocked by something and made a crisp sound. Ling Qiyu was startled and she looked at the thing that was blocking her dagger. It's another black dagger. The man of darkness is Gu Yan. The combination of Peach Blossom's secret technique, the breath concealment of the claw cells, the water mirror, the Night King's clothes provides multiple concealment tests. He was able to perfectly hide his aura and not let it escape. It can even disrupt other people's five senses, thus creating extremely realistic illusion effects. Gu Yan called this move Mirror Image in Water Moon. Just like just now, Ling Qiyu thought he had cut off his lifeline with the dagger. But unfortunately, this was just Gu Yan making the other party think that he had cut it off. In fact, Ling Qiyu didn't make any move at all at that time. Gu Yan held the dagger made by his claws, which was exactly the same as Ling Qiyu's. It collided with the dagger in Ling Qiyu's hand. Just as he guessed, when Ling Qiyu was gradually no longer recognized by Yi, the power of night in her would disappear. And she will gradually become unable to use the power of the night dagger. For example, at this moment, he could clearly feel that the power of the Night King on the night dagger had dissipated. In the hands of an unrecognized person, this dagger becomes a sharper and harder weapon. If it weren't for the existence of Xiaolang in Ling Qiyu's body, I'm afraid, the moment Ling Qiyu grasps the dagger, the power of the dagger will be completely absorbed. Click. Ling Qiyu felt as if her heart was hit hard. But she held the dagger in her hand calmly. I felt it in my heart. Just like what the faker said. Am I gradually losing control of the dagger? What is the reason for this? Ling Qiyu was thinking frantically in his heart. But on the surface he remained very calm. Because she understood her true thoughts and must not let the enemy see through them. While Ling Qiyu was thinking, Gu Yan continued his attack. Ding 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 ding. The constant collision between the daggers produced fierce sparks. Even though the Night King's power is not as strong as before. However, relying on his previous experience in controlling the dagger, Ling Qiyu was still able to easily deal with Gu Yan's attack. However, the gradually disappearing power of the Night King also caused Ling Qiyu's physical fitness to decline rapidly. And Gu Yan continued to attack Ling Qiyu's heart. Haven't you realized yet, Night King, you have lost the ability to control the dagger? Feel your own strength, Don. Do you find it's much weaker than before? Ling Qiyu certainly felt it. But she would not be led by the other party. and said coldly, "Just like I said before, this little power is enough to kill you here. TSK, I can't see this person's lifeline. Why the Night King's power is fading? What's causing this?" Blang! Guyan deflected Lang Qinyu's dagger and then stepped back. He stood there, keeping a certain distance from Lang Qingyu, as if he had heard something particularly interesting. He couldn't help but let out a harsh laugh. "Death? Former Night King, do you still feel the same way after seeing this?" As he spoke, under Lang Qinyu's stunned gaze, a black hole vortex opened at the same time. Buzz! An unconscious figure slowly emerged from the crowd with someone pinching his neck. Although the opponent's life essence is somewhat different from before, and it is very dim. However, Lang Qingyu could still vaguely tell that the other party was Guyan. Lang Qingyu felt panic in his heart. At the same time, Lang Qingyu looked at Meizu's life essence that was holding Guyan's neck with some disbelief. "Meizu, why is she here? Still with the fake Night King?" Chapter 338. Taking the dagger away, Lang Qingyu realizes Guyan's identity. Meizu held Guyan's fake body and didn't dare to look at her former owner, but followed the script. She had to say, "Lang Qingyu, you are no longer suitable to lead us." As she spoke, Meizu pinched the fake Guyan's neck and said, "This man has influenced you and made you so cowardly. Look at yourself, the power of the night is gradually decreasing. You can no longer control the dagger," etc. Looking at Guyan groaning in pain as his neck was gradually tightened, Lang Qingyu suddenly became at a loss. She was originally calm, but immediately became visibly flustered. She quickly looked at the fake Night King. "Let Guyan go, this is a matter between you and me." However, this only brought more sarcastic laughter. "Why, as the Night King, are you so flustered because of a man? Do you think you are still worthy of being the Night King? No, it is not." Lang Qingyu clenched the dagger, looked at Guyan and then at the fake Night King. "What are you going to do? Let Guyan go first, he is just an ordinary person. Don't involve innocent people." Lang Qingyu's voice trembled a little. She didn't understand why things turned out like this. The sudden disappearance of the power of night and the betrayal of subordinates. Guyan was arrested and she had no way to resolve the current situation. Even Xiaoling in her mind did not respond to her. Innocent? Would the Night King care about that? Guyan put away the claw dagger. Slowly walked towards Lang Qingyu. "Look at the dagger in your hand. It is feeling sad for you. Your cowardice has caused the dagger's power to no longer lean towards you." The situation was set, just when Lang Qingyu was shaken by Guyan. "It means that he has completely lost the qualifications to become the Night King." The latter clenched the dagger, but soon loosened it. The fake one is right. No matter how much he denied it, it was an indisputable fact that he could not use the power of the dagger. Immediately following, Guyan walked up to Lang Qingyu and extended his hand to her. No matter how unwilling he was, Guyan still had to say, "Lang Qingyu, you are no longer suitable to be the Night King. You should realize this. Give me the dagger, and I will let the person you love return safely. But comparatively speaking, you will be an ordinary person throughout your life. Choose now, do you want Guyan to die in front of you, or give up the identity of the Night King?" The words of the fake Night King continued to sting Lang Qingyu's ears. Her breathing became slightly faster and her heart beat as fast as a drum. She didn't understand why the other party would discuss this condition with her under the current circumstances. In the past, she would have thought about it. But now, her mind was only thinking about, "Guyan will die? No, I can't let Guyan die. But give up the dagger." Giving up the power of the Night King would be like giving up the power of revenge. If I can't get revenge, then what's the meaning of my life? But if he doesn't hand over the dagger, Guyan will die. I no longer have the strength to control the dagger to resolve the current situation. Meizu's martial arts can allow her to teleport instantly and take Guyan away from here. She dare not imagine what will happen then. The struggle in Lang Qingyu's heart was like a sail torn violently by a storm. She knew that once she handed over the dagger, she will lose the power to take revenge. However, if she doesn't hand over the person she loves, the one she can never let go of, she will die. What should I do? What should I do? The pain raged in my heart like a bone-eating corrosion. Endless pain flashed through Lang Qingyu's heart. At this moment, she felt as if she was thrown into endless darkness, with no direction and no light. She closed her eyes gently, trying to find a ray of light belonging to her soul in this dark abyss. But there was no way, no solution. She couldn't find another breakthrough. Give up the dagger or give up Guyan. Which is more important? Strength or Guyan? This in the past, perhaps strength was more important to her. But now, strength can be cultivated again, and Guyan. I see. Lang Qingyu's voice was hoarse and his hands were trembling slightly. The dagger reflected a dim light in her palm. A long time. Ling Qingqiu lowered his head and slowly placed the dagger of night into the palm of the fake Night King in front of him. A moment. Ling Qingqiu discovered the connection between himself and the dagger. And it was completely cut off. And the imagined scene of the fake Night King being devoured by the power of the dagger did not appear. The moment the dagger was placed in the palm of the fake Night King, there was no sign of devouring reaction. This means, dagger recognized the fake Night King before him. Ling Qingqiu, realizing this, clenched his fists. But suddenly, as if by telepathy, another wave of sadness suddenly surged in Ling Qingqiu's heart. Is this Gu Yan's emotion? She opened her eyes and lowered her head to look at the slightly changed life essence of the fake person at her feet. Ling Qingqiu realized that he seemed in the body of the fake Night King. She once again sensed a life essence that was very familiar to her. She raised her head and looked at Gu Yan, who was held by Meizu's neck. The source of life is dim and dull. It is very different from Gu Yan's previous dazzling life source. Ling Qingqiu's heart was suddenly stunned. Gu Yan has already put the dagger into the system space. He looked at the silent Ling Qingqiu, and his eyes became extremely complicated. He sighed in his heart. No words, no interruptions. Just a slight raise of the hand. Buzz. The surrounding environment changed. And the figures of Gu Yan and Meizu disappeared. The scene change is complete. Ling Qingqiu returned to the Ling family study again. In contrast, she found that she had lost the ability to see the line. Ling Qingqiu remained silent. Suddenly she sensed a familiar scent. Is this perception? Gu Yan's aura? Ling Qingqiu murmured to herself. She touched her eyes. She still couldn't see things clearly like a normal person. But the perception didn't disappear. I just lost the power of the Night King. But my perception did not disappear. And Ling Qingqiu stood up and chased in the direction of the familiar breath he sensed. She ran very fast, and her perception was larger, wider, and clearer than before. Ling Qingqiu ran out of the house. Running in one direction. The Night King's power disappeared. And her Night King physique disappeared with it. In a moment, she was panting like a normal person. Finally, we reached a corner. She saw the familiar, shining life essence. His perception did not disappear with the disappearance of the dagger. At the same time, when you see the source of life in front of you, Ling Qingqiu also seemed to realize something. Gu Yan leaned against the car with his head covered. His expression was very confused. Qingqiu, I just seem to. The words haven't finished yet. Ling Qingqiu rushed over and hugged Gu Yan tightly. She closed her eyes, not wanting to think or say anything. Her voice trembled. Gu Yan, I don't need anything anymore. I just want you to please don't leave me. Lines of tears flowed from the corners of Ling Qingqiu's eyes. She slowly raised her head and opened her eyes. When she looked at the man she trusted the most, she finally couldn't help sobbing and said, Promise me. Gu Yan, don't leave me. All the terms that Gu Yan had prepared disappeared. At this moment, he suddenly felt that he was a bastard who did not deserve to be forgiven even if he was killed 1,000 times. Full of lies and hypocrisy, taking away the Night King's dagger is equivalent to taking away Ling Qingqiu's path to revenge. I am so hypocritical. Is this the pain of deceiving Qingqiu? Gu Yan clenched his fists. He stretched out his hand and embraced Ling Qingqiu in his arms. His expression was also very complicated. I promise you. And after getting a response, Ling Qingqiu buried her face in Gu Yan's arms, sobbing silently. She didn't want to think about anything, didn't want to consider anything, and didn't care about anything. Because, just now, she discovered a fact that made her sad, desperate and uneasy. That is on the fake Night King. And on Gu Yan. The source of life she sensed was actually the same breath. The fake Night King was actually Gu Yan. After coming to this conclusion, Ling Qingqiu felt like his breathing was about to stop. What makes Ling Qingqiu even sadder is that even if she knows the truth, but I still can't bear the hatred towards Gu Yan. Ling Qingqiu tightly grasped the corner of Gu Yan's clothes, feeling the familiar smell on him. Her heart seemed to be broken at this moment. The person who took away my power of revenge turned out to be Gu Yan. What to do? What should I do? Chapter 339 Controlling the Dagger. Shinchan jumps off the building. Ling family. The cold wind is howling outside the window. Gu Yan sat at the head of the bed, silently looking at Ling Qingqiu who was sleeping on the bed. He can feel it. Feel the pain and struggle in Ling Qingqiu's heart. He understood the other party, because once Ling Qingqiu lost the dagger, he would lose the power of the night. But taking away the dagger is a necessary step in the plan. Gu Yan's ultimate goal is to completely free Ling Qingqiu from the connection with the Night King, thus standing in the sun in the true sense. As time passed, Gu Yan did not leave, but waiting for someone. In less than a moment, the temperature dropped sharply all around. Xiaoling took over and opened his eyes. She sat up, Her cold eye swept across Gu Yan's complicated face, and she couldn't help but sarcastically asked, "Do you regret it?" Gu Yan was silent for a moment and shook his head. "No regrets." As he spoke, he looked at Xiaoling seriously and stated his purpose. "Give me the authority of the Night Dagger? It doesn't take much. I just need to borrow a little bit of the dagger's power. No matter how similar he looks to the Night King. But without the power of the night, it would be impossible to make the fake look real. If you want to do it, you have to make sure it is foolproof." Hearing this, Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan in surprise and said, "Are you serious? Your body has reached the limit of being able to touch a dagger. You are the one who releases the power of night. If you use the power of the dagger once, it will be fine. But if you use it multiple times..." Xiaoling's tone changed slightly. But before she could explain the reason, Gu Yan interrupted and said, "No, I'll be fine." Gu Yan looked at Xiaoling seriously. "Please, Xiaoling, help me this time. Is it necessary to do this?" After Xiaoling finished speaking, he stared at Gu Yan for a few seconds. Finally she could only look away. She stretched out her finger and said calmly, "Come closer." Gu Yan rested his forehead against it. The fingertips pierced into Gu Yan's forehead and hindered. Suddenly, a strange feeling appeared in Gu Yan's heart. Congratulations to the host for receiving the power of night, from the objective pure love. Now you can use night. At the same time, a system prompt sound popped up in my mind. After Xiaoling retracted his fingertips, he said calmly, "Go away, don't come here these days." "What's wrong?" Gu Yan was slightly stunned as he touched his slowly repairing brows. Not quite understanding what he heard, Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan again, looking at the face that had appeared in his mind many times, and explained the reason. "The other one, I know your identity. Even so she still likes you. Let her calm down alone these days." The words fell. Gu Yan's heart felt as if it was stabbed hard by a sharp knife. His expression turned bitter. "How come? I have clearly done all the disguises. But Lang Qiyu still noticed it. You are worthy of being my wife." Oh, Yan smiled. One couldn't tell whether it was bitter or happy. Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan speechlessly. "You are still laughing at this time. I don't know whether to say you are careless or what." She shook her head. "It's getting late, you should go. You should have other things to do these days." Gu Yan nodded and stood up when he heard this. Just as he was about to leave, he looked at Xiaoling hesitantly. Xiaoling, are you more emotional?" I don't know if it was Gu Yan's illusion, but Xiaoling has changed a lot this time compared to before. Hearing this, Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan expressionlessly. "You said too much." Gu Yan coughed lightly and left. Xiaoling, on the other hand, let out a soft sigh in the dark night. The next day, in a street alley, "Bang. I'll pay it back, I'll pay it back, I'll pay it back. Stop hitting me. Stop hitting me, I'll ask my sister to pay you back." Chen Weiner's younger brother Shenqianzang was huddled in a corner with his head in his hands and a bruised face. Tell you, Shenqian, if you hadn't said that you were still in contact with young Master Gu, do you think we would have lent you the money? Now look. You've been lying to me. Do you know how much risk I took to lend you 5 million? The debt collector grabbed Shenqian's hair angrily and slapped him in the face rapidly and continuously. He didn't throw Shenqian to the ground until the debt collector couldn't beat him anymore. He said coldly, "I'll give you one more day. If you can't pay me back tomorrow, I'll sink you into the sea to feed the fish." "Oh no, besides me, there should be many people who want to do this." Shenqian was beaten so badly that he couldn't speak at all. Only when he heard the debt collector threaten his life did he whimper and beg for mercy. The debt collector left. Shenqian was lying in the alley, his face pale and his breathing rapid. No. Why did this happen to me? I can't die, I absolutely can't die." Shenqian's pupils continued to shrink. "As long as you give me some more money, I will definitely be able to pay back everything I owe you." Shenqian owed more than 5 million. In fact, he had already owed tens of millions to various major casinos. If the others knew that he couldn't pay it back, then I'm afraid he would be finished. That's right. Shenqian seemed to have thought of something. When he lost everything before, a mysterious man told him about it. He could provide him with funds, but only at a price. Yes, as long as we find that person. Shenqian saw hope. Yes, there was a way. He just had to get the money from the other party. You can make a comeback on your own. 3 days later, Shenwaner was a little anxious in the office. What's going on? I always have a bad feeling. Shenwaner murmured to herself. Her chest had always felt stuffy in the past few days. It seems like something big is about to happen. Talking about big things, Shenwaner opened the chat window on her mobile phone. The first one pinned to the top is the work group, and the second one is Xiaolin. After she confirmed her relationship with Xiaolin, she found that her life had not changed much. Originally, she and Xiaolin confirmed their relationship, but in fact, It was because of the stimulation from Gu Yan and Leng Qingqiu that they became backward compatible. It's confirmed, so it's confirmed anyway. Shaolin is okay and can protect her. At this time, buzz buzz buzz. Shen Weiner's cell phone suddenly rang. And she picked it up. Mom? She was stunned ever since she had a falling out with her family and moved out. Her family hadn't contacted her since. But it be that this phone call is another attempt to urge marriage? Shen Water deliberately waited for a few seconds before answering the phone. As a result, the next second, a heart-nicking cry was heard from the phone. Water! Xiaoqian sold the Shen family to gamble, and now he has lost everything and jumped off the building. Please come back soon. We don't know what to do. Now we can't even go back home. Snap. Shenwater had a dull expression and her cell phone fell from her palm onto the desk. Shenqian jumped off the building. Chapter 340 Shaolin. Let's do it. Zhang He Hospital. When Shenwater lifted the veil on the corpse lying on the bed in the morgue, her expression was still in a dull state. Younger brother. Although this younger brother is usually lazy and uneducated. But as his sister, Shenwater still gave all her love to him. Even if you know that the other person has been gambling, you still believe that he will come to his senses and stop gambling. She remembered that the last time Shenqian came to borrow money from her, he said that he would never gamble again after paying it back. Result. So. Shaolin stood behind Shenwater. He looked at Shenwater with a dull expression and said reluctantly, Water, the words haven't finished yet. Shenwater threw herself into Shaolin's arms with tears in her eyes. Brother Shenqian was very well behaved when he was young. It's because of associating with shady people that I get addicted to gambling. Shaolin. Shenwater had collapsed. She had never thought that her brother would die in this way. Committed suicide by jumping off a building. After selling out the Shen family, he still owed 50 million in gambling debts. She felt like the sky was falling. And when Shenwater was releasing the pressure, her parents were sobbing and cursing at the side. This beast, he signed the sale agreement without telling us and sold the Shen family for 10 million. I ended up gambling with it again, losing it and owing even more money. This beast. After Shen Weiner's parents finished scolding her, they grabbed Shen Weiner's arm and cried, Daughter, you have to buy the Shen family back. Your father and I are already sleeping on the streets and have nowhere to live. The servants ran away after they found out, leaving us both without anyone to take care of us. Daughter, stop worrying about the company and come back to take care of us. Your father and I are out of money, and my beauty salon card is about to expire. What should I do? When Shen Weiner's father saw Shaolin wearing cheap clothes, he couldn't help but push him and said, Where did you come from? Poor boy, don't hug my daughter. My daughter was led astray by people like you. She was supposed to marry someone from an upper-class family. Get out of here. Shaolin was pushed and let go of Shenwater. Shenwater didn't say anything, and he had no way to refute her. Although he and Shenwater had confirmed their relationship, Shenwater had never had any relationship with him. Stop arguing. Shenwater collapsed and covered her ears. She looked at her parents angrily. Shenqian is dead. The body is right here. But. After all, they were her parents. Shenwater couldn't bear to say too much. She looked away, held Shaolin's hand, lowered her head, and said in a desperate voice, I will buy it back to the Shen family. You guys stay in the hotel first. As for Shenqian's funeral, I will take care of it. As soon as these words came out, Shen Weiner's parents looked at each other and immediately stopped crying. Well, okay then, daughter. Our living expenses will continue to be deposited into the original card. Shenwater took Shaolin and left without saying a word. However, after sitting back in the car, her expression could no longer be suppressed. She couldn't help crying in the car. Shaolin didn't know how to comfort her and seemed a little helpless. I don't know how much time has passed. Shenwater had cried enough. She raised her head and looked at Shaolin. She seemed to have made some decision. Inquiring, Shaolin, have you ever been in love before? Do you have any experience? Shaolin was stunned for a moment. Then immediately replied awkwardly, No, Water, you are my first girlfriend. Experience? What experience? Shaolin's innocent side made Shenwater feel much better for some reason. She wiped her tears and smiled, Let's do it tonight. Only Shaolin was willing to accompany her. Moreover, Shaolin's identity seemed to be extraordinary and his strength was also very strong. That being the case, then you have no choice but to hold on to the other person tightly. Shaolin was already stunned. The Lord Long in his heart also laughed continuously. Shaolinzi, you are blessed. With this Purian body, your cultivation will surely break through again. However, what neither of them knew was their conversations and their content. It has been placed in a room throughout the process. Light of hope. Let's do it tonight. Several assassins and Gu Yan's trusted aides were watching the big screen. Great, the two of you have finally reached this point. Quickly inform the adults. Good. By the way, instructor, what does it mean to do it? Children shouldn't ask questions that they shouldn't ask. Time passes. Night. The dagger is in hand, and everything is ready. Guyan transformed into the Night King, standing on top of a tall building. He took out the Night Dagger from the system space. Guyan could not feel the connection between himself and the other party. But he was able to use this dagger. Is this the authority Xiaolin gave him? Thinking of this, Guyan said calmly, report the situation. Next second. Gurgle. Lao Cao slowly gathered from liquid form into a human shape and stood beside Guyan. He said slowly, the relationship between Xiaolin and Shenwan'er is heating up rapidly. And it has already begun. Hearing this, Guyan nodded. Okay. He held the dagger. There was a hint of inexplicable meaning in his eyes. He did not forget the protagonist Xiaolin. Instead, he has been waiting for an opportunity to use the power destroying water. Now that I have the dagger, I have the opportunity. Everything is ready. Everyone, move. As Guyan's voice fell, in the darkness, countless shadows teleported towards the Chunshan community where Xiaolin and Shi Yuaner were. With Lao Gao gone, we have to make sure everything goes well. Okay, master. Dragon King Mountain. In a cave. An old man with a bandage on his head prostrated himself in front of the strange-looking stone statues. My lords, the sky has changed, and the prophecy has changed. Please tell me the direction we should go next. As the words fell, boom! Thunder streaked across the sky, and the light of the thunder shone on the stone statue, making the statue's eyes become extremely scarlet as if they were alive. Voices came out from the cave. The Night King resurrects. The world is changing. Zhang He. Container death. After hearing the new instructions, the old man's expression changed drastically. The Night King is back, the world is changing. Zhang He. Container? Not good. The old man's eyes became extremely violent. Everyone, go to Zhang He immediately. Protect Xiaolin. The words fell. Buzz buzz buzz. The trembling sound of dense spatial fluctuations was heard. In a bedroom of a room in Chunshan community. Xiaolin was very excited. Finally, he was going to be with his goddess. It's not easy. It's really not easy. Long Wei excitedly crawled out from Xiaolin's chest. He admonished Xiaolin, hey, Xiaolin, you are in great luck. Once Shenwan'er is done with this, you should look further ahead. Like focusing on Ningqian, these people are all interested in you. Xiaolin's face turned red, and he touched his nose embarrassedly, saying, I know, Master Long, you have told me many times. The words fell. The sound in the bathroom disappeared. Shenwan'er came out in pajamas, and Xiaolin was stunned for a moment. The former looked at the dazed Xiaolin and sighed in his heart. That's all. She walked over, turned on the ambient light, and said, let's get started. Xiaolin nodded blankly. Okay. Xiaolin felt. Tonight is destined to be a wonderful sleepless night. Chapter 341 The Way to Gain Power, the Blood of Your Beloved. The night is dark. In a room in Chunshan community, Xiaolin was having a wild interaction with Shenwan'er. The leader is Shenwan'er. Only, what the two didn't know was, their every move was monitored by countless eyes and surveillance equipment. How's the situation? Guyan appeared from the darkness. He glanced at the content on the screen and then looked away. Grown-ups. Xiaolin is a master after all, and his physique is extraordinary. I guess the drug may only take effect at the end. Demon Claw replied respectfully. Guyan nodded slightly. Ever since he, Guyan, came into this world, I have already figured out how to deal with Xiaolin. The other party has a special identity and strong strength. As the son of destiny, he often fights for survival in desperate situations and has few weaknesses. But we can't say no. One of the biggest weaknesses is women. As the heir to the Dragon King Palace, he carries the aura of the Dragon God. Xiaolin is actually a playboy and lustful person by nature. Otherwise there wouldn't be so many harems in the original novel. What Guyan wanted to take advantage of was the other party's lustful quality. He looked at a few trusted confidants selected by the light of hope. At this time, they were all covered with claw cells, almost blending into the surrounding darkness. The claw cells give them an appearance like the children of the abyss, with a faint, slowly flowing black light flowing on their skin, like stars dotted in the boundless night sky. Shitu and Xiaobiye are also in it. After systematic training of the light of hope and the nourishment and improvement of the paw cells, their strength has also reached the level of innate warriors. If their bodies were not completely developed, the improvement that the claw cells would bring to them would be even greater. Thinking of this, Guyan said in a deep voice, as soon as the drug takes effect, take action immediately. Don't be soft-hearted tonight, as action must succeed. Do you understand? Yes. Shitu and others responded in unison. Master Meizu and Yuxingzu injured Fang and took away his life to Fruit. Master, what should I do? Owner? Late night, Ling's family. The noisy sound echoed in Ling Qingyu's mind. Don't want to care. I don't want to care about anything anymore. Ling Qingyu huddled in the quilt, covering his ears to block out the voices of the night organization members in his mind. She is no longer the Night King and doesn't want to care about anything anymore. Ever since Gu Yan pretended to be the Night King and took away her dagger a few days ago, she has become autistic. Ling Qingyu didn't understand why Gu Yan did this. She even wondered, did Gu Yan already know that she was the Night King? So he approached her? But even so, Ling Qingyu still didn't want to leave Gu Yan. It was obvious that the other party had taken away his power for revenge. This thought also made Ling Qingyu feel extremely sad. Xiaoling, tell me, what should I do? Ling Qingyu asked Xiaoling in his mind. She had to admit that Xiaoling would always show her the most worthwhile path to take in the current situation. It was Xiaoling's idea to persuade her to exchange body fluids with Gu Yan. It seemed that Xiaoling had taken action, so the voices of his subordinates in Ling Qingyu's mind gradually disappeared. Immediately following, Xiaoling's voice appeared. Another me, I should have told you long ago that you can't be serious about Lu Ding. As the Night King, revenge is the only path you can choose in this life. But what about you? How did you do it? She didn't listen to any of my advice and instead started a relationship with Lu Ding. Now the sinister purpose of the furnace tripod is exposed. He took the dagger and became the Night King. He took away your power of revenge. You finally realized this and asked me? Xiaoling, don't say that about Gu Yan. Ling Qingyu pursed her lips, not knowing what to say. She already knew that she was totally wrong. But, I still like Gu Yan very much. Xiaoling was silent for a moment, then said quietly, Ed love brain. Stop talking. Xiaoling, I was wrong. Ling Qingyu covered his ears and trembled all over. He really deserved to die. Why is it that at this time, the person I am still thinking about is Gu Yan? Oh, that's all. Having him take the dagger away might be a good thing. At this time, Xiaoling suddenly said something good for Gu Yan. What's the meaning? Ling Qingyu was a little confused. What does it mean? Haven't you figured it out yet? What happened to Zhang He when he was impersonating the Night King? What happened? Ling Qingyu was a little confused as he thought about it. Suddenly I was stunned. Remember it. All warrior forces coming to Zhang He, I will be exterminated. Those who died, or all warriors who participated in the encirclement and suppression of the Ling family, imitating the Night King to deliberately attract the attention of warriors from all over the world, and leading all the warriors who care about the Night King to the rivers and seas to kill them all. Don't you think this is a good thing? Ling Qingyu became more and more stunned the more he listened. Wait. Doesn't this mean? Gu Yan, are you seeking revenge for me? Ling Qingyu was startled. Ling Qingyu needs to digest and think about this matter on his own. Xiaoling sighed softly in Ling Qingyu's mind. This is all I can do. Also, there is something you need to decide for yourself. What? Do you remember what the cult said? When your perception reaches a certain level, then you will know a way to restore your eyesight. Not only that, your strength will also break through to the strongest in the world. This is a rule that is bound to the cult, which means that your eyesight cannot be restored through ordinary means. Now, although you cannot become the Night King, you still have a second choice. That is, using the methods of the heresy to improve one's cultivation. Your perception also just meets the minimum requirement for viewing the cult method. As soon as these words came out, Ling Qingyu got out of bed and asked in surprise, Really? What's the solution? Be mentally prepared. This is a very difficult decision for you. As Xiaoling's voice fell, the content of the cult emerged in Ling Qingyu's mind. And when Ling Qingyu saw the conditions stated by Zidian, for a moment, there was silence. She clenched her fists tightly. She always felt that the world was playing a joke on her. Because the conditions for becoming a cult classic are the blood of the person you love most. Spring Hill Community. Afterwards, Shaolin put his arm around Shen Weiner's shoulders and said solemnly, Wanner, I will cherish you for the rest of my life. Shaolin. A hint of helplessness flashed across Shen Weiner's eyes. But there is no other way. She currently needs Shaolin's various beauty formulas and the training to become a warrior. Therefore you must hold on to the other person tightly. She patted Shaolin on the back and said, Let go for now. I have a project plan to write later. But Shaolin was already immersed in this wonderful happiness, so he didn't notice Shen Weiner's complicated emotional changes at all. Shen Weiner was indeed a congenital Purian body. With the help of Shaolin's technique, Shaolin was able to experience high-speed cultivation. Shen Weiner went to wash up. Shaolin was savoring the wonderful feeling he had just had. A cheerful silly smile appeared on his face from time to time. Elliot, just like a dream. Are you happy now? Long Yi came out from Shaolin's chest like an experienced person. He grinned and laughed. As my successor, you will experience more women than just this girl in the future. Now is the perfect time. You can circulate your true ki and see the benefits that dual cultivation with a pure yin constitution brings you. Shaolin nodded when he heard that. He closed his eyes and began to circulate the inner ki in his body. Only, just started running. Shaolin felt as if something was blocking his chest, and his true energy couldn't flow through. He covered his chest and gasped in pain. He bared his teeth and asked Long Yi, something is wrong. Why do I feel like my meridians are blocked? Chapter 340 To Shaolin's death. The dust settles. Blocked? The Dragon Lord was a little hesitant. And he explained, perhaps this is your first time practicing dual cultivation. And your partner is a pure yin body, so this strange reaction occurred. Don't think too much, didn't you just experience how fast the cultivation speed is? Now put in a little effort to break through this feeling of blockage. You may get unexpected gains. You usually have a lot of opportunities. Who knows what new opportunities you will have this time? The more Mr. Long spoke, the more excited he became. The more Shaolin listened, the more he felt it made sense. Lord Long is right. My master also said that I have good fortune. The thing I have the most in this life is opportunities. Moreover, the more difficult it is for the true ki to circulate in the meridians. Doesn't it mean that one's tendons and veins are being exercised? After all, when I was training my body before, I had to go through hardships and pain before I could become stronger. Thinking of this, Shaolin shouted, boom! The aura of the dragon god emanated from his body. And he was bound to break through the blockage and become brand new. Long Yi was also shouting in surprise, Shaolinzi, hurry up, your aura is rising, you are about to break through again. Genius, you are simply a genius. A violent atmosphere swept through the room. But just half a breath. Crack, pop. It was like a string that had been stretched taut suddenly broke. Ouchie. When Shaolin tried hard to break through the blockage, he felt a pain in his chest. At the same time, his throat felt sweet and he couldn't help but open his mouth. And a torrent of black blood gushed out of his mouth. At the same time, the rising aura suddenly dropped. What? What happened? Shaolin covered his mouth with a look of horror. His voice was hoarse, and blood kept flowing from between his fingers. Lord Long standing by was also stunned. Immediately following, crackling, bang, 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 it was like a chain reaction. Shaolin's entire body began to twist and twitch irregularly. He rolled to the ground in pain, vomiting black blood continuously. The floor was soon stained with poisonous blood like black water. Shaolin's eyes were red with pain, and he stabbed his hands tightly on the ground and shouted for help. Lord Long, something is wrong. My body hurts so much, my whole body hurts so much. Well. Dragon Lord came to his senses and quickly flew to Shaolin's side. He felt the blood that he had vomited and immediately came to a horrifying conclusion. This is the power destroying water. How could it be? That chick actually used this kind of thing to destroy all your cultivation. Not good, Shaolinzi, your veins are about to break. Lord Long's eyes were red with anger, and he was just about to help Shaolin stabilize his tendons. Click, buzz. Waves of dark aura filled with malice swept over this place. Immediately following, the black hand appeared out of thin air. He grabbed the terrified Long Yi. At the same time, buzz buzz buzz. One by one, figures wearing the same evil black uniforms appeared from the darkness. In his hands he held different weapons that exuded a strange aura. They had a clear goal and rushed towards Shaolin, who had a terrified expression. Buff, buff, buff. Well, Lord Long, help. The sound stopped abruptly. A knife fell with a sudden movement. Everyone has a clear division of labor, and it only takes a breath. Shaolin's whole body was chopped into pieces of meat of varying sizes. At the same time, there is a small tentacle granulation on each piece of meat. In just a blink of an eye, the piece of meat is absorbed by the granulation like nutrients. The granulation tissue, which was originally the size of a hair, has grown to almost the size of a finger. But that's not enough. Shaolin's body disappeared, but his spirit still exists. Next second, puff. Following which a slashing blow carrying the aura of death and annihilation appeared. Shaolin's soul was also completely destroyed. And all this, it only happens in a flash. Shaolinzi, Lord Long roared in disbelief. What's going on? What happened? Why is this happening? Shaolin is dead? Isn't this different from what was predicted? Who is it? Who did these things? This power, this familiar power. Yes, Lord Long turned his head stiffly and looked at the true face of the master who had imprisoned him. It trembled all over. When I saw the person in front of me who looked exactly the same as he did back then but whose appearance I couldn't see clearly. Lord Long, I can no longer suppress the fear I felt back then. Night King. The other party actually killed Shaolin directly. Kill the destiny of this world? What a joke. Wu Yan's eyes were calm. He looked at the dragon god imprisoned in his hand and said slowly, Dragon god. He curled his lips and said, oh no, it's a consciousness formed by the gathering of dozens of dragon ki. After saying that, puff. Lord Long let out a scream. And then it was completely absorbed by the claws. Congratulations to Claw for swallowing 22 dragon ki. Congratulations to Shui for advancing to the middle stage of Grand Master. When the claw covers the host will also gain the full power of the claw. All cells in the body of the parasite evolve, and the potential of the parasite increases. Congratulations to Claw for obtaining the title, I am the Dragon God, which creates a natural pressure on dragon creatures. Wu Yan slowly put a question mark. Am I the host or is the paw the host? TSK, forget it. Wu Yan glanced at the scene at this moment. All the bloodstains and filth on the ground had been devoured by the claw cells. The noise here did not disturb Shen Wan'er, who was washing. Because this place has been isolated by Gu Yan using the power of water mirror. Everything has settled down with Shaolin's death. Ling Qiyu has lost one of his strongest opponents. The rest. Wu Yan's perception covered an area of hundreds of miles. And he sensed an unknown force rushing towards him through layers of space. Are they the old Dragon King's men? Of course. Shaolin's use is not just to be a protagonist. Dying so early would naturally drive the old Dragon King crazy. But in the past, I didn't make a big move because I wasn't strong enough to be a match for the old Dragon King. But now, all preparations have been completed. Next, you can completely let go. Thinking of this, Wu Yan and everyone present also blended into the night and disappeared. I don't know how much time has passed. Blick. Shaolin. I remembered something, the prescription you gave me before. Shaolin? Shen Wan'er pushed open the bathroom door while wiping her hair, and was about to ask Shaolin about the efficacy of the prescription. But he was stunned. Because the room was empty. Shen Wan'er was a little confused. Shaolin, where did he go? Chapter 343, The Violent Old Dragon King Who Spits Blood. Late at night. Dragon King Mountain. The moonlight penetrated the clouds and sprinkled on the peaks like broken silver, covering this ancient territory with a glorious veil. The decayed old man with bandages on his head was the former Dragon King. He listened to the reports from his subordinates behind him and clenched his fists tightly. Going too late? A violent voice came from deep in his throat. Shaolin, the son of destiny, died. The dragon energy was taken away. The aura of death belonging to the Night King still lingered at the scene. Night King. Ruin my reincarnation plan. I will kill you. The old Dragon King's murderous voice echoed throughout Dragon King Mountain. In a state of emotional excitement, the old Dragon King couldn't help but cover his chest in pain and coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. Damn it. This body is no longer useful. If I don't find a new body quickly, I'm afraid. The old Dragon King's expression kept changing. Originally, Shaolin had good talent and his physique was also of top quality. It's perfect as his reincarnation vessel. It's just. This is the child of destiny that he has chosen. Was he killed by the Night King? Even his soul was slashed by the Night King's dagger. Damn it. He coughed up some more blood. In this process, the subordinates behind him all stood there calmly without making any movement. The old Dragon King took a deep breath with a gloomy look in his eyes. He said hoarsely to a young woman behind him, Go to John Ha and get back the half-piece of Dragon King Jade that was left at the Bei family. The young woman's hair fell like a waterfall, and her eyes seemed to contain stars in the sea. This person is none other than the wise man, of the Dragon King Palace. Meteorite. But her expression was dull and she only nodded slightly when she heard the order. Then he disappeared. Then, the old Dragon King looked at a burly man, with a thick dragon scale cloak on his shoulders and his eyes were empty lifeless. Long Ning, go to John Ha and bring Ning Qian back. The rest of you, go to various parts of the world and find me someone as lucky as Shaolin. Both men and women. Brush, brush, brush. As soon as the words were spoken, everyone disappeared. And after people left, the old Dragon King, with his decaying body hunched over, walked towards a cave. Damn. Originally, Shaolin was a top-grade container for reincarnation. But now it seems, I can only choose Ning Qian as the second best choice. And the Dragon King Jade. Shaolin's half has been lost. Most likely taken by the Night King. And I must take it back from the Bei family. Wasn't the purpose of storing the other half of the Dragon King Jade in the Bei family to guard against a situation like today? As long as the Dragon King Jade is not merged, he will always be the master of the Dragon King Palace. Night King. He absolutely cannot let the Night King obtain the complete Dragon King Jade. Thinking of this, the old Dragon King's breathing quickened slightly. Damn, why did things turn out like this? It was too sudden. Everything happened too fast. Prophecy, I need a new prophecy. I must achieve eternal life. Night King, after I take over Ning Qian's body, I will definitely come after you. Different from Long Wang Mountain. Light of Hope. At this moment, the light of hope was blocked by a huge magic circle that was invisible to the naked eye. This is an illusion created by Guyan using Mirror Flower and Water Moon. It can disrupt the perception of enemies who accidentally enter this place. However, disturbance is still disturbance after all. And Guyan wants to create a real and illusory magic circle. Put the base of Light of Hope into another magic circle's face. In this way, to outsiders, this place looks like an ordinary empty plane. And once you enter the inner magic circle through special means, you will enter a new world. Therefore, Guyan needs to find the magic array genius who was originally a member of the Night Organization in the original Liwol. Of course, before that, he needs to do some preparation. Once Shaolin dies, the old Dragon King will definitely take action. After all, he knows this because he has read the original novel. The old Dragon King is not a righteous man at all, but an old monster who will do anything to achieve eternal life. Shaolin and Ning Qian are actually the reincarnation containers prepared by the old Dragon King for himself. Only in the original book, as the Son of Destiny, Shaolin had great luck. He not only saw through the old Dragon King's treachery, but also killed him. In this way, he saved his junior sister Ning Qian and deepened their relationship. But this plot is in the later part of the original work. But Guyan seemed to have asked him to do it ahead of time now. And not only that, the author left many holes and filled in this plot. For example, there is a cave that the old Dragon King often goes to. The author didn't explain what the strange stone statue inside was. Now that Shaolin died so early, Guyan had no idea how things would develop next. Back to the present. Guyan walked into the underground laboratory of the Light of Hope. A frail-looking man in a white coat came towards me. This man's name is Han Tian, was originally a crazy scientist hiding among the people. In the original work, several ancient monsters were cultivated using ancient monster cells, just when he wanted to prove that he was the world's greatest monster scientist. Unfortunately, he was dismembered and eaten piece by the monsters he had just cultivated. Now he has been recruited by Guyan and had his claw cells implanted into him. The other person looked excited, holding a transparent container with sharp teeth in it. He said to Guyan, "Sir, this is the natal Tethroot of the Langya clan. A monster created based on this Tethroot will definitely be the most stable and controllable monster. The Langya clan's natal Tethroots have a very critical effect as a production material. That is, it can make the monsters made from Tethroots extremely obedient and loyal." Guyan nodded slightly. "I brought you something new. It's up to you whether you use it or not." As he spoke, Guyan stretched out his hand. A small glass bottle appeared at his fingertips. Inside the glass bottle, there were densely packed, wriggling tentacles, which were the clawed tentacles that had devoured Shaolin's flesh. As the Son of Destiny, Shaolin has great fortune. Theoretically speaking, the claw cells that devoured the flesh and blood of the Son of Destiny would definitely be able to be infected with a bit of Shaolin's powerful luck. Don't think about the cost, just do it. I trust you. When Tian saw this thing, his expression suddenly became more excited. And he took the glass bottle carefully. Then he excitedly and solemnly promised Guyan, Okay, sir, I will definitely create the most perfect monster for you." Tian was both moved and excited about the spacious new laboratory. Abundant manpower and experimental materials. The boss is still confident that you can do it freely. This. Create the most perfect, strongest, and most obedient monster team in the world for Master Guyan. Chapter 340 For Meizu collapsed. Unless you don't want to see your brother again. Monster experiments in the laboratory were one of Guyan's ideas. The purpose is to quickly obtain tools that can strengthen one's own power. The most effective way is to use monster cells to create monsters. As for the monster cells, naturally, there is everything in Forbidden Area No. 5, but don't forget Guyan's other identity, the king of the underworld. Guyan took the direct elevator to the ground, passed through layers of silver passages that protect against evil monsters. Guyan walked to the spacious road of Light of Hope. After these days of renovation again, the Light of Hope has completely become a small living complex. "Master, Miss Mei has been waiting for you there for a long time." Hao Cao had been guarding the entrance to the passage. He took off his claw disguise and turned back into the butler Lao Gao. Guyan followed Lao Gao's gaze and saw Mei's and Yu Xingzi standing under the street light not far away. When the former saw Guyan, her expression became a little complicated and her eyes flickered, but she finally met Guyan's eyes. Yu Xingzi was extremely nervous. It turns out my master is actually Guyan. The feeling I had in the warrior department before was not wrong. But I sent Guyan, the young master of the Gu family? And he's also Leng Qinqiuayu's husband. While Leng Qinqiuayu is Lord Night King. And this time Lord Guyan took away the Night King's power. In other words, he took away his wife's power? Ah, so complicated. I need to use my brain. The most important thing is that it turns out that the adult already has a partner. The point shouldn't be this. Yu Xingzu lowered her head, her mind full of random thoughts. Guyan had already walked in front of Mei Zhu, clapped his hands, and praised, Ms. Mei, the previous performance was very successful. Congratulations on joining us. Hearing this, Mei Zhu clenched her fists, gritted her teeth, and glared at Guyan. You lied to me. You didn't tell me that you were a fake Night King. If I had known this, I would never have gone along with you. Guyan shook his head and chuckled, really? I don't think so. After all, you love your brother the most. You should be willing to betray others repeatedly for your brother. Mei Zhu looked angry. You. She was about to say something. But after seeing Guyan's mocking look, she finally closed her mouth and looked away. Mei Zhu was already suffering from betraying her master. And now that her master's power had been taken away, Mei Zhu felt endless pressure. But Mei Zhu took a deep breath and tried to calm her voice. You promised me. Guyan asked knowingly. What? My brother. Mei Zhu couldn't help but turn her head to look at Guyan. Seeing that Guyan seemed to have forgotten, she became a little excited. You promise me that after I finish these things for you, you will return my brother's soul. Hearing this, Guyan Ke seemed to have remembered something and said in a daze. Oh, him, I remember. As he said that, Guyan spread out his hands. Lulu. The claws slowly emerged from Guyan's palm. The claw that had swallowed nearly 30 dragon spirits had undergone a huge change in appearance at this moment. Its originally pitch-black tiny body now also had hints of golden light. 3 tiny golden and black tentacles twisted in Guyan's palm. Next second, sister's sister, the voice of Mei Zhu's younger brother, Deng Feng, the heir of Xuanwu Gate, came from Shui. Mei Zhu was slightly stunned, but then a look of ecstasy appeared on her face. Deng Feng. As she said this, she was about to reach out and grab the claw. But soon Guyan withdrew his palm. Mei Zhu was stunned. She looked up at Guyan, and a bad feeling welled up in her heart. What do you mean? Don't you understand yet, Mei Zhu? I mean. Guyan restrained his smile and his expression became calm and indifferent. He walked to Mei Zhu, patted her on the shoulder, and said coldly, Your brother's soul is now stored with me. If you want to see your brother, then just listen to me. In the coming days, you and Yu Xingzu will stay here with me and temporarily become instructors to guide the training of these children. When Mei Zhu heard this, her expression became slightly stunned and then became extremely incredible. She yelled at Guyan in a state of collapse, You must be joking. I have done so much for you, I even betrayed my master. And you are so untrustworthy? Mei Zhu was really about to cry when she first met Guyan. The other party asked her to do 5 things based on the information of her brother's location. But now, he knew that his brother was not dead, so he obeyed Guyan's orders and betrayed his master. But now. When Guyan heard these words, he was not moved at all, and just said calmly, Yes. Mei Zhu, why do you think I let your brother live? If you don't want anything to happen to your brother, then you should just listen to me. Unless. Guyan passed Mei Zhu's left side and stopped behind her, saying, You don't want to see your brother again. Scum. Mei Zhu's clenched fist loose reluctantly, and she whispered in a hoarse and desperate voice. Guyan did not respond. Scumbag? I have indeed done many things that are worse than what I was born into. But so what? I don't regret it. Mei Zhu's brother had died long ago, and his soul had been torn into pieces by the claws, with no possibility of recovery. Even if it were pieced together and given a body, it would be at best just an idiot with no purpose. From the very beginning, I never thought of letting Mei Zhu see my younger brother, because in the original book, the other party was Leng Qingshuayu who betrayed because of his younger brother. I will never let this incident, this time bomb, repeat the plot of the original novel. Guyan disappeared and left the place. His claws were upgraded and he also had the night dagger. He will also be able to move freely in the dark. Lab Kao walked up to Mei Zhu, who was looking down and looking devastated, and sighed. Miss Mei, just work hard here. The young master will not treat his own people unfairly. As he said that, he looked at Yu Xingzu who was standing aside with her head lowered as if saying, You can't see me. You can't see me. He smiled helplessly. Miss you. The young master asked me to pass on a message to you. You have the right to use the network when you work at Light of Hope. The Light of Hope is equipped with a private gaming room. The young master said that you are a socially anxious otaku. Upon hearing this, Yu Xingzu raised her head blankly, her eyes visibly filled with anticipation and excitement. Sir, you actually know that I am a social phobic. After saying this, Lao Gao left. He didn't walk far before he saw Guyan standing alone under a big tree and looking in his direction. Lao Gao quietly walked to Guyan's side and said with a smile, Master, I have explained everything. Guyan nodded. Yu Xingzu is a genius, while Meizu has extensive combat and teaching experience. They can help the children of Light of Hope become stronger. Within half a year, the Light of Hope will appear in this world. Next thing is we have to bring back that magic array genius. At this time, Uyan suddenly noticed that the things in front of him blurred for a moment. Although it was very brief, it was indeed a sudden blur. The price of using a dagger. Uyan understood it in his heart. But on the surface, he said calmly, "Let's go, Lao Gao. Find me the information of a man named Ling Fa in the warrior department before tomorrow evening." "Okay, master." Chapter 345, Winning Over the Magic Array Genius Ling Fa. My name is Ling Fa. No one understands me, not even my teacher. Is the ancient magic circle dangerous? Oh, these are just excuses that mediocre people make for themselves because they cannot control the magic circle. The ancient magic circle is so perfect and precious, as long as they are allowed to be used and deployed on the battlefield. And let alone one or two monsters. Even if it is a forbidden area, we humans can definitely wipe it out. Warrior Department Headquarters. A man with messy long hair was walking on the road to the headquarters library with a stack of books. He is the heretic in the Warrior Department, the Formation Department Ling Fa. He was hired by the Magic Array Department as an exception because of his perfect knowledge of magic array theory. It's a pity that when everyone thought he would become the brightest star in the Magic Array Department, but he couldn't even use a basic magic circle. Overnight, he went from being a genius to being the laughing stock of everyone. Theory is strong, what's the use? At this time, hello, thump, crash. A warrior from the Formation Division deliberately charged forward, but failed to hold back. Ling Fa was pushed to the ground, and the books in his hands fell all over the floor. The instigator just looked at him jokingly. "Sorry, I didn't see you." Ling Fa raised his head and glanced at the other person, and silently picked up the books scattered on the ground. This is his daily routine. Getting angry with a bunch of idiots would obviously waste too much time. So Ling Fa didn't even think about arguing. "Oh, I told you, this genius is just a fool. I don't know why the teacher insisted on keeping him." Brother Feng is right in my opinion. You are the outstanding cadre of the Law Formation Department this year. Flicks exist everywhere. But in Ling Fa's opinion, this kind of group is too stupid. It would be better for him to spend more time studying to more sets of ancient magic arrays. So, under the mocking gazes of everyone, Ling Fa left with the books. Is this man a fool? He can't say a word? Brother Feng. Aha, come on, it's time for dinner, please go eat. The library at the warrior headquarters is filled with confidential books that are not open to the public. The books on ancient magic arrays are considered banned books and are sealed on the 6th floor of the library. It is rumored that this seal was set by the head of the Magic Array Department 100 years ago, because the ancient magic circle is extremely dangerous, but also extremely precious. People are reluctant to destroy it and only seal it in the library. Only, Ling Fa had already broken this seal long ago, and also set up another magic seal to prevent it from being discovered. Enter the 6th floor. Empty. Ling Fa sat on a clean chair as usual and pushed the book onto the table in front of him, and his eyes swept across the neatly arranged bookcases. I started looking for books I had never read. Just the next second. Brush. Brush. The sound of turning pages could be heard. Ling Fa's eyes froze. Anyone? How could this happen? The magic circle I set up didn't sense anyone entering. Moreover, how could someone be able to come in quietly without destroying his magic circle? Ling Fa's eyes flickered slightly. He stood up and walked towards the source of the page-turning sound. He held his breath, walked to a bookcase where an ancient mass-destructive magic array was placed, and looked over quietly. Suddenly, I was stunned. Just see. There stood a man, his posture straight, like a sword drawn from its sheath. Sharp yet elegant. He was holding a thick book in his hand, and his lips curled up slightly as if he had seen something interesting. It's not just his calm appearance, but also the unique temperament he exudes. That is the same temperament of loving magic array. Ling Fa did not disturb the other party. He was both surprised and annoyed. He thought that the magic circle he set up was secretive and powerful enough, and it would be impossible for ordinary people to pass through it silently. And the other party actually did it so easily. How did you do it? I really want to know. As time went by, the man became so fascinated by the scene that he showed no signs of leaving. No way. It will soon be time for the Magic Array Department's training. Ling Fa couldn't wait too long, so he quickly cleared his throat and shouted. That. The silence in the room was broken, and the man, as if he had just realized that there was someone else in this place, he raised his head. His gaze was like an abyss, seemingly able to see through people's hearts. He gently closed the book in his hand. His eyes stayed on Hantian for a moment, and then said apologetically, "Sorry. I didn't know there was anyone else here." Ling Fei shook his head. He walked forward with excitement in his eyes. It's okay, I'm the only one here. Do you like these magic circles too? A magic circle I set up at the door did not sense your entry. How did you do that? Hearing this, you have a lot of questions. There was a pause. Perhaps. A faint smile appeared on Gu Yan's lips. We can sit down and talk slowly. My name is Gu Yan. What's yours? Gu Yan's calm demeanor and erudite aura were undoubtedly displayed. Ling Fei suddenly became a little nervous. It's not just that he rarely communicates with people. Moreover, because it was the first time that he met someone who also loved ancient magic arrays, he replied a little nervously, My name is Ling Fei. And I am a member of the magic array department. As time went by, Gu Yan and Ling Fei talked about a lot of knowledge and insights about magic arrays. Gu Yan, you are so amazing, this is what I thought. I think the magic circles in today's society are all based on the beggar version of the ancient magic circle. So why don't we just use the ancient magic circle? You only need to consume a certain amount of true energy to create the strongest magic array that far exceeds the current mainstream in the world. And the loopholes in my magic circle that you mentioned. I was originally learning and replicating it according to the ancient magic books. But I always felt that something was wrong. Now that you say that, it really makes me realize something. Gu Yan, you are such a genius. Gu Yan smiled calmly. No, I have studied the ancient magic array for a long time. The fact that you can learn by yourself is beyond 99 of the world's population. What a pity. Speaking of this, Gu Yan paused, and then under Ling Fei's puzzled expression, he said inexplicably, this place is too small, and there is no way for you to conduct magic array experiments. If you have enough experimental materials to conduct experiments on ancient magic circles, then maybe you can really perfectly replicate the crystallization and wisdom of ancient humans. As soon as these words came out, there was a hint of excitement in Ling Fei's eyes. But it soon dimmed again. He shook his head inside. No, the ancient magic circle is taboo, and the department will not allow me to do this kind of experiment. Not to mention the head of the magic circle department, who is also my teacher, is also an old-fashioned person who thinks that ancient magic circles are very dangerous. It seemed as if he was waiting for Ling Fei to say this. After hearing this, Gu Yan's eyes showed a trace of disbelief. And then he said with a tone of regret and indignation, This is really nonsense. What happened? Ling Fei was a little confused. The ancient magic circle is the crystallization of the wisdom of ancient humans. It should not be buried by modern humans. This is wrong. This is stopping the world from progressing. Ling Fei, I feel so sorry for you. Your intelligence and talent can only be buried here. From the conversation I had with you just now, I can feel that everyone here thinks you are a useless person who knows nothing. But they are all wrong, because they are all mediocre people. And mediocre people cannot understand what genius is. Why do they bully you? That's because they are all jealous of your talent when you join the department. The more different you are from them, the more they want to suppress you. Gu Yan stood up after saying this. He looked at Ling Fei seriously and said, Ling Fei, if you want to bring out your talent and make this world a better place, then you can come to me. I can provide you with experimental sites and materials. Of course, you can refuse. I just can't bear to see a genius like you buried here. As he spoke, Gu Yan stretched out his hand and touched Ling Fei's forehead. Next second, a piece of information was transmitted into Ling Fei's mind. A light of hope. An organization dedicated to making the world a better place. An organization dedicated to eradicating all heresy? Ling Fei was ready to make a move. He raised his head and was about to ask more. But he found that Gu Yan had disappeared. This made Ling Fei feel that Gu Yan was unfathomable. He must have been sent by God to help him. The smile that had not appeared on Ling Fei's face for a long time gradually appeared at this moment. I seem to have found a like-minded partner. A ray of hope? It seems I have to go there if I have the chance. The experimental site of the magic circle. Experimental materials. This tempting thing made Ling Fei gradually excited. At this time, buzz. A transparent magic circle appeared next to Ling Fei's ears. And an angry voice came from it. Ling Fei, where are you? Today is the day that the 4 factions will come to observe our training. Now we are waiting for you. Hearing the voice, Ling Fei's expression gradually became calm. Oh, it's just a show. Okay, teacher. Chapter 346. Gu Yan asks for forgiveness. For his first contact with Ling Fei, Gu Yan was fully prepared. He naturally doesn't understand magic circles. But he had a system and had read the script in advance. So if you cater to his interests, you will naturally be able to attract Ling Fei. In the original novel, the other party was ostracized by the department and was discovered to be secretly practicing ancient magic circles. That's why his cultivation was abolished, and he was expelled from the department. Later, he was recruited by Ling Qiyu as a member of the Night Organization, where he fully demonstrated his talents. The greatest record the opponent has ever created in the original work. They created a sacrificial array that covered half of the city, with the sole purpose of delaying the pace of Shaolin and the other protagonists. Gu Yan's idea is actually very simple. In the original novel, all the subordinates recruited by Ling Qingqiu were geniuses among geniuses, elites among elites. And he only needs to follow Ling Qingqiu's approach to win these people over, and he can quickly form the prototype of a powerful organization. Now that we have the magic circle genius, the rest is. Gu Yan's figure flickered and jumped in the shadows. With the help of the dagger, he no longer needs to rely on transportation to travel to some special places. In a luxury car parked on the street. Brush. Gu Yan's figure appeared in the back seat accompanied by a puff of black smoke. Lao Gao, who was sitting in the driver's seat, looked up at the rearview mirror. Then smiled and said, "Master is back." Gu Yan nodded slightly. Then asked, "Have you informed the Wu family?" Lao Gao handed a document in his hand to Gu Yan and said, "Well, there is no problem now. But master, the head of the Wu family is very curious as to why you would want to find a member of their side branch." Gu Yan took the information. After hearing it, he looked at the content and couldn't help but smile. That's because they don't even know what a monstrous talent is hidden in their family. In the information, she is a woman with a cold beauty. She is about 30 years old, with a slender figure and pale skin as delicate as a sculpture. Her hair was a shade of black as the night sky, tied in a simple yet elegant low ponytail that fell slowly to her shoulders. A typical wife. Luoya. Gender, female. Age, 33. A member of the Wu family's side branch. She has no father or mother, is married and has a son. Her husband died of illness 5 years ago. Have the people been received by the organization? No, according to Miss Wu, she has to pick up the kids from school first. Okay, everything is up to her. Gu Yan put away the information. Things here have come to a temporary end. Next? Gu Yan coughed lightly. Lao Gao. Where are we going next, young master? Lao Gao has made full preparations. Is the flower shop open? After a moment of silence, Lao Gao slowly said, "Open it." Gu Yan pretended to be calm when he heard this and nodded. And his figure began to disappear. Okay, then Lao Gao. Go and arrange Luoya's affairs first. I have other more important things to do. So I'll leave first. The corner of Lao's mouth twitched. I shook my head helplessly. Alas. Young master, are you going to go and ask for apology from the young madam? Ling family. Knock knock. Who is it? It's late at night and no one is home. A brother-in-law? When Ling Linger heard a knock on the door, she first looked through the peephole. Then when he saw that the person coming was Gu Yan, he happily opened the locked door. Ever since the dagger was taken away, Gu Yan hasn't been to the Ling family for many days. One is guilty conscience. The second is guilt. Thirdly, in short, this is purely Gu Yan's own fault. Holding a large bouquet of roses, he whispered to his wingman Ling Linger, "Linger, where is your sister?" Seeing Gu Yan looking mysterious, Ling Linger thought that he wanted to give her sister a surprise. So he whispered back, "He's reading in the study upstairs." "Oh, how is your sister doing lately? How is it?" "It seems to be about the same as before." Ling Linger was a little confused as she spoke. And then she seemed to have thought of something and glared at Gu Yan. "Brother-in-law, I haven't asked you yet, why haven't you come for so many days?" "I have something to do anyway, I'm going to go see your sister first." Gu Yan evaded the question for a few moments and then ran upstairs. "What happened to my brother-in-law?" Ling Linger looked at Gu Yan suspiciously as he ran upstairs. "I always feel that the other person is a little strange compared to usual days. It seems like there is a feeling of guilty." Ling Linger's eyes suddenly widened. Could it be affair? She immediately turned on her phone and found her good friend Bae Kwang Lan. She was preparing to discuss the topic of men's extramarital affairs with the other party. Speaking of which, why didn't Kwang Lan look for her all day? He didn't even come to school. Could something have happened? Study upstairs. Ever since Gu Yan took the dagger away from him that day, she has been in a state of distraction. Although she behaved very normally in front of Linger, only she knew the details. Furthermore, Ling Qingqiu held a book written for the blind and read it carefully. It turns out that the things in the book are even more outrageous. There is even a story that one's own mother falls in love with one's lover. So explosive. "Another me, is it time for you to read this kind of book?" Xiaoling said in a cold voice in his heart. She couldn't quite understand. Your dagger was taken away from you, and then you learned how to regain your strength. As the former Night King, shouldn't you just turn evil and assassinate Gu Yan? You don't want the blood of your heart anymore? You don't want to regain your sight and strength? Ling Qingqiu heard this. "I feel a little melancholy inside. Xiaolang, could you please stop reminding me of this all the time? The cult said that what is needed is the blood of the person I love the most. But now, this person has not appeared. Where can I go to recover my strength? Do you really not understand, or are you pretending not to understand? Xiaolang, I don't understand what you mean by that. Ling Qingqiu asked in confusion. Meaning Gu Yan is the person you love the most. Now if you kill him, you will regain your strength. Impossible, Gu Yan took my dagger away. I can't even hate him enough, how can I still love him? Ling Qingqiu said with a determined look, like now. I have figured it out. During the days when Gu Yan was away, my mood gradually calmed down. Since he wants to be the Night King, I let him be. He will be the one to bear all the dangerous things in the future anyway. I'd just be an ordinary person and be alone until I grow old. What makes you feel that you will be alone for the rest of your life? Hey Xiaolang, don't you understand yet? My life is like walking on thin ice. Since I can't get to the other side, then I will? And you? And I won't leave. Just like what the book says. Men are unreliable. Gu Yan approached me just to use me. It's just like how I wanted to take advantage of his Gu family in the beginning. Except that their methods were more covert and despicable. So Gu Yan won't come again, just like he has ignored me these days. I have no use to him anymore. Maybe he will look for new people to exploit. Ling Qingqiu's face was bitter. And I say that my original intention in asking Gu Yan not to come these days was to leave you alone to calm down? Xiaolang said that he still underestimated Ling Qingqiu's self-recovery ability. At this moment, Xiaolang seemed to sense something. Asked strangely. Do you really think so? That's right. Ling Qingqiu shivered, nothing mattered anymore. But it's nothing. Oh, but the furnace is here. As soon as these words came out, Ling Qingqiu was shocked. Next second, snap, the study door was slowly pushed open. Gu Yan walked in nervously holding flowers in addition. He also brought Ling Qingqiu's favorite sweets, as if he was asking for forgiveness. Qingqiu, here I come. He had just inserted half of his body. And the result was, asshole. Ling Qingqiu rushed over and hugged Gu Yan tightly. She buried her head in Gu Yan's chest, her voice full of joy and anger. Why did you take so long to see me? Ling Qingqiu, who had already prepared himself to live out his life alone, instantly gave up the idea. Plop, plop. Gu Yan's heart was also beating rapidly. His eyes were full of guilt and self-blame. Obviously Ling Qingqiu already knew that he was an imposter of the Night King. Even though the other party doesn't know that, I know that the other party knows this. But none of this matters. Qingqiu still loves him so much. This makes it seem more like I'm born. Damn it, if this world is a game, then I must make it a happy ending. Gu Yan also hugged Ling Qingqiu and shouted in self-blame. Qingqiu, I was wrong. You can beat me or scold me as you like. Even if you trample on my dignity, I have no complaints. Gu Yan, Qingqiu, that's enough, I really mean enough. Xiaolang sighed softly in Ling Qingqiu's mind. There is no hope for these two love-brained people. Suddenly Xiaolang seemed to realize something. Traces of the power of night. Gu Yan has already used the dagger? Xiaolang's heart sank. The infection of the power of night on Gu Yan seems to be more serious than he imagined. Could it be that the dagger wants to devour Gu Yan sooner? Because of the other party's top-grade furnace cauldron physique. Chapter 347. Xiaolang, instead of playing badly, it is better to join the department. 3 hours later. Late at night. Ling family. Soft bed. After absorbing Gu Yan's energy, Ling Qingqiu happily kicked her legs on the bed while holding her cell phone. The contents of a book were being played on the phone. Hey, Xiaolang, this plot is so interesting. Geese. After a prolonged silence, Xiaolang said slowly. Another me, you just forgave Gu Yan like this? However, Ling Qingqiu acted as if he didn't hear anything. He kicked his legs and said while lying on the bed. Xiaolang, listen, the heroine and the second female lead are fighting. It feels. Another me. Xiaolang's tone became slightly heavier. Are you ready to continue to fall like this? As soon as these words came out, the laughter stopped abruptly. Ling Qingqiu seemed to be touched by something. She clenched her phone tightly, and the AI voice in the phone gradually became lower. The room became silent. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Ling Qingqiu spoke slowly, his voice trembling slightly. Then what do you think I should do? The person who took my dagger was Gu Yan. I can't kill him to regain his strength. What else can I do besides this? Ling Qingqiu buried her face in the pillow, confused and struggling, saying, I like Gu Yan, I can't kill him and take his heart blood. As long as he doesn't leave me, stay like this. I am very content. Xiaolang, originally my only family was Linger, but now Gu Yan is my second family. He gives me the feeling of home. And I don't want him to leave me. I don't want to destroy this harmonious scene. Xiaolang was silent. The other self has not gotten over what happened before. but pretends to be indifferent. Is it because she is afraid that the cauldron will leave her? Why Xiaoling's mood also became a little complicated. In that case, I will take over the organization in your place. Huh? Ling Qingqiu was stunned. If they knew you had lost your power, do you think they would continue to be loyal to you? We must prepare for the worst. If you don't worry about yourself, you should worry about our sister's safety. Hear this, Ling Qingqiu was silent. What Xiaoling said was exactly what she had been thinking about recently. Changguan Maiyin and the others had been talking to her in her mind. Obviously, he has not been recruited by Gu Yan yet. Moreover, the traitor Meizu did not seem to tell them about the loss of her power. And many problems will arise. Xiaoling, aren't we one and the same? Ling Qingqiu didn't understand he had lost his power. Could it be that you, Xiaoling, would have it when you came out? We are one, but I am stronger than you. So what do you want to do? Ling Qingqiu choked, but couldn't refute. At least for now. Xiaoling seems to be more reliable than her. It's very simple. You just lost the power of the night, but your perception has not disappeared. Your perception can be said to be the widest and strongest in the world. With this talent, it will be easy for you to be admitted to the warrior department as an exception. Since you don't have the heart to kill the furnace tripod in exchange for power, then you can enter the department to practice. I enter the department to practice? Ling Qingqiu was stunned when he heard this. Is this appropriate? My previous identity was the Night King. Yes, during the day, you are free to move. At night, you give me your body, and I will be responsible for showing up in front of the organization members. You can consider it. Instead of being corrupt and degenerate, it is better to enter the department system and practice to become a strong person. Otherwise, the gap between you and the furnace will only get bigger. Xiaoling said this and sighed inwardly. Actually, this is also one of Gu Yan's plans. First step. Live broadcast of Gu family annual meeting. Let Ling Qingqiu read to the public and become known by more people. And let the public believe that Ling Qingqiu is Gu Yan's lover. This will make most people preconceive that Ling Qingqiu is an ordinary person. Step 2. Ling Qingqiu joined the warrior department and entered the side of justice. With Ling Qingqiu's talent, I believe he will become the backbone of the department in no time. It will definitely have an extraordinary influence. Step 3. It is also a more critical step. Gu Yan, prepare to let everyone in the world know. The world of warriors. As for step 4, it depends on subsequent developments. Feeling the struggle of another self. The image of Gu Yan just now appeared in Xiaoling's mind. The dagger rose a bit quickly. I have to remind him tonight. The other side. Family-oriented. Gu Yan, who absorbed Qingqiu's energy, staggered back to the Gu family. After washing up, he lay down on the big bed. I have to say, planning is too tiring. The real thing is to be intimate with your wife. But there's nothing I can do about it once I relax. I won't think about plans anymore. So, you have to hold back. You have to control yourself. At this time, Bao Gao called and said, Master Ms. Wo has moved into her new residence. She is very grateful that you bought her a house in the school district. If possible, she hopes to meet you in person at Light of Hope tomorrow. Gu Yan nodded and replied, Sure, thank you for your hard work. Bao Gao. Okay, young master, there is one more important thing. Lao Gao said this with a heavy voice. The bodyguards we arranged for Ba Quan Lam were all killed. Dead? No, he was stunned by the warrior's pressure. Gu Yan felt relieved. He asked in confusion, what happened? It happened this morning. Miss Ba was suddenly attacked by an unknown warrior while she was at school. The other party was a woman, but the strange thing was that after the attack, she did not do anything to Miss Ba. Instead, she stayed there for a while and then left. Miss Ba is currently receiving treatment at Zhanghe Eye Hospital. Ba Quan Lan was attacked? Gu Yan was a little surprised. Bao Gao continued, in addition, the spies assigned to Miss Ning Qian were also wiped out. He was stunned by the aftermath of the warriors' fight. MSN Ning Qian was taken away by a man. I checked the road surveillance. And the warriors are a man and a woman. The two of them appeared in Zhanghe at the same time. And their division of labor was clear. Obviously, they had a purpose. It's understandable that they were looking for Ning Qian, a disciple of Dragon King Mountain, but they attacked Miss Ba and then let her go in the end. I don't know the purpose of the visitor. Lao Cao's voice was a little heavy. He was able to push a fighter of Ning Qian's level into a desperate situation and take him away. A person who attacked her was definitely above the Grand Master level. Only, the other party didn't seem to want to kill her. And it seemed that his intention was to keep her alive. He attacked Ba Quan Lan but let her go. Ning Qian was taken away. When Gu Yan heard this, a look of understanding gradually appeared in his eyes. He already understood what was going on. Okay, I'll go to the hospital tomorrow. Okay, master. A phone call was hung up. Gu Yan sorted out his thoughts. These two attackers were most likely people from the Dragon King Palace sent by the old Dragon King. The purpose of looking for Ba Quanlan is very simple. Because the other party has half a piece of Dragon King Jade. But unfortunately, the entire thing is in his hands. As for why Ba Quanlan was let go in the end, it was most likely because the men sent by the old Dragon King did not receive any orders on what to do if the other party did not have the Dragon King Jade. And Ning Qian. The corners of Gu Yan's mouth curled up slightly. There was a hint of sarcasm in his eyes. It seemed. The old Dragon King's body can no longer hold on. That's why you want to take over Ning Qian's body, right? Oh, that's just right. It will probably take some time before the body can be taken over. When the opponent's ritual reaches the most critical step, that is when the opponent is at its weakest. And that's the best time to do it yourself. Once the old Dragon King dies, the second biggest hidden danger can be eliminated. At this time, the temperature dropped sharply all around. Xiaoling's cold voice also reached Gu Yan's ears. Have you used the dagger? Chapter 348 The Side Effects of the Dagger. Oh yeah, the principle of Light of Hope. Gu Yan turned his head and saw Xiaoling standing beside the bed. She was looking at him with a slightly cold look. Gu Yan was a little surprised. Yes, I used it once before. To deal with Xiaolin. This is the safest way. Seeing that the other party looked indifferent, Xiaoling sighed lightly and said coldly, although this is your own business, but I still have to remind you. There is a price to pay for using a dagger. Especially for someone like you who is not targeted by the dagger. You are already beginning to see traces of the erosion of the power of night. If you use the dagger too many times, I'm afraid you will become like my former self. Gu Yan was stunned when he heard this. Become the same as Leng Qingqiu back then? Gu Yan recalled the first time he met Leng Qingqiu. The other person looked cold and indifferent. He seems to be indifferent to everything. And revenge is the only thing on his mind. Will I become like that too? No. Gu Yan said solemnly, I will never become like that. There is nothing absolute in this world. Even if I were another me, I would become cold and ruthless if I kept using the dagger because of the erosion of the power of the night. Not to mention you, if you keep using the dagger, you will lose all your emotions sooner or later. Until finally, it becomes a shell controlled by a dagger. Xiao retorted coldly. Gu Yan was silent for a moment after hearing this, but still looked at Xiaoling seriously. No, tell me why. Because, I have love in my heart, the power of love is great. Xiaoling, how can you say such nonsense on such a serious topic? Xiaoling sighed helplessly. She glanced at Gu Yan, who was lying on the bed in only his briefs. Also, please put on your clothes before talking to me next time. No, this is my home. Upon hearing this, Gu Yan was so angry that he wrapped himself in a quilt. If you mess with me, you've messed with me. Seeing Gu Yan's body being wrapped, Xiaoling's eyes flashed with disappointment, and she said expressionlessly, that's all I have to say. Finally, I'll remind you to reduce the frequency of using the dagger. This is for your own good. Xiaoling reminded again and again. Gu Yan also understood that this matter was indeed very important. And he nodded, okay, I will. Seeing this, Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan silently. Then slowly said, I have done what you asked me to do. The other one, I agree to join the warrior department. In contrast, I gained the right to use this body at night. It's a win-win situation for you and me. Gu Yan was a little surprised after hearing this. Okay, thank you so much, Xiaoling. Very good, Leng Qingqiu agreed to join the warrior department. Now there are no worries. Thanks. Xiaoling's heart suddenly surged with an inexplicable emotion because of this sentence. She glanced at Gu Yan one last time, and for some reason, her tone suddenly became serious. Don't die, Lu Ding. As soon as the words fell, swish, Xiaoling's figure slowly disappeared. Gu Yan was stunned. He looked up, but the other party had disappeared. Would Xiaoling also say something like this? Gu Yan felt complicated and hoped that the plan would go well. Early the next morning, Light of Hope, the top of a building that looks like a tall tower. Gu Yan met the master martial artist, researcher and scholar in the original novel. Oh, Woya. The other person had a slender figure and pale skin as delicate as a sculpture. Dressed in a smart OL uniform. Compared to the photo, she is more beautiful and looks like a married woman in real life. Ms. Woya, welcome to join the Light of Hope. Once I saw the reality, I felt that I must have found the right person. Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Gu Yan, and I am the founder of Light of Hope. Gu Yan smiled and stretched out his hand towards the other party. Gu Yan was a little surprised when she saw the young man in front of her. She stretched out her hand and shook Gu Yan's for a moment, her voice full of admiration as she said, Young Master Gu is so young and promising. Only, Otoya asked in surprise, why did Master Gu look for me? I am just a member of the side branch. There should be more talented people who are better than me. I am still a single mother with a child. The words haven't finished yet. Guyan interrupted with a smile. No, 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 Ms. Woya. You are a little too modest. On the Warrior Academic platform, you published countless theories on warrior training under a pseudonym. Am I right, Master Ya? As soon as these words came out, Owoya was stunned for a moment, then smiled awkwardly and said, You found it out. Aha, there's nothing I can do. Guyan smiled and said, To be honest, I am also a loyal fan of Master Ya. Everyone thought that the person who could say, There are no useless martial arts, only useless warriors, should be an unfathomable old monster. But now I see. Guyan paused and praised. Everyone guessed wrong. Master Ya turned out to be such a beautiful lady. Sister. Mr. Gu, please don't say that. I am already a mother. Oya raised the corners of her mouth and shook her head amused lie. It turns out that everyone likes to hear nice words. Guyan started talking about business. Ms. Woya. Since our identities have been made public, I think you know why I hired you, right? Okoya put away her smile and nodded. I know. You want me to be a warrior consultant. That's all told to the public. Guyan shook his head and said seriously, I hope you will be the principal of Light of Hope. And he is fully responsible for arranging all aspects of their training plans, class competitions, reward settings, etc. There are 53 people here so far, and there will be more to come. Owoya's expression was normal at first, but the more she listened, the more she felt something was wrong. When Guyan said that he would recruit more people to be trained as warriors, she finally interrupted him and said, Wait a minute. Mr. Gu, let's not talk about this not being the same as what we agreed at the beginning. Besides, this is not the ancient martial arts world. Private training of such a large number of warriors is not allowed. If we are discovered, we will be collectively wiped out. It's a very dangerous thing. She stood up with some resistance. Excuse me for rejecting your proposal, Mr. Gu, but you should take your school district house back. After saying that, Woya picked up her bag and walked straight past Guyan. Oli, Mom, this uncle took me to the amusement park. Mom, can you see that? Good boy, Uncle will take you to the next project. Okay. When Woya walked to the door, her expression suddenly froze and she turned her head away in disbelief. Just see. Guyan, who was chatting and laughing with her just a second ago. At this moment, he exuded an inexplicable and frightening malice. And he sat on the sofa easily and contentedly, holding up a 15-second video. He said, Wow, what a cute tong-tong. Guyan raised the corner of his mouth, turned his head, and looked at the pale Woya with a hint of indifference in his eyes. Ms. Woya, what do you think? After I let you discover my secret here, will I let you run back without any consequences? If you still want to see your son Tong-tong, then stay here and be the principal of Light of Hope. And I will arrange a chance for you to meet your son. Don't worry, your children will also go to the best schools in the East Country. He will. Having said that, Guyan put away the video and stood up. Then he walked slowly towards Woya step by step. A gentle smile appeared on his face again, just like the sunny feeling when Woya first saw him. Until Guyan walked up to Woya and extended his hand to her. Woya also heard the second half of the other party's sentence. He'll have a happy childhood. Hearing this, Owoya's brain suddenly went blank and her pupils contracted sharply. Only then did she react. It turns out, I have no choice at all. Looking at the hand reaching out to her, Woya lowered her head and held it with her right hand trembling. Lie. I understand. As long as you don't hurt my son. That's natural. Welcome to join us, Principal Lo. The corners of Guyan's mouth curled up slightly. Well, the Ray of Hope is finally on the right track. Chapter 349, The Old Dragon King, who has little time left, proposes to turn all people into warriors. After leaving the Light of Hope, Guyan came to the hospital. Our organization is on the right track. Whether Woya was willing or not, she had to accept the implantation of the claw cells. Because only by doing this will Guyan be completely at ease. Arrived in front of B.A. Kwanglan's ward, Guyan pushed the door open and walked in. Only, as soon as I entered, the corner of Guyan's mouth twitched. Because, Sister Linger, I was so scared, that person suddenly came out to ask me for some jade pendant. Or did I get the jade pendant? It was so scary. I thought I was almost dead. B.I. Kwanglan huddled in Ling Linger's arms and cried and wailed loudly. Last night Ling Linger learned that B.I. Kwanglan was in Zhangyichai Hospital. So she came to visit her early this morning. She comforted him. It's okay, I'll go back and ask my brother-in-law to find those bad guys. Well, Sister Linger, you are so nice. B.I. Kwanglan buried herself in Ling Linger's arms. Sister Linger used the body lotion I gave her today. Dong dong. Gu Yan knocked on the wooden door next to him and coughed lightly. Am I here at a bad time? Ling Linger was stunned for a moment, and turned her head in surprise when she saw that it was Gu Yan. She said in surprise, brother-in-law. Why are you here? Gu Yan smiled helplessly when he heard this. Zhonghai Hospital belongs to the Gu family. How could I not know that my sister-in-law's best friend is in the hospital? Having said that, Gu Yan walked over and sat aside. And he looked at Ba Quan Lan, who had already shrunk back from Ling Linger's arms, and asked, do you remember what happened yesterday? Ba Quan Lan nodded. Well, yesterday. 10 minutes later. Gu Yan got a general idea. To put it simply, Ba Quan Lan was suddenly attacked by a woman on her way to school. The other party asked her for half a jade pendant, but Ba Quan Lan didn't have it. As a result, the aftermath of the other party's true energy from jumping through space stunned Ba Quan Lan and others. In simple terms, it's no big deal. Gu Yan nodded. Okay, I'll tell your brother about this. Hearing this, Ba Quan Lan's eyes lit up, and she looked at Gu Yan. My brother, is he still alive? Gu Yan slowly put a question mark. No, when did your brother die? Ba Quan Lan's question immediately silenced Gu Yan. He said, to be alive is just to have official duties. After that, he stood up and said, now that I understand clearly, I won't bother you two little brats anymore. Ling Linger saw Gu Yan was about to leave. So she yelled, brother-in-law, you're leaving now? That's too soon. I can't help it, something, up. Oh, man. Gu Yan curled his lips. Before leaving, he patted Ling Linger's shoulder gently. The claw cell was on the other's shoulder in an instant. At the same time, the cells divided and floated on Ba Quan Lan's hair in the air. That way there will be no problem. Even if there is danger, I can rush over at the first moment. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? Pat you. Ling Linger? Dragon King Mountain. The old Dragon King lay on the bed, looking even weaker than before. He coughed up blood and couldn't help but yell. What? A half-piece of jade pendant that was placed in the Ba family is gone? The old Dragon King had a gloomy look in his eyes. Are you kidding me? How could this be? How could that half of the jade pendant be lost? You know, the Dragon King jade is an innate spiritual object, and it even contains a certain power of rules. The dragon head is half regular, and the dragon tail is half regular. The part of the Dragon King's jade tail is kept in the Ba family. The most important rule of the dragon tail jade pendant is, only when the owner of the jade pendant is willing to give it to someone else, and the jade pendant really fall into the hands of the other person. Originally the old Dragon King had good intentions. He paved the way for his container, Shaolin. Why choose the Bai family? That's because the Bai family has the support of the warrior department. In that year, they did not go to encircle and suppress the Lang family. This means that there is no karma associated with the Night King. This is the best tool to utilize. So after that, as Shaolin comes to Zhonghai, he will have an encounter and a bond with Miss Ba, which will make her sincerely give the jade pendant to Shaolin. Then, after taking over Shaolin's body, he would be able to continue to serve as the master of the Dragon King Palace. I have been doing this since ancient times. But this generation, why are there so many problems? Where did the other half go? It can't all be with the Night King, right? No, that won't happen. The control over the Dragon King Palace is still in my hands. This means that the two pieces of jade pendants have not been fused. So I must find the other half of the jade pendant as soon as possible. The old Dragon King looked at Yunxing, who was reporting the situation with a hoarse voice, and said, who did the Ba family give the jade pendant to? Did you find out? There is no such order. Idiot. The old Dragon King couldn't catch his breath. Although the members of the Dragon King Palace are powerful, each of them has a minimum cultivation level of a Grand Master. But there is also a disadvantage here, which is that no one has the awareness of self-judgment. Damn it. Oh, find it, no matter what method you use. You must get the whereabouts of the jade pendant from the Ba family. The meteorite left. The old Dragon King's breathing gradually calmed down, and he looked at Long Ning, who was going to capture Ning Qian. Compared to meteorite, Long Ning's work made him feel more at ease. Did you bring Ning Qian back? Where? I am receiving treatment. Treat? The old Dragon King was stunned for a moment. Then he roared angrily, you hurt her? That's my container. Now that you've injured her, I'll have to delay for a while before I can hold the body snatching ceremony. Yes, she was badly hurt because she refused to come back. Long Ning said dully. Yes. The old Dragon King took a breath of cold air. He felt his physical condition. It can last another month. Hold on, you must hold on. The Dragon King Palace is the most important fighting force for him. As long as he holds the Dragon King Palace in his hands, he will have one foot on the threshold of eternal life. Coming soon. The old Dragon King had a premonition. First use Ning Qian's body to transition, and then find a child of destiny who is comparable to Shaolin to take over. Then he will be able to achieve true eternal life. I have to let my men search for someone with great luck as soon as possible. After leaving Zhangye Hospital, Gu Yan made a phone call. In less than a moment, Bi Jun's low voice came from the other end of the phone. Gu Yan, what's wrong? Bi Jun, your sister was attacked. What? Headquarters. Inside the meeting room, a white army soldiers who were still being criticized at the struggle meeting suddenly shouted out nervously. The people around him were stunned and looked at him with surprised eyes. No, buddy, are you so brave? The latter quickly said sorry and walked out with his phone. Hey, white army, hey! The person presiding over the meeting kept shouting at the white army. Several middle-aged warriors sitting in the front row shook their heads. This kid is too undisciplined. Young man, you still need to hone your skills more. Forget it, the results of the meeting are already out. So it's decided, right? At the meeting, leaders of several factions nodded to each other. Well, once in Zhangye and once in Forbidden Land no. 5. These two major battles directly reflected our serious problems of insufficient combat power and manpower. So, I propose that we formally implement the warriorization of all citizens in January. In February, military schools and facilities for warrior training will be established across the country. Massive recruitment of talented department warriors in March. Time is tight. The creatures in the forbidden area and the Night King are watching closely in secret. We are short-handed and clinging to old ideas will only put civilians at risk. So why don't we turn passivity into initiative and take the initiative to let everyone practice and become warriors? This way, the survival rate can be greatly improved. Good. Okay, I agree. Okay, I said this more than 10 years ago. But no one listened. Oh, can it be the same now as before? And we still need to continue discussing the management regulations after the implementation of Universal Warriors. Chapter 350 Ling Fa joins. It seems you will succeed the head of the Gu family in advance. Bi Jun found out the reason and finally breathed a sigh of relief when he learned that his sister was not seriously injured. But the worry in my heart has not been put down. Through this inexplicable attack, Bi Jun thought of something bad and he said solemnly to Gu Yan on the other end of the phone. Gu Yan, the attacker probably wants the half-piece of Dragon King Jade on my sister's body. Dragon King Jade? Gu Yan pretended to be stunned. But hasn't the half-piece of Dragon King Jade Quan Lan been handed over to me? Logically, this news should have been spread. Hearing this, Bi Jun said softly, after that day, I deliberately blocked any news that might be circulated. So no one in the entire Zhangye knows that the owner of the jade pendant has changed to you. At this point, Bi Jun asked earnestly, Gu Yan, I beg you, the attacker will definitely go back to look for my sister again. I can't go back now, only you can help me please. Gu Yan, protect my sister. After hearing this, Gu Yan also replied, Bi Jun, it's too polite to say these things, your sister is my sister. And Quan Lan is also a good friend of my sister-in-law. I will definitely not let her get hurt. Okay, thank you. Bi Jun was very touched at this time. Gu Yan was indeed the most reliable. By the way, how is the teacher? Lin Yin is not very mature mentally, and I don't know if she will suffer losses in the department. Yan only thought about it for a moment, then said, the leader is very good. After all, the strength is there. And there is no loss? It is impossible for the inspection team to allow outsiders to provoke Lin Yin. Hear this. The White Army felt relieved. Think about it. He still quietly revealed some inside information to Gu Yan. And Gu Yan, I was actually in a meeting just now. The content of the meeting is to consider whether or not to turn all citizens into warriors. Depending on the situation, this proposal will most likely be passed. The world will have changed drastically by then. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to come back then. If I can't come back, Gu Yan, then I'd like you to test Quan Lan's martial arts talent for me, and let him join the Zhangye branch as a logistics staff member. Unless it is absolutely necessary, the headquarters will not let the public know about the warriors. Now that it has been made public, it must be because the world is about to change drastically. The events of Forbidden Land No. 5 and the Night King resulted in the deaths of too many warriors. If we continue to conceal it, I'm afraid the world will be destroyed. This is Gu Yan. When he heard the news, a strange look appeared in his eyes. I originally thought that I would have to make some noise before I could achieve it. But now it's much easier. Coming back to the present, he said in a surprised tone, everyone is becoming a warrior? Isn't this too sudden? Not suddenly. Bi Jun suddenly lowered his voice and whispered. Let's talk again later, my phone is specially customized. And only I know all the call traces. Gu Yan, what you just said is very important. Don't reveal it before the headquarters officially releases the news. Okay. Click. The phone call was hung up. Gu Yan put away his phone. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. And it's time for me to prepare myself. Next January? Guyan looked at the time. Is the new year almost here? The days go by so fast. That night, Light of Hope welcomes a new member. In a spacious white laboratory underground. Do you like it? A magic array laboratory tailor-made for you. Guyan lead Ling Fa, who is carrying a lot of bags, here. After a day of ideological struggle, Ling Fa decided to leave the department and come to Light of Hope. He took away all the ancient magic circle secrets on the 6th floor of the library. In fact, he was very nervous at the beginning. But when he followed Guyan into the magic array laboratory, he was attracted in an instant. The surrounding walls were covered with complex magic circle totems, and every detail sparkled with an exquisite silver luster. These totems seemed to contain life in the darkness, faintly echoing the main magic circle in the center of the laboratory. That is the control center of this magic circle. Guyan patted Ling Fa's shoulder and pointed to the center. But there was a circular operating table with various gems and runes inlaid on the surface. It was the core of the magic circle that controlled the entire laboratory. Complex equipment and transparent crystal pipes run through the entire space. With colorful liquids flowing through them, they are the indispensable source of energy for magic circle experiments. The surrounding instruments and displays breathed in silence, emitting subtle beeps. At one side, a sophisticated magic engraving machine was automatically carving complex patterns on pieces of special minerals. And each mark seemed to contain powerful magic. Come with me. Guyan took Ling Fa to the operating table. He placed his hand on it and said, "Transmit the key to the operating table like this, then. This array laboratory will reveal its true function." The words fell. Buzz. The surrounding environment began to change. The original laboratory began to disappear, and was replaced by a spacious plane. Ling Fa was shocked. Space magic array? Or is it integrated into the space array in the console? How sophisticated and advanced technology is needed to achieve this? This is a testing ground, where you can experiment with various large-scale output arrays. Then, as Guyan spoke, the scene changed again. A moment. The surroundings became dark, and Ling Fa and Guyan came to a dark forest filled with scarlet miasma. Coo, coo. Roar. Roars of wild beasts could be heard all around. Ling Fa's expression changed. He saw that the source of the sound was a group of monsters trapped in transparent containers. Guyan explained, "This is the material room. In order to preserve their wildness, this place was built this way. Anyway, there are still many things you can explore on your own." The surrounding scene changed back to the laboratory. Then Guyan looked at Ling Fa, who had an incredible and excited expression, and said, "Join us and you can have these. But in return, you will lose something that is more important to you. Like your life and death." Guyan spread out his hand, and a clawed tentacle lay in the palm of his hand. Ling Fa glanced at the tentacles and swallowed. And he picked it up and put it in his mouth, and said excitedly, "Nothing is more important than my research on the magic circle. I join you." I didn't misjudge you." Guyan chuckled and nodded. "And I formally welcome you to join the Light of Hope. And the first thing I need you to do is develop a spatial array that can contain the entire Light of Hope." Ling Fa nodded without hesitation. "Give me some time. I can definitely do it." Leaving Ling Fa alone, Guyan left the laboratory. When we got outside, it was already late at night. Lao Gao, who was waiting outside, came over and said, "Young master, the master just said on the phone that he wants you to go to the company tomorrow morning." Going to the company? Guyan was stunned. Why was it so sudden? Lao Gao nodded, hesitated for a moment, and whispered, "It seems to be about share transfer. Master, you may have to succeed the Gu family as the patriarch ahead of schedule." Guyan? Chapter 351. Gu Group, Warrior Headquarters hopes to transform all citizens into warriors. Early the next morning, Guyan arrived at the building of his family business. Looking up, Guyan could better feel the Gu family's status in Zhanghe. A group is located in the center of Zhanghe City. Its headquarters building stands in the center of the bustling city like the most majestic tree in a steel forest. The skyscraper rises high into the sky, and its exterior walls are made up of pieces of reflective dark gray glass curtain walls, reflecting the city's skyline in flowing clouds. During the day, sunlight bounces on its surface, and this building is a landmark of Zhanghe City, even in the dead of winter. But when he entered the hall, a feeling of constant temperature swept over Guyan's whole body. Meanwhile, rows of employees were already waiting. "Morning, master." "Morning, master." "Good morning, Master Guyan." There was an endless stream of greetings. Guyan nodded. Why is there so much going on? It seems like they want him to take office today." Lao Chao explained to Guyan in a low voice, "Master, what the master meant is to let the employees get to know you in advance, so that some foolish people won't provoke you." Gu Yan nodded and took the elevator to the top floor office on the 100th floor. Gu Chenming was already sitting on the sofa waiting. In addition, sitting opposite him was a middle-aged man in a black uniform. On the other person's chest, there was a golden sun emblem. Ad. Gu Yan sat down next to Gu Chenming calmly and glanced at the badge on his chest casually. From the department? Grand Master. Lao Jiao closed the door and walked out. The real boss is here. And it's time to talk business. Gu Chenming looked at the man sitting opposite him and introduced him with a smile. This is my son, Gu Yan. As he spoke, Gu Chenming looked at Gu Yan and introduced him. Xiao Yan, this is Wang Gang, the director of the strategic department of the warrior headquarters. You can just call him Uncle Wang. Hello, Uncle Wang. Wang Gang nodded with a smile. You are so big now. I remember when you were still a little kid, I held you in my arms. Well, Gu Yan felt helpless. Why did everyone say this to him? I can't help it, time passes so fast. Who would have thought you could get this position? Aha, this is what I deserve. Gu Chenming and Wang Gang seemed to have known each other for many years, so they spoke very casually. He threw a cigarette to Wang Gang. The latter took the cigarette and started talking about today's business. He looked at Gu Chenming meaningfully and said, since you called Shai Kaon over, does that mean that the next head of the family will be Shai Kaon? Hearing this, Gu Chenming smiled and shook his head. Not the next one, but this one. The person who is talking to you about this matter today is not me, but Shai Kaon, the current head of the family. I'm just acting as a consultant. Wang Gang's mouth twitched. You old fox, when things get complicated you push them onto your son, right? How could that be? It just happens that Shai Kaon can take this opportunity to hone her skills. It's just a chance to experience something similar to what I went through back then. After hearing this, Gu Chenming exhaled a puff of smoke and patted Gu Yan, whose mouth was twitching, and said, Xiao Yan, talk to your Uncle Wang. It doesn't matter. We are all family. Once we go out this door, no one will know about our conversation. Lao Deng, I think you are trying to trick me. Gu Yan sighed inwardly. He was already extremely busy with his work. How come he suddenly inherited the position of head of the family? Old Deng, aren't you still young and capable? Are you going to retire now? I hope it's not a big deal. Think of this. Gu Yan also looked at Wang Gang. He had always maintained a refined and easygoing temperament, and was blessed with a pure love physique. Therefore, Gu Yan always gives people a sunny and comfortable feeling. Wang Gang was also amazed in his heart. This kid, after returning to the right path, has become more and more outstanding. I remember that many years ago, Gu Chenming complained to him more than once. Back to the present. Gu Chenming has already made it very clear. Therefore, Wang Gang said to Gu Yan in a serious tone, Xiao Yan, what I am about to tell you may concern the safety of life and property of the entire Zhang people. Your decision represents the future direction of Zhang and will also affect the headquarters' subsequent deployment operations. Gu Yan seemed to have guessed something. He nodded and said, okay. Well, this is it. Wang Gang spoke slowly with a heavy tone. Headquarters hopes that everyone will become a warrior. Gu Yan was shocked. He looked at Wang Gang in disbelief. National warriors, why so sudden? Not suddenly. Wang Gang shook his head and smiled bitterly. The Night King reappeared before, causing heavy losses to the ancient martial arts world and the department. Before I could recover, the incident at Forbidden Land No. 5 happened again. Now, to put it in a shameful way, at least half of the mid and high-level combat forces in the department have been lost. This is the truth. To travel to the Forbidden area, the minimum cultivation requirement is to be a post-title warrior. Moreover, the acquired warriors are also in charge of logistics. Those who can really explore it are all above the innate level. However, the result of the collaboration between multiple departmental factions was heavy losses. It brought indelible scars to the headquarters and even the ancient martial arts world. Not only our warrior department, but even the ancient martial arts world. Because of what happened back then, they also lost too many new blood. This proposal is actually the result of discussions that took place after many meetings. But not many people know about it right now. You'd count as one. Wang Gang looked at Gu Yan, waiting for his next reaction. 1 second later. What makes Wang Gang happy is. Gu Yan nodded seriously and said obligingly. I understand, Minister Wang, as long as the department needs our Gu family to do it, we will definitely not refuse. Because I have participated in the previous 2 battles. I understand the strength of the enemy, and I also understand that we were defeated miserably in both battles. Therefore, a big family like our Gu family should stand up. Wang Gang and Gu Chenming looked at each other and nodded with satisfaction. Okay, I'll just say it straight then. Wang Gang placed a circular device in front of the table. He pressed the button. Buzz. A design drawing was projected in front of the 3 people. Gu Yan looked over and it looked like a large training base. Wang Gang explained, This is the draft of the warrior training base that we asked the design department to design overnight. We have decided to make all the information of the warriors public in January. In February, warrior training facilities will be established across the country, including talent testing and warrior system training bases. In March, we will officially start the nationwide Warrior Talent Awakening Test. Everyone with martial arts talent will be recorded in our book. If there are highly talented ones among them, we must hold on to them firmly. If you are interested in joining the department, you have to pass the exam and be selected to join the department. Speaking of this, Guyan raised a question. So, what about those who don't want to join the department? That brings us to the point of why I came to see you today. Wang Gang smiled mysteriously, then slowly said, "We want you to take care of the family." A civilian martial arts group established in Zhangha. Guyan? No, why did you say it just now? Chapter 352. Civilian Warrior Group, Sword Division. Guyan was stunned when he heard this. No? A civilian martial arts group? Isn't this just one's own legitimate power in disguise? No, there is definitely no such good thing. Sure enough. The next second, Wang Gang explained, although it is a civilian martial arts group, in essence, it is still controlled by our martial arts headquarters. Otherwise, wouldn't the secular world be in chaos? If someone develops a large army of warriors in the secular world, I'm afraid the danger is no less than that of the Night King. Guyan nodded calmly and agreed, yes, I also hate this kind of people. A harmonious world depends on everyone. We should eradicate these people with ulterior motives one by one. Wang Gang smiled and nodded. It's a good thing that you have this intention. But in reality, once everyone becomes a warrior, things that are out of control will definitely happen. For example, if someone with bad intentions gains power, they might do something that harms society. In order to control the sudden surge in warriors, we have established a department called the Sword Wielding Department. The member inside is the Sword Bearer, specializing in dealing with warrior incidents. We estimate that by February, the Sword Department's offices will be fully constructed across the country. Guyan nodded when he heard this, which was quite formal. In all the previous warrior incidents, warriors from a few departments were picked out to take on concurrent duties. But now, after everyone has become a warrior, there are more manpower and we can set up departments of all sizes. Well, that sounds more troublesome. Guyan looked at Wang Gang with a smile. I understand everything will be arranged by the department. We fully cooperate. Whether it's investment or labor, you can leave it all to our Gu family. Gu Qianming didn't say anything. After all, things that can be solved with money are not a problem. Wang Gang saw that Guyan understood, and he shook his head bitterly. Xiaoyan Yuhei. We have our own difficulties. A workload of turning everyone into a warrior is really too huge. The civilian warrior group is a big project. He needs to offer sufficient conditions to attract warriors to join. Only unified management can ensure maximum social stability. But unfortunately, we've already invested too much money and manpower elsewhere. There is really no other way, so I can only make this decision. But don't worry, the money for the initial construction will be paid by our headquarters. But the subsequent maintenance and management as well as the salary and benefits for the warriors. Wang Gang smiled bitterly and said, you will have to come by yourselves. I am really sorry, but this is the best offer I have ever made. In fact, if you reject me, the warrior headquarters may support other warrior families. Civilian martial arts groups are a major trend if we want to establish one later. I'm afraid. Guyan nodded, he understood. Once all the people become warriors, then the amount of resources of ordinary enterprises and warrior enterprises must be different. Now, when their Gu family was first established, it had the support of the warrior headquarters, so it was considered a legal identity. If it is established at a later stage, I am afraid it will be very troublesome. Furthermore, Guyan really needed this departmental identity, so he smiled and said, Uncle Wang, you are too polite. We are all working for peace in this world. In other words, we are all comrades moving forward together towards the same goal. Don't say such polite words again. Wang Gang was deeply moved after hearing this. I can't believe it. Young people today actually still have this kind of thinking. This guy Gu Qianming is actually so well educated? Good. Wang Gang nodded. Gu Qianming did not interrupt. He watched all of Gu Yan's operations from the side. I have also made up my mind about some ideas. Gang Zi. Stay for dinner? No, I still have to go to the next family to discuss the establishment of a civilian warrior group. You go to other families to discuss things, right? Don't worry about it. I'll see you off Shikaun. Wait for me here. Oh, I'm so honored that the former head of the Gu family sent me off. Hey you guy. The two of them went out arm in arm. Snap. The gate is closed. Wang Jiao walked in and stood behind Gu Yan. The room suddenly became extremely quiet. Gu Yan's smile gradually faded, and an unknown meaning appeared in his eyes. Everyone becomes a warrior. A group of civilian warriors. Sword bearers, word bearer. A general idea has already emerged in Gu Yan's mind. Oh, I'm really looking forward to that time. For a long time. Wu Chanming is back. I also brought some thick documents. He spread it out in front of Gu Yan and said, sign it. Gu Group Share Transfer Contract. Gu Family Patriarch Transfer Agreement. No, the Gu Family's Patriarch Transfer Agreement. Is it so abstract? Gu Yan slowly put a question mark and looked at Gu Tianming silently. The latter also knew that this was too sudden, but there was nothing he could do. He has been in this position for too long and really doesn't want to do it anymore. It's too tiring, especially now that everyone has to become a warrior. How could he have the energy? Wouldn't it be better for him to go traveling with his wife Susu? So Gu Tianming used his old father's pressure and said seriously, Xiao Yan, you've grown up, and you're about to get married. It's time for you to shoulder some responsibilities. Didn't you have a good chat with your Uncle Wang just now? Sign it, you will be the head of the Gu family from now on. This huge Gu family will be yours for a long time to come. Gu Yan looked at his old father who was talking nonsense in front of him. After shaking his head, he signed one transfer agreement contract after another. It's not that he doesn't want to sign, he just feels this. The annual meeting had just ended, and he became the head of the family. It was too sudden, and he didn't have any time to prepare. If you become one sooner, your plans will be half as simple and convenient. Gu Tianming picked up the signed document, nodded with a smile, and said, okay, I'll prepare the rest of the process. Chai Chown, if you have nothing to do, just check out your office first. Speaking of. Ding Galing. Gu Tianming's phone rang. Sumo Rong's voice came from the other end. Hey Yanming. It's almost the new year. Ask Chai Chown to call King Qiyu and linger. Oh, good. And Chai Chown is already the head of the family. Really? After a few more words, the phone was hung up. Gu Tianming looked at Gu Yan, whose face looked strange, and said, Xiao Yan, you heard it, right? This year, invite Sheng King Qiyu to come to our house for a New Year's Eve party. Don't forget it. Having said that, Gu Tianming left. Gu Yan was left sighing and shaking his head. Oh dang. He sat on the sofa and looked around the office, which was about 200 square meters. After a moment of silence, he said to Lao Gao, you are my secretary now, find someone to renovate this office. Well, with the company's money. Old Secretary Gao. Okay, master. Chapter 353 The Attacker. No, that's not Gu Yan. Dear guests and media friends, as the new head of the Gu family, I would like to thank you all for coming today. The group has always been the pride of our family. As the new head of the family, I will continue to bear this honor and responsibility to ensure that our company not only continues to lead the market, but also continues to serve as a role model for social responsibility. I also know that without an excellent team, there would be no Gu Group today. During my tenure, I will fully support our exceptional team and enhance their leadership and execution. At the same time, we will also attract the best talents from around the world to jointly write a new chapter for Gus. My father once said that the Gu family should not only inherit the past, but also have the courage to innovate. I will keep this teaching in mind and ensure that Gu Group not only stays true to its original aspirations but also has the courage to change and adapt to this rapidly changing world. Today, I stand here not only as the head of the Gu family, but also as a companion and partner of hundreds of millions of Gu employees and partners. Our future is full of challenges, but I firmly believe that as long as we unite as one, there will be no difficulties that we cannot overcome. Thank you, everyone. App. The press conference site. The applause was thunderous. Gu Yan had a calm and confident expression and walked away from the podium with steady steps. Come to the back. TSK. Gu Yan suppressed his smile and lay down on the sofa with a helpless expression. The contract was signed in the morning and the press conference was held in the afternoon. No, Laoding, you really provide me with a complete one-stop service. What are you going to do? Are you in such a hurry for me to inherit the family business? Master, the master has invited media reporters from all over the world. If nothing unexpected happens, you will be on the world's hot search list tomorrow, Lao Gao said with a smile on his face. Now, everyone in the world knows that Gu Yan has become the head of the Gu family. Gu Yan nodded. It seems that my father has already prepared for today's scene, and is just waiting for my signature. But that's all I say. Becoming the patriarch of the Gu family actually has only benefits and no disadvantages for Gu Yan. After all, he has more resources at his disposal, plus the subsequent folk martial arts groups. Interesting. At this time, buzz. Gu Yan's cell phone rang. He answered the call. Immediately, Lang Linger's excited voice came from inside. Brother-in-law, you have become the head of the Gu family. Yahoo is awesome. I can be a rich second generation now. Guyan held the phone further away from his ear and said helplessly. No, when did you stop being a rich second generation? How can this be the same? You little brat. Aren't you going to visit your best IE? You mean Quan Lan? She was discharged from the hospital this morning also. Are you free next time? Do you want to come and see your sister? Sister, she said she missed you very much. As soon as the words fell, a slightly quieter voice was heard from the side. Linger, don't involve me. Linger also coughed lightly. Brother-in-law, if you are not free, forget it. When Guyan heard this, he thought, can this make you die? He shouted quickly, hey, wait. After hearing Kinkuyu's voice, Guyan found that his body immediately had Kinkuyu's reaction. It's hard to explain what this reaction was, but Guyan understood that as soon as he heard about Kinkyu, he didn't want to think about anything else. He immediately said, Kinkyu, are you here? After Guyan finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Then he looked at Lao Gao and said, Lao Gao, I won't go to Light of Hope anymore. Send me to the Leng family. No. Guyan hesitated for a while and muttered. The day is Luoya's first day as the principal. Yu Xingzu and Meizu also take office as new instructors. He seemed to have thought of something and patted Lao Gao on the shoulder. He smiled and said, well, you send me to the Leng family. And then Lao Gao, you go to the Light of Hope in my place. It's perfect. Lao Gao, but master should NTU personally handle such important matters. Hearing this, Lian had to say, no, Lao, you are my secretary, my right-hand man, and my confidant. So you are the one who has authority over me outside. I feel relieved to leave it to you. Hearing this, Lao Gao nodded. Okay, young master. After all, for the young master, the most important thing is to stay with the young mistress. I thought the young master had changed after he took the dagger from the young mistress that day. But it seems that I was overthinking it. Lao Gao was also very pleased. This was the young master he was familiar with and had no sense of distance from. Oh, now we should call the young master the head of the family, right? Leng family. The press conference of Guyan's successor as the head of the family was broadcast on EV. Leng Kinkyu and Linger sat on the sofa in the living room. Linger, is your brother-in-law really going to come later? Upon learning that Guyan would be coming over later, Leng Kinkyu inexplicably felt a sense of nervousness. It was obvious that Guyan and I were in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. But I don't know why. Ever since that incident, it felt like a wall had built up in her heart. This made her a little unsure about how to get along with Guyan. Yes, sister, don't you want to see your brother-in-law too? Linger nodded, hugged Leng Kinkuyu's arm, and said with a smile. Brother-in-law has been coming less and less frequently recently. Before, I stayed here all day, but now I only come here once every few days. Now I know, it turns out that he is busy with the succession of the head of the family. And my brother-in-law should continue to come here like before. Right? Sister, what do you think? Hear what Linger said. Leng Kinkyu also remained silent. She didn't know how to answer. She has a dream every night. Guyan, who dreamed of holding a dagger, became the real Night King. That feeling was very bad and made Leng Kinkyu very sad. A feeling of uneasiness filled her heart every day. Although Guyan came here once the day before yesterday, and they were affectionate with each other again, but Guyan, is he still Guyan? This question kept lingering in her mind. The most important thing is Guyan, his purpose in taking the dagger. It was simply to avenge her. Or have another plan. What is this plan and what is Guyan going to do? Leng Kinkyu didn't want to think about anything. She just hoped that Guyan won't do the wrong thing. That power is both tempting and destructive to those around it. Sudden, knock. There was a knock on the door. Linger was stunned for a moment, then said with surprise, it must be my brother-in-law, he's always so fast. As he said this, he stood up and opened the door. But, wrong, that's not Guyan. Leng Kinkyu stood up and stopped Linger. She opened her eyes and locked onto the breath behind the door. That was, a strange Ori of the Master. Chapter 354, How to Use Mental Power and Read the Memories of Dragon King Hall Members. Who is it? This Aura suddenly appeared behind the door. Grand Master. Is he an enemy? Leng Kinkyu said in his heart. Then the knocking sound disappeared. The atmosphere in the house began to become weird. Linger didn't quite understand. Sister, what's wrong? The words fell. Next second. Boom! The door was knocked open by a huge force. Boo, way. Linger closed her eyes in fear. As the smoke filled the air, a black figure rushed out from the fog, holding a long sword. The goal is Linger. This person's target is Linger. Court death. Leng Kinkyu let out a low growl, his face full of frost. Anyone who wants to attack her family must die. Sizzle. A harsh sound appeared in her palm. a short white blade slowly emerged. Clang! The white short blade collided with the long sword, continuously emitting violent airflow and harsh sonic booms. Well, the moment when the short blade collided with the long sword, obviously the weapon did not hit the man in black, but the latter still let out a miserable scream. Wow! The hurricane was howling, and Langlinger was stunned when she saw her sister with flowing long hair standing in front of her. No, what's the situation now? Although the dagger was lost. But Leng Qinkyu is a genius of a monstrous level, and he also has a strong perception. So she simply created a technique of her own. A technique that allows perfect use of the power of perception. Its name is Mind Control Method. A white short blade in his hand was the spiritual blade created by Leng Qinkyu using his own perception. Each attack deals a soul-destroying blow to the enemy. Even a clash of weapons could not eliminate this mental attack. Ding ding ding. Leng Qinkyu kept hacking and slashing, and although the latter was in pain, he still refused to let go of the weapon in his hand. The other person's eyes were always on Langlinger. Leng Qinkyu's face was cold. Who asked you to come? Well, however, there was no response. Leng Qinkyu was filled with murderous intent and was about to kill the other person. But suddenly she remembered that Linger was watching her from behind. No, you can't do it in front of Linger. Even if you want to take action, you have to go outside. Leng Qinkyu just thought of this. The man in black yelled in pain. Buzz! His body was dragged into a black hole. Immediately following. Brush! The sound of space fluctuations appeared again in the house. The man in black suddenly stuck half of his body out of the black hole next to Langlinger. Langlinger's face turned pale and she exclaimed, Sister! Not good. Leng Qinkyu was startled and turned her head quickly. At the same time. Spiritual Realm, start. This is another self-created martial art created by Leng Qinkyu during his free time reading romance novels these days. He is able to overclock his entire body, not only increasing his existing perception by 10 times, but he can even allow the perception to cover his entire body, giving it a horrifying enhancement, directly reaching a superhuman level. Under Leng Qinkyu's powerful perception, everything in front of him seemed to be still. The man in black, who had half of his body sticking out of the space, stretched out his hand to grab Langlinger. At this moment, under her perception, all the actions of the man in black and even what he was going to do next were all visible to her. That's right, Leng Qinkyu is in overclocked state at this moment. Let her even be able to see what happens 1 second later. This was just the result of Leng Qinkyu practicing while reading romance novels and being urged by Xiaoling to do some serious work. Ridiculous scum. He actually tried to hurt my family. Court death. Leng Qinkyu's brain and even his entire body were operating at an extremely high frequency in this extremely short period of time. Just as her chest was filled with murderous intent and she was ready to destroy the soul of the person attacking her. The next moment, the claw cells hidden on Langlinger's shoulder seemed to sense the danger, and suddenly condensed into a black arm. Buff. He directly and firmly grasped the attacker's neck. In a flash, Leng Qinkyu was slightly stunned, and his domain ability disappeared, because she saw the end of the man in black 1 second later. The most important thing was that she felt the familiar key fluctuations from the claw cells. Well, the man in black screamed. Buzz. The black arms and the spatial distortion of the man in black. In an instant, both disappeared. The room was in a mess, but it had returned to normal. Ooh, oh. Langlinger came back to her senses and her mind went blank. Trembling, he threw himself into Leng Qinkyu's arms. Sister, what's going on? What is that weapon of yours? Why is there an arm on my shoulder? And the man in black? Is this magic? Is this a special effect? No, this is not our home, right? Sister woo-woo, I'm so scared also. Sister, you were so handsome just now. It's a pity that your brother-in-law didn't see it. Leng Qinkyu felt like laughing and felt relieved after hearing this. She hugged Langlinger and kept comforting her. It's okay. It's okay. My sister is here. I wanted to keep it a secret from you. But now it seems, I have to teach you some self-defense skills. While Leng Qinkyu was comforting her, he recalled what had just happened in his mind. That arm. There were familiar fluctuations of true energy on it. It is very likely that Guyan put it on Langlinger. The purpose should be to deal with the current situation. The arm has a built-in sealing and confinement property, and can carry the attacker to another place. In this case, it's quite thoughtful. But where would the attackers be taken? Is it Guyan's place? Oh, Guyan is only at the innate level? He will not be a match for this Grand Master. No, Guyan now has my dagger. Even a light touch is enough to turn this master into ashes. Speaking of which, Linger didn't seem to have this thing on her before. It seems to have been arranged recently. So this means, Guyan knew that Linger would be in danger? What on earth is he doing these days? Are you doing something dangerous? Ling Qingqiu hugged Linger tightly. Don't want. Whether it is Linger or Guyan. I already don't want to lose anyone anymore. I must become stronger. Not just to protect Linger. It is also for the purpose of, in the future, stop Guyan from going down the wrong path. Oh, by the way, sister. Can I take a picture of your weapon? I want to post it online to show off. Linger recovered quickly, and later even wanted to touch the spiritual dagger in Ling Qingqiu's hand. Come here. Ling Qingqiu put away the dagger, grabbed Linger's ear with a kind expression and dragged her upstairs. The other side. Guyan, who was on his way to Ling's house, suddenly noticed something. The joy of meeting Ling Qingqiu gradually faded. Lao Gao, who was driving, felt the change in the atmosphere and asked in confusion, "What's wrong, young master?" Guyan was silent for a while, then slowly said, "You go directly to Light of Hope. As for Qingqiu, I will go by myself." After saying that, brush. Guyan's figure instantly turned into black smoke and disappeared in the back seat. His heart was filled with cold murderous intent. The claw cells that he had set on Linger were triggered. It was a claw cell that had been enhanced with a series of protective measures including the power of night and a space array sealing array. The effect is to block the attacker's power for a short period of time, and instantly grab and drag him into another space. This space, it is the night space. It is another space that Guyan can enter freely after obtaining the dagger. It's just that the power of night here is too strong. Ordinary people who come in will only be infected and corroded by the power of the night and lose their sanity. That's why Guyan didn't move his base here. Wow, on a barren land. Thump. The man in black was grabbed by the claws and thrown here. But his hood fell off, revealing his lifeless eyes. Click, click. The sound of footsteps stepping into the void was heard. Did the Dragon King send you here? Why did you pick that girl? The man in black raised his head. Just see. Guyan held a dagger in his hand. His expression neither happy nor sad, no emotion could be seen. From the moment he saw the other person's lifeless expression, he understood. This is someone from the Dragon King Palace. The man in black didn't say anything, he looked at Guyan. And then, bang! The ground cracked and his figure instantly rushed towards Guyan. He felt the murderous intent coming from Guyan, and his instinct drove him to attack Guyan. It seems I have to come and see it myself. Guyan grasped the dagger with his backhand. His voice cold. His eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. Buzz. The surging power of night appeared around him. In the night space, the power of night in Guyan seemed to be visualized and condensed on his body. It made him look as if he was wearing a black battle suit. Bang! Guyan's figure disappeared from the spot. The man in black who rushed over was stunned. Next second, it was like suddenly disappearing from the shadows and then reappearing. Guyan's figure appeared from behind the man in black. He swung the dagger expressionlessly. Buff! Huff! The man in black paused. Immediately following. Crash! His limbs instantly soared into the sky. Well, Guyan stretched out his hand and placed his 5 fingers on the man's crown. And he stabbed the opponent's forehead with the dagger cleanly. This is another feature of the dagger. Reading memories directly into the soul. But the price is that the person whose memory is read will become an idiot. Next second, fragments of memories flooded into Guyan's mind. From the man's diary to his entry into spiritual practice. Then he joined the Dragon King Palace, and then he was drained of his consciousness and became a puppet. And then. That's what the old Dragon King said. Please find me someone as lucky as Shaolin. Both men and women. Guyan understood everything. He pushed in the dagger. Well, the black-clothed man's eyes regained clarity in an instant. He seemed to be relieved and a smile appeared on his face. Afterwards, it turned into black ash and dissipated in this face. Guyan put away the dagger and clenched his fists tightly. I wanted to wait for the right time. But now it seems. Guyan's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. I must kill the old Dragon King immediately. He opened the system backpack. Into infused jade pendants lay quietly. Dragon King Jade. Dragon Head Jade X1. Dragon King Jade. Dragon Tail Jade X1. Chapter 355. Linger also wants to become a warrior. Ling family. After Ling Qingqiu's scientific popularization, Linger was stunned. She swallowed, not knowing whether the information was too shocking or something. Her voice trembled, and she said in shock, "No way, sister? It turns out that there are such magical things in the world. Warrior? Martial arts? Monster?" Ling Qingqiu knew that her sister would definitely not be able to accept it for a while. So the only way is to let the other party adapt over time. She nodded, yes. By the way, our Ling family was once a family of warriors. including your brother-in-law's Gu family. Hear this. Linglinger took a breath of cold air. This world is so extraordinary. And there was the little bear who was taken outside to perform during the Gu family's annual party. Could it be a monster? As someone who has always read novels, comics and watched movies, she naturally understood what this meant. Mean. Linglinger looked at Lang Qingqiu excitedly. Sister, I want to become a warrior. Can you teach me how to practice? Lang Qingqiu slowly asked a question. Isn't it that Linger's ability to accept things is so strong? As if she understood what Lang Qingqiu meant, Linger said excitedly. This world of warriors really wins my heart. Sister, as my cultivation level increases, won't I be able to fly? Wow, it's so exciting just thinking about it. Linger couldn't wait any longer. Lang Qingqiu smiled helplessly. You are so enthusiastic about this kind of thing. Let me tell you, becoming a warrior is not an easy thing. Also, once you become a warrior, you might be involved in some dangerous incidents. Of course, my sister and brother-in-law will protect you. So your training to become a warrior will most likely be an extra layer of insurance. Linger asked doubtfully. Insurance? Lang Qingqiu nodded seriously and said. Well, if there is an emergency, he won't die before we get here. Linger doesn't take the world of warriors seriously enough. Which is not desirable. We have to scare her. Once these words were spoken, they were indeed very effective. Linger seemed to be thinking of what happened today. If it weren't for her sister's help, she would have. Linger immediately shrank into Lang Qingqiu's arms and trembled as she shouted. Ooh, sister, you just want to scare me. You succeeded. Are you satisfied? Lang Qingqiu smiled and comforted her. Sister just hopes that you don't underestimate the world of warriors. The world of warriors is cruel. It is an unreasonable world where strength is respected. Lang Qingqiu sighed inwardly when he said this. Just like their Lang family back then. Linger nodded belatedly. But she seemed to have thought of something. So she asked, Sister, after I become a warrior, can I also teach Quan Lan and Ning Qian? After hearing this, Lang Qingqiu patted Linger's head and said with a smile. With his brother around, Biawan Lan will become a warrior sooner or later. As for Ning Qian, Linger, his cultivation is as high as your brother-in-law's. Both are innate. But you can play with her, which is really unexpected for me. After all, Ning Qian is a disciple of Long Wang Mountain. Linger was dumbfounded. No. Ning Qian's cultivation level is actually innate? After Lang Qingqiu's popular science explanation just now, she naturally understood the world of warriors. Cultivation levels are divided into third-rate warrior, second-rate warrior, first-rate warrior, acquired, innate, master, and grand master. As long as anyone can cultivate true Qi, he or she can become an entry-level warrior if they continue to practice. It can become a third-rate warrior. And Ning Qian, it's actually already innate? Linger suddenly felt a little aggrieved. Why, you all kept it from me. If I had practiced earlier, I would have become a grandmaster now. When Lang Qingqiu heard this, he smiled but said nothing. She still doesn't know what Linger's talent is. But no matter how talented one is, it is impossible to become a master in just a few years. Linger is not a person with great luck who can occasionally get countless opportunities. In Lang Qingqiu's opinion, it was already very good for the other party to be able to cultivate to the level of a post-natal warrior. Since I have decided to let Linger practice, then you have to find a set of skills that are suitable for the other person. A night organization skills definitely won't work. It would be troublesome if Linger was mistaken for a member of the organization. So it seems. At this time, Lang Qingqiu was startled because she sensed a familiar breath coming downstairs. Immediately following, tap tap tap, there was a sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. Linger seemed to have noticed something, and she whispered, Sister, is it my brother-in-law who is here this time? Lang Qingqiu nodded. Next second, click, the door opened. Guyan rushed in. He quickly scanned the room and then fixed his eyes on Lang Qingqiu and Linger, who were both safe and sound. Guyan's heart, which had been hanging in the air, finally settled down. When he arrived on the first floor and saw the messy scene, Guyan felt uneasy. After all, Lang Qingqiu had probably lost all his strength after his dagger was taken away from him. Qingqiu, Linger? I'm glad you're all right. Guyan felt relieved. He sat on the chair opposite the two of them, and his tense expression finally relaxed. Lang Qingqiu remained silent and did not look at Guyan. Linger felt that the atmosphere was a bit weird. She coughed lightly and glared at Guyan. Brother-in-law, why did you hide such an important thing from me? Guyan was stunned. What's the matter? It's about warriors. You are actually a congenital warrior. My sister also. The words haven't finished yet. Lang Qingqiu interrupted and said. Okay Linger, you go out first. She said calmly, I need to talk to your brother-in-law about something. Linger turned off the microphone and gave Guyan a helpless look before leaving. The room fell silent for a moment. Guyan looked at Yu hesitantly. He said softly, King, what are you clearing? He didn't finish his words. Yu interrupted coldly. She opened her eyes and stared at Guyan calmly. Compared with before, Guyan's life essence seemed to be mixed with some faint gray impurities. Is it the power of night? Because of the use of a dagger. Guyan knew he was in the wrong and could only cough lightly. Then he lowered his head and closed his mouth. Time passes slowly. Yu didn't say anything. Guyan raised his head from time to time and looked at Yu, who had a cold expression in front of him. I don't know if it was Guyan's illusion. Yu's eyes were originally lifeless. It seems there are more silver spots. Guyan had no idea what this thing was. Finally, after 10 minutes of silence, Yu slowly said, Guyan, what have you been doing these days? The dagger was taken away. Linger is being targeted. Guyan set up defensive measures on Linger again. All these signs indicate Guyan must know something. Guyan heard this. He sighed softly, sorry Yu. Wait until I finish something. I will tell you the truth. Now that I know you two are okay, I will leave first. The truth. Yu's heart was shocked. Could it be that? Guyan wants to have a showdown with her. But as soon as this thought came to his mind, Guyan stood up and pretended to leave. Yu immediately pursed his lips, clenched his fists tightly, and asked, are you leaving now? Linger just had this incident. Why don't you stay here with us? Guyan paused, but still moved. Sorry, I will be back soon. After saying that, Guyan left through the window. Asshole. Yu clenched his teeth. Actually, he really just left like that. What is Guyan doing recently? Where is he going now? Yu suddenly discovered that Guyan was hiding more and more things from her. Chapter 356, The Reincarnation Ceremony of the Old Dragon King. Dragon King Mountain. The old Dragon King, who was lying on the bed with a weak and pale face, suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with fatigue and bloodshot, and patches of corpse spots appeared on his body. Wo Ying is dead? The old Dragon King staggered up from the bed in disbelief. He covered his mouth and blood kept coming out of his mouth. His eyes were filled with shock. Just now, he actually sensed Wo Ying's death. How could that be? How is that possible? Didn't Wo Ying go to find someone with great luck? As a dragon slave of the Dragon King Palace, he is already tied to the fate of the East Country. As long as the soul is immortal, it can be reborn unlimited lie, etc. The old Dragon King seemed to have thought of something. So, what'd it be? His pupils shrank. He shouted hurriedly outside. Someone come, someone come. The words fell. Buzz buzz buzz. People with lifeless eyes appeared around the room where the old Dragon King was as the space fluctuated. Seeing this scene, the old Dragon King's panicked heart finally felt a little relieved. He gradually calmed down and said, it's okay. As long as the authority of the Dragon King Palace is in my hands, things will not get to the worst possible point. That's right. As long as you change your position, you will always have the last laugh. Every generation of Night King is killed by his own exhaustion in this way. Now has come to the most critical moment of his plan. And eternal life is his top priority. Nothing and no one can hinder this. Not even the Night King. The old Dragon King had already thought of a terrible possibility. Who can destroy Wo Ying's soul? Isn't it just the Night King? The Night King's dagger can query a person's memory. And it is the memory of the soul. Everything a soul can store will be seen clearly before the Night King. Therefore, the old Dragon King felt that he was no longer safe here. We must move our position quickly. He looked at everyone, then said in a deep voice, take me to Ningqian. He paused, then looked at a man in a white robe in the crowd. Dr. Su. Prepare for the reincarnation ceremony immediately. I want to reincarnate into Ningqian's body in advance. As he said this, the old Dragon King coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood again. His eyes were gloomy. Damn it. Ningqian's body has not yet been fully healed. So the risk of reincarnation is actually very high. But now my body has reached the point where it is no longer usable. It is impossible not to be reborn. In addition, he could only be reincarnated once within a year. And the incident happened suddenly. If I just find someone with poor talent to take over, which dilutes the accumulated luck, then all my efforts over the years will be wasted. So there is no other way. Ningqian, I have been educating you for so long. It's time for you to dedicate yourself. Don't blame Master. All this is for my eternal life. Tick tick. In the dim stone cave, drops of water fell from the stone wall to the ground. Ningqian gradually opened her eyes from her trance and looked around in confusion. I found this place somewhat familiar. Here it is. Ningqian muttered to herself. Next second, her eyes suddenly widened, because she found that her hands and feet were all tied to a stone bed. Next to her, there was an empty stone bed, as if it was prepared for someone. At the same time, her breathing was weak, and it was obvious that she had not recovered from the previous injuries. She remembered. Before, Master Long Ning wanted to take her back to Long Wang Mountain. But Sister Linger was in the secular world, so she disagreed. In the stalemate, Long Ning attacked and injured her and took her back. Why did Master Long Ning do this to me? Ning Qian felt a little hurt. But before that, she had to break free from this restraint first. However, this restraint seemed to be governed by some special rules, making it impossible for Ning Qian to escape. Next second, a weak yet familiar voice appeared in Ning Qian's ears. "Give it up, kid. You can't escape." Ning Qian was stunned and turned her head away. "Just see. I don't know when, my beloved master, the old Dragon King." He actually appeared next to her. His facial features were bleeding, and his eyes were filled with a hint of urgency. This situation made Ning Qian feel a little scared. She was stunned. Master? The old Dragon King did not reply, but said to a man in a white robe, "Begin, Dr. Su." As he said this, he lay down on another stone bed next to Ning Qian. Dr. Su nodded, then walked to the old Dragon King's stone bed, and pushed the bed to a designated location. Everything seemed too weird. The masters that she once knew seemed to have become different people, which made Ning Qian feel extremely scared. Master, what on earth are you going to do? Master. However, no matter how Ning Qian shouted, no one responded to her. Dr. Su came over and pushed Ning Qian to a ceremony location. And Ning Qian. She also saw something standing above her head. Something that made her scalp tingle. That was a strange stone statue. The other person's eyes were bloodshot, staring at her like a living creature, and his mouth was stretched to an irregular angle, revealing a creepy smile. Ning Qian, the person lying here should be your senior brother. It's a pity he's dead. I've nurtured him to this day. But it doesn't matter now. Ning Qian, you will replace your senior brother. Complete my reincarnation plan. The old Dragon King stood aside and slowly told the truth. When taking over someone else's body, if the person's mind is shaken, then the chances of taking over the body will increase. Really? When Ning Qian heard this, she was stunned for a moment. Senior brother is dead? Reincarnation. Master, what are you talking about? Ning Qian's expression was a little stiff, and her tone was a little trembling. Didn't you say that we should fight for world peace? Didn't you say that our enemy is the Night King? But what you are doing now, how is it different from evil? Evil ways. It is the third faction that is different from the evil path and the righteous path. The way they act is extremely creepy and terrifying. It is the enemy of the whole world and all species. However, the old Dragon King had heard such words too many times in every reincarnation. He could no longer raise any emotion, and said calmly, "Ning Qian, you are just a pawn in my plan of eternal life." Speaking of this, he sighed unwillingly. "If the Night King hadn't killed Shaolin, you wouldn't have become my body. If you want to blame someone, blame the Night King. Let's get started, Dr. Su." Yes. The words fell. Buzz. The eyes of the stone statue also began to emit light. As the light shone on Ning Qian's face, there was a click. A terrifying scene happened. The stone statue in front of me actually stretched out its hands. It pressed down on the top of Ning Qian's head and the old Dragon King's head. Ning Qian's heart seemed to be grabbed, and something seemed to be pulled out of her body. Ning Qian subconsciously thought of something in her mind. So, my soul is about to be sucked out. Ning Qian's face was filled with horror. At the same time, the old Dragon King's original body had completely lost all sound, because his soul, which had absorbed the luck of countless sons of luck, had been held in the hands of the strange stone statue. Need sacrifice. Galala. The stone statue opened its mouth and let out a creepy laugh. The old Dragon King had become a soul body at this time. He reluctantly cut off a part of his soul body that was full of luck and fed it into the mouth of the stone statue. Transaction completed. The stone statue looked like it had absorbed something very delicious. With satisfaction in its eyes, the ceremony continues. Ning Qian also seemed to realize that her master was about to take over her body, and she felt extremely desperate. The person who flashed through his mind was neither his friend nor his senior brother Shaolin, but Sister Linger. "I haven't expressed my feelings to you yet." Ning Qian gave up resisting. She felt extremely desperate to see her master in this state. Buzz. Soon, Ning Qian's soul was pulled out and held in her hands, and her body and eyes instantly became lifeless. The soul of the old Dragon King was held by the stone statue and slowly approached Ning Qian's body. The old Dragon King looked excited. Almost there. I am about to get a fresh genius body." As for Ning Qian's soul, Oh, at the end of the ceremony, her soul will be sacrificed as food for the stone statue. However, at this very moment, I found you. A cold voice filled with murderous intent suddenly came into the ritual cave. The old Dragon King's pupils shrank. Who is it? Next second. Boom. Crash. Ah. Following the stone statue's scream. Under the old Dragon King's incredible gaze with bloodshot eyes, the stone statue was actually chopped into pieces by a frenzied blow. What? The old Dragon King's spirit cried out in fear. The ceremony was interrupted. The stone statue is broken. Chapter 357, Death of the Old Dragon King, Loss of Emotional Anger. Bang! Ooh! As the stone statue shattered, a wailing sound as if from hell came from the broken statue. Countless pitch-black objects that looked like evil spirits rushed out from it. They looked painful and had ferocious expressions. But before he could run away, he was grabbed by a shadowy hand. Because the ceremony was